Good evening, YouTube. It is I, Schmuel Buckman, and I am currently joined by the famous and fabulously good-looking NJ Ranger 201 and some bromelain thing from the UK known as at Echo
Crumpling.
Pineapple, who's a
It's a
favorite of Pat
crumpling.
Dixon. So we have to watch him. He's fantastic. And we have a little bit of a special show tonight, and we'll reveal that info in 1 second. And Echo, just look in the private chat, please.
No.
Let us know when that gets rolling, or if you think we
Oh,
should just
yes,
put it,
sir. Yes, sir.
or should we
Yes,
put
sir.
it
Yes,
up right
sir.
now?
Just put it up now, bitch.
I'm the guy. All right, kids. So here's the deal. Our big news is Cupcake is not coming out today. His birthday is
Yes.
Father's Day weekend. He's waiting for that. We thought we were going to get the exclusive. So instead, we're going to bring you a special presentation. You guys just keep an eye out, and here we go.
Book. I'll answer all your questions to the fullest with no holds barred. And I put together a nice little package of questions for you as well. And if that's okay with you, that's what I would like to do.
That sounds wonderful.
Awesome, Adam.
Full screen.
Well, Adam, my first question to you is going to be this. And let me get it up here, please. I got a teleprompter, by the way. I don't know if you ever. I know you've worked on it in acting, but I got a teleprompter. It's something new I'm trying. And you played everything from villains to best friends. What role was the most? What was the role that was the most you underneath it all?
What?
Okay, you played everything from villains to best friends. What role was the most you under? What was? I'm sorry. What was your very first acting job, and how did you land it?
What was my first acting job?
Yes.
How did I land?
Mm.
The first thing. I mean, I started going to open calls in New York City, just waiting in line, and that led to going to the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute, and then I started doing college films. This was all as a kid, and once you start working in college films, maybe it was a Teddy Grahams commercial. Do you remember those?
I don't. I'm pretty old, but I don't remember those. I know you spent a lot of time with Nickelodeon in Florida, didn't you? Down in Orlando area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe your first movie role, if I'm correct,
Bless you.
was
Thank you very much.
Manola in Leon the Professional
That was the first
movie,
yeah,
right?
film I did. Yeah.
Yes. Adam, I don't like doing scripts, so let's just me and you get close together here. And let's just.
Oh
shoot the
no,
shit, man. You know a lot about me.
script is
Obviously,
gone.
you've seen me. You know I'm a pretty explosive guy.
Uncle
so
Buff. Uncle
what
Buff.
brought you to the Dabbleverse? That's what I'm very curious about. After the career you've had, and I know you're a lover of music, and I like to touch on that some too, because I know you love music.
I'm afraid
But
I
what
can't
brought
do
you to
that,
the
Joey.
Dabbleverse, this crazy universe of ours?
During quarantine, I went back and started listening to the old 90s radio that I loved when I was a child. And when I was listening to Howard Stern, you can listen to just the
What's
Eric the
happening?
Actor segments. He was a character on
What's
the
going
show,
on?
and they have his segments in order.
Uma.
It's
Yes.
it became it has been for a long time kind of a phenomenon that people will listen to these to go to sleep. Those kind of listen to them constantly, and I became one of those people. And even though I knew how the story was going to end, when Eric dies at the end, I was heartbroken, and I didn't want it to end. And it was just at that time where I think a lot of people were going back and listening to that things from their childhood, that WATP was covering Opie and John, and I found that, and it really it felt similar. The things I liked about the Eric the Actor saga were similar to the things I found in John. And
Why
I
do you not
just
want it full
became
screen?
Very obsessed with all of it, and
There
it's not in
we
a
go.
healthy way, but I do find, in terms of like entertainment, what's happening now in this
Yes.
world, whether it goes on forever or it ends tomorrow, it's really special and it's really unique. And to go to your question about the characters I play being villains or best friends, it's like the Dabbleverse is the greatest example of how that stuff can happen. Like that last interview with John on that at that convention, he laughs like a supervillain, and people go, how would you ever do that in a script when it says laugh maniacally? People don't do that. They do, And it's the zealousness of the convert, Joey. It's never the like true believer. It's the person that wants to prove to the true believers that they're the real deal. That's the
Excuse me,
dangerous
Adam.
person. The
It's
Dabbleverse is
actually
filled with a lot of
zealotry
it.
of the convert.
I agree, and I know I had some experience working with John, and like I said, you could ask me anything you want, Adam. I'll answer anything. I'm an open book, and I know you've heard a lot about me. We share some of the same friends in the Dabbleverse. I think highly of Schmuel and Carl. You know, they've been a big instrumental to a lot of things I've done.
Massive
You know, just give me the confidence. Schmuel a lot. Casey Armstrong has been a big supporter the past year and a half.
Okay.
So several people in the
Spend on you.
Dabbleverse that I enjoy. And then on the downside, I've had a lot of people that attack me and come after me and come after my family. And I know it's because I put it out there, and I understand that. And that's what goes with the territory. You put it out there. It's like if you're going to go out to try to fight somebody and you initiate it, you can't expect that they're not going to come back to fight with you. You know, it's kind of like a give and take. You know, but it's matured me a lot, and I've learned a lot of things. So,
It's a mature way of looking at it.
well, you know, I try. Anything you would like to ask me? Anything you're curious about knowing?
How do you feel about the
Interview
idea,
over.
John?
That was quick.
Those
Well,
hours?
I'll be honest with you. For
How
a
are you?
long
Have you
time,
heard
for
about
a
me?
good 6-8 months, when I went on Dabble Point, when I was with Carl, I sold John hard. I really thought I was really trying to be a good friend to John. I thought he was a real good friend to me, and they told me a lot of things that you'll see. You're going to learn. Surely, I'm not going to sit here and tell you. You know, you're going to learn the hard way. And I really pushed hard. I stuck up for him when I did rebuttals on Dabble Point, saying the things that I liked about him, how I thought he was a good friend, how he was a good guy. But he's a very needy person. John will call you 6-8 times a day if you were going to be on his show. I don't know if you remember the interview when he first came back when Kevin Brennan paid him the $3,000.
No.
He we had talked the night before, and he had called me and asked my opinion if he should go on with Carl. This was after the interview, and I told him you have to do it. You can't duck Carl because Carl had set it up because he wanted to get all his stuff out with him. Carl misunderstood it and thought I told John not to go on, and then John took up for me on live air, and that's when that was like really big for me. And when he turned on me like he does everybody else, I was angry. I was very angry, and but
Angry you, Joey? No.
Enjoy the time I spent
Joey
with him,
was working
outside
for
of being needy,
Schmuel.
outside of just being a pain in the ass and driving you crazy and wanting you to praise him. I mean,
in his eyes.
I still consider him a friend. You know, I do. You know, I don't talk to him anymore, but I had special times with him. He gave me a piece of my life. I was recovering back from, coming back from the last 3 years of my life has been hell. The last 4 years, I should say, with prison and my daughter dying. And I came into this Dabbleverse. Schmuel was the first one to put me on because I was looking.
Did you ever get the
kid
bring out
the laughter back into my life? You know what I'm saying?
No.
And I asked for it, and I sure got it. But yeah, John is a different, unique individual. I think
he sent Schmuel a dick pic.
If John would have changed his ways early on in his life, and just would have been appreciative more, and if he would have been, more respectful of himself, I think he would have been a better person.
I think he needed to stop drinking.
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Life advice.
I definitely agree with that. Adam, I got another question for you. When you became a character like Warren, what part of yourself do you bring into the role, and what part do you have to leave behind?
It's a Bob question.
Oh my God.
Is that a question that you want to know the answer to?
It's a question that someone asked me to ask you, a friend of mine.
Uncle
A
Bob.
friend of yours?
Yes.
Can you say it one more time?
Yes. When you became a character like Warren, what part of yourself do you bring into a role, and what part do you have to leave behind?
I
AI.
bring all of myself. I don't leave anything behind, but I adapt to the fictitious circumstances, and I try and react. That's just me. As I like to use as much of myself as possible, and I certainly feel like, like that moment. I'll never forget it. It was the two one of the top two of John's darkest moments. One was when he really debased Clay Dabbler by reading his texts over the air to just humiliate him. There was something where he was drunk and he just had you dancing and laughing like a jester, like a, just, he likes that high pitched laugh thing. So you just keep doing that until he responds. And it just felt like, you see people do that to like a baby that won't stop crying, but even the baby like gets over it eventually. This, because he's drunk, would just never end. I remember thinking, how long is Joey gonna go on? Like how low can this guy get, and to what end? And I don't think John will be happy until everybody's dead.
Go on,
I
Joe.
lost your sound, Adam.
You're
We're not
doing
hearing you.
You did?
Yeah. You were going down there for a minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're back. I don't know if you watched the to me, I thought was the greatest show on the internet to this day in the Dabbleverse is when John was drunk and it was DG and I and him. Do you remember that episode?
Oh yeah.
It went on for a couple hours.
I think that might be the one I'm talking about.
Okay, I don't. I'm not quite remember if that was what you were describing was in that one, but yeah, I agree. That was probably I was the only one. I don't drink, so I was the only one sober. DG was smashed. He was smashed, and it was pretty hard. But yeah, he he asked me some things, and he was leading up to
if he could fuck
I'll
you
fly
off,
you to
that's
Detroit to go.
Does she do third
He was,
input?
making innuendos
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
on that show.
That was going to be part of my
Stuff
drinking
like that.
game.
He
Every
just-
time Joey
he was
talks
so
about
drunk, I
himself.
don't even think he realized what he did. But when he would call me late at night
Hammered in the
drunk a
first
lot.
20 minutes.
He would call me a lot drunk when I was doing shows with him, and it just was never ending. But when he crossed the line with my wife, which she didn't get as upset as I did, and she handled him well. I just
Fake
Julie and I
outrage.
were talking. We were doing this thing we were gonna do to work him and get his confidence up, and then
Wait,
we were
what?
gonna
You
slam
and
him
Julie
with a,
do
Julie had
works?
something in mind, and
Whoa!
it was a
Shooty
Sunday.
knew.
And I was
Breaking
sleeping
news.
in the afternoon taking my nap, and Shuli rang my phone. He says, he sent you the link. He's calling for you. Forget about what we're doing. Go on leash on him. I can't let what he's saying about your wife and stuff go on. And I did. And I just went off on him, and I don't know if did you see that? Did you see that episode when he was with
So,
Stevie,
yeah.
Lou, and I?
Went off on him so much.
Yeah,
came
I
back on
remember
anytime he
him
could.
trying to pass off saying really obnoxious, rude comments about your
And that
wife
was-
as
yeah.
just guy talk and what guys do. And he's tried to.
Also, he needed
tried to
Shuli to
convince a
tell
lot of people
him
that
to
it never
defend
seems to
his
go
wife's honor.
It doesn't
Right.
go on. And
So,
do you feel that he
Shooty,
dislikes women,
sir.
Adam?
Can
Do
I
you
get
feel that? I'm losing you again, Adam. Your sound's not there.
Asking
Okay.
Adam about somebody
Oh,
else
okay.
in an
Yes, I
interview
can hear
with
you now.
Adam.
Do you think he dislikes women in his life, part of his life now?
Yeah, I don't know if dislike is the right word. It's so ingrained in him. It's not even a thought. He just thinks women are like others. That he thinks they're this other thing. There's like human men, and then
Well, that's why you
there's
call it strange.
women, and they're this thing that's
Hmm.
not just beneath him. And it's not like he sits around thinking, what can I do to piss off women? It's just ingrained in him. It's just how he feels. And it's been noted that he doesn't take criticism well, but he cannot take criticism from a woman, period. That is just
That's it.
not allowed.
I agree.
Sounds a bit like
Adam,
you.
like I said, I when I first talked
Sweet.
to Shuli and I told him I wanted to interview you, and mad respect to you when you said that's funny he didn't reach out to me. I like that line you said to Shuli that day. That was great because you're right. I should have reached out. I didn't know you even followed me, even knew who I was. I was pretty happy, and I've been very happy the last couple of weeks. And I put some work into
Humble
this
Joey.
just to know who you are. I
This is
watched
Joey's
a lot of your
ticket to
movies,
Hollywood.
believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah,
What'd you
a lot
do?
of-
What'd you watch?
I watched
And put in his
just what I
IMDb.
found on it. Drone. I watched the episode over 4 or 5 times. Your role on Chicago PD. I watched the Juror episodes of the Juror. I thought it was you just for that, but you blew me away in Chicago PD. It's my favorite TV series.
Is it really?
I've got every episode. I own them, and I watch it constantly every day. And you did season 8, episode 14. You were the pawnbroker. That was an awesome
I
role.
remember
I
that one.
really appreciate that. I like the Juror. I like Jenna Juror. I couldn't find
I
so
was
much
in there
stuff
for
on you on
5
Buffy.
minutes. That's good.
But I watched the movie.
Was that the one with
watched,
Stevie
what's
Lou
the
and
one? Was it
DG in it
Drones? I
too?
think it was.
Mhm.
It was it was Drones. I watched Drones. I watched that movie. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't. Might be honest with you, not my type of movie, not the kind of movies
Joey
I watch,
didn't
but
watch that
watch it
movie.
just to get to know you. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Me and my wife watched that, and I just studied you a little bit to find out about you. I know you grew up in New York. I know you started acting at a very young age, Nickelodeon. Leon the Professional was another.
We could
one of my
probably
favorite
see this
movies.
We can see the
Rapido,
screen in your
Rapido.
eyes. Right, we can see that. what you're reading, right? You know that.
Oh, really? You could see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not reading now. I'm just talking. It's off the screen now.
Oh, did he just
Yeah,
fucking call it
I'm just talking. I'm not reading out the prompter. I put everything I wanted to say in the prompter. It just makes it easier for me. I was nervous. I'm going to be honest with you. I was very nervous. And I never am nervous when I go on air because I'm usually fighting with somebody and I'm usually yelling at somebody. I'm usually bantering. But I was nervous because this was a big deal for me. I really wanted you to know that. And I think that you're a hell of a actor. I know your love for music, and I would like to talk about that. But like I said, I was advised to just let you take the seat, let you interview me. That's what I was told.
Who are you getting this advice from?
I can't tell you my sources.
Let you interview me.
Think of it like this: if
That's
it would
lucky.
interest
So
you,
making it about him.
we should talk about it. If
In my
it
show.
feels
In my
There's
show,
another way
please.
we could
supposed to
say that.
or it's an obligation, or these are how these are supposed to go. Don't worry
Careful
about
what you
it.
might-
If
Yeah, I'd have
something you
been
would
drunk
wanna watch,
already, Schmuel, if I'd have been
I-
made
you
this
know,
drinking game.
Your fans will.
Oh yeah.
Look at his
Well, I did
little
put-
face.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, create something that you would want to see. Do you watch Inside the Actor Studio?
I do. Yes.
You do?
James Lipton was one of my favorite. I love that show. I watched
Liar.
a lot of it.
Liar.
Yeah. What do
Drink.
you like about it?
I just like the way that he has his students and out in the audience, how he brings some of the best actors, the A-list actors out there. His manner, how he asks the question.
What's his
my
name?
favorite question, which I
I
wasn't
know,
gonna lie
right?
to
I
you,
was
Adam,
waiting
my
for
final
that.
question
James
tonight
Lipton?
will be right out of James Lipton's playbook.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
got
ask
it.
the big question, the one that he asks at the end. And
I really
just find
enjoyed
it
when you was
fascinating.
man free.
Is that
I-
what you
I-
want Peter to say to you when you reach the pearly gates?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And I always have loved acting. I tried to. I went to actually. I took some acting classes in Chicago
Sure you did.
at a place on Halsted Street when I was
Hey,
still
Chris.
living in Chicago. This was 30, 40 years ago.
What was it called?
Oh God, I don't remember. It was on Halsted Street between Diversey and
Second
Addison,
City.
and it was the same
I
place
think it was
that
Third City.
Joe Mantegna went there. He went to that school. They said that he
Montaigne.
went there.
I was a janitor at
the guy
Second
that
City.
played
but it was
Montaigne,
Sixth
yeah,
City
Montaigne.
that I worked-
He went to that
I
school.
Chicago's the
acting
best
school.
actors. They're really great.
Yes, and I like all those movies like CSI, and I know you've been in CSI, but I
that's
thought
a
it
great
was
movie.
fascinating.
I
as a
love
juror.
that
I
movie. Just
liked your
read
role as a
that.
juror. I really like
That's my favorite movie.
that the couple
CSI.
ones that I watched, and
And it's
I'm
a
gonna probably
TV
go back
show.
and I'm gonna get the whole
Yes,
series
that was
and
the
watch
point.
it.
Okay,
Every
yeah.
one
Did
of
you see
them.
Patrice in that?
Which Patrice was who?
He's
Patrice
the
O'Neal, come on.
black comedian that I'm paired with. It's him and I every time. He
Oh, okay.
plays,
Is that who? I'm not really big. To be honest,
So-
with you, I didn't know
Wow.
nothing about comedians. till
I didn't
got
actually
that.
watch it, to be honest.
like-
I didn't even watch
He's like
it.
our modern day.
Aside
Lenny
from my
Bruce.
co-star.
Okay, all right. Lenny Bruce's name I know.
Was kind of
Um,
brought to the national attention on the Opie and Anthony show, and is a real leader when it comes to race and gender and sex issues. And he's just, and he was taken from us way too soon. And I feel like his real appreciation only came kind of after,
Yeah.
which is common and sad.
For
But
sure.
man, if you can listen to any Patrice O'Neal, I highly recommend it.
I
It
will-
won't
I
steer you
will.
wrong.
Joey, you remember?
He
You
shows you,
remember
can.
him, right?
You don't need to.
He was
They
his
all look
partner
alike
in
to
the
him.
show.
You can just.
He was partner in the
say
show.
what
Come
you
on, Joey.
feel, no matter how crazy it seems. If you actually mean it, and there's no ulterior motive behind it, you can just say it. And even if you're wrong, history will validate you. Like he said these things that you just couldn't say, and it's just all either come true or just so prophetic in so many ways. And I try and be like that.
Sounds like he was a pretty deep individual. He spoke from his heart, and that's
Yeah, he's a really good comedian.
and it seems like it was you were very close with him. So, very sorry for that he passed on. I know about loss too. I mean, we lost a child just 4 years ago. I think it was
So
in
sad you lost
2002.
your friend. Let me tell you my story.
So
Drink.
It's been very
Back to me.
difficult with my wife.
Back to
because
me.
She's
come on.
changed completely.
Yeah.
You know, she lost a child that she buried, and even though she was only my stepchild, she was, wasn't my blood child, but I raised her, and it was difficult because of where we were at the time she passed away and how she passed away. So I took a
Child.
lot of criticism
In
for that. I
prison.
take a lot of criticism every day, but I just,
How can you take criticism for that?
well, people would just beat up the situation, make jokes of it.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to push my buttons. Let's put it this way: the
Tell them
Dabbleverse
everything.
chat rooms know
Mhm.
how to push my buttons and get me to come out to the animal they want me to become. And Shuli, I was just talking about that when I was on Point Table Point on Monday. He was testing me to see if I was going to maintain and not read the chat, and I did. I've been really working on that.
Well done, Joe.
They made a channel,
Really?
another channel about me. It's called Catalog Network, and
Mm-hmm.
because I threw so many fans out of my chat room, there's episodes
Why would
that
you do that?
Huh?
Why would you do that?
I just get so I have such angry issues my whole life growing up.
Such angry
And
issues.
Everything,
I need to go to angry
everything that I've been
management.
through, bad or good, I just been very angry. It's my personality is built like that. Plus, being Sicilian, I'm high strung. I'm very hyper.
I get it.
I was an addict for over 30 years. Adam. I was an addict for 30 plus years. That plays a lot of part in that. But I've learned so many life lessons, and it made me to mold me to the person I am today. I'll be 60 this year. I got 13 grandchildren. I got. I have 6 kids. 6 kids. Was 7, 1 passed. But I do wear my heart on my sleeves, and I'm a friend for life, and I take friendship very serious. So, and that's me in a nutshell. But I had a lot of anger problems, and they pushed all the buttons. Anything
So you
about
tell
my
that to
kids or my
Lou the
wife, they
guard.
would just push, and I would just explode. I just explode, you know, and it's cost me a lot of, I should say, a lot of hard feelings or mixed feelings with a lot of the fans. But at the end of the day, people that have physically met me, and I've been to Hackamania. I went to Hackamania 1. I went to DabbleCon 2. Once people meet me, they really see the genuineness in me, and I just try to be genuine.
Like Rocco. Like Rocco.
I knew there was
who met
something
you.
there when I don't remember
his
which
cousin.
event it was, but you went to one of the first Dabbler events, and I think people were very like, "Wow, Joey's really intense. That's a lot." And then you went to a second one, I think, with your wife, and it was a completely different report card. Everyone was like, "Wow, Joey mellowed out. He gave us something different," and that's rare in this Dabbleverse. You don't hear a lot of people changing or taking any direction. They only double down on whatever's happening. So when I
He
heard
is going
that,
to
I remember
furiously
thinking,
masturbate to this later.
there's probably more to Joey C than he lets on.
setting
And then
them
when I
up.
saw the Alex Stein bit, I really liked that.
What do
I
you
thought
reckon
were
the
really
odds are?
great.
He's like, I had like
Thank you.
200 people
Thank you.
live in the chat. It's like,
There's
you
no
have
difference
50.
between when
You've
you're
got
acting
50.
and when you're talking. It was seamless. You did not
Hundreds.
seem nervous in any way. It was very, very believable, and you seemed very directable. It seemed like
Thank you
somebody
very
could
much.
tell you,
Means
give
a
us
lot.
a 10, give us a small, and you would be able to deliver all of that. What is the real you, though? I guess it's a combination of all of it.
I'll share this with you, Adam. Being an addict for the amount of years I was, and I worked in professional baseball, in major and minor league baseball. I ran the locker room in minor league baseball. And that was a whole different world because you're around a lot of major league players that are AAA players. The teams that I were on over the years, we had guys that had spent 10 plus years in the major leagues. It's a different atmosphere. They're well spoken. They're athletes. They come from good families. The owners are all around a lot of money. And I had the ability. My best friend Frankie told me one day, he says, "How do you turn it off? How do you go to because he worked with me in baseball? How do you be so you fit in with all the rich, the high polloi and all these people? But when you're home, you do whatever is necessary to put food on the table. And I've done a lot of bad things in my life. And how do you turn it off? I go, it became natural for me. My father wasn't around most of my life. My mother was a very hardcore mother, very hardcore. And my whole life changed in 1972 when the day my father walked out of our life. And a lot of things changed, but what saved me was the bat boy job I got at Wrigley Field, the Chicago Cubs. My years working at the locker room. That's what changed me from being either dead today, in prison for life, or in a gang hurting a lot of people.
But
When
that's
Dad
when
left,
started
did he
doing
come
math.
back, or was that it?
No, he came. My father was a Chicago police officer. He was a very corrupt Chicago police officer. My grandfather was a police officer for 34 years. He was a detective, worked homicide, and he also worked
Literally everything.
He was also the driver to the Superintendent James O'Grady. He had an impeccable record. My dad caused nothing but
That's what we
mayhem.
needed,
When I
Cupcake, were
became
bingo
16 years
cards.
old,
Yeah.
like I said, I was 7 when my dad left. 7. No, I was 8 when he left.
Right
He
after
didn't
I
pay
started
child
my
support.
bicycle insurance business.
My mother fought the divorce. Back then, you just didn't get a
He
divorce.
left. You were in Chicago, and he left the house.
Yeah, he just left us. He just didn't pay child support.
He just moved down the street.
No, he moved in. He moved somewhere in the neighborhood. I don't know if it was, but I was told later on. I met a couple of the partners when I was in 21, and I was drinking in the bar. I walked into this cop bar on Addison Street, on the northwest side of Chicago, and this guy kept staring at me. He goes, "You look so familiar," and he told me, "Are you a cop?" I said, "No." I go, "But my family's all cops because you're in a copper bar." He goes, I go, "I know that." He goes, "You look like somebody." He goes, "What's your name?" When I said the name, he goes, my God, I used to be your father's partner. What a horrible man he was. But your grandfather was the best. I'm on the police force because your grandfather got me in the police academy. Your grandfather helped a lot of guys like me. And my grandfather died when I was 14.
What
He
do
was
you call
everything
it
in
when
the
you
world
write
to me.
fan fiction about yourself?
But my dad came back to my life when I was
OC.
right after my grandparents died, about 16 years old. But not as a father. He was more like I'm trying to be a buddy. And when I
You
was
came back voluntarily, or you reached out, or how did that happen?
I reached out to him, and he invited me over. He was married, and then to a nice lady, and she told me that for the time he wasn't with us, she would always push him to call us and bring us over for holidays. He didn't want no part of us. I was told by his friend, his old partner, that he would see me walking down the street on Southport Avenue in the 19th District Police. He would purposely turn the police car around to go the other way because he was afraid I was going to stop him and ask him for money.
But what causes that? Like, what is that?
The truth?
Yeah.
My grandmother spoiled him and gave him everything, even when he was in trouble, and babied him like he was. I didn't hear what you said, Adam.
I didn't say
What you was answering half the question.
He was a very spoiled. My grandmother always went to his aid, even when he was a grown adult. He just always got in trouble. He was a terrible cop. The stories I heard about in 1979, he was the first police officer shot in the line of duty. I remember this like it was yesterday. But I was just talking about this with my wife. If I should bring this up to Adam, she says, "Well, if he wants to know about you, bring it up." And I was in the living room with my other grandmother, my mother's mother, and we were watching Channel 7 News with Fahey Flynn and Joe Daly came on, and the headline was the first police officer in the line of duty was shot this year, Joseph Samuel Catalano Jr. And I'm the third. And I immediately ran to the phone to call my other grandmother, and she said, "Don't worry, your father's okay. I'll get back with you." And the story that came out in the newspaper was he was on snow command duty. Chicago had a blizzard, and they were assigned the patrolmen to different areas so the plows could come by and
What year did you say this was?
He claimed that a Cadillac struck the back of his squad car when he got out of the
the
police car to go see if everybody's all right. They opened fire on him. This is what he told when his superiors came to find out what happened in the shooting.
Whoever can work out what TV show or
Months
movie
went
this
by
is
on
from.
investigation.
I'm
All of a
trying to
sudden, my
think.
father was stripped of his powers, and he told me he told my grandmother, not my grandmother. I'm sorry, my grandmother at the time. You know, this was 79. I was 13,
79.
14
Okay.
in December.
All right. So the
So I'm
blizzard
just trying
lines
to
up.
get my years here straight. Yeah. So he told my grandmother and his mother and father that he had to leave town, or he was going to be prosecuted. So the Chicago police told him not to be prosecuted. You're going to resign from your position. Well, it turned out him and his partner,
Lose
one
all
of
your
his former
superpowers.
partners, had a shootout in the street. Two Chicago coppers had a shootout, and they were
This may
trying
be from a
to
movie.
kill each other because his partner had slept with my father's wife and got her pregnant, and that's what it was about. And they lied about the whole story, how it came out, and that's what happened. I've never told this story on air, but that's
Yes,
what
he
happened
has.
to my
Didn't know
father.
which
and he was
one to
forced to go
shoot.
he went out to Las Vegas and lived there
So
for the
he
next
shot
25
both.
years. And
Why
then
did
I
you want
saw
to have a relationship with his son?
I was 35. I said, it was New Year's Eve. I said, "Can I ask you a question? Did I do something
Puzzle
wrong
mess.
as a kid that you left us?" And he says, Adam, he never directly answered me. This is what he said: "You're 35 years old. Quit whining like a baby. That's in the past. Or grow up," he told me. That's what he told me. That was his answer.
That seems
was
hard to
good
get
answer.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty hard, Adam. It was I wanted to know that my mother's a great woman, even though she was a strong woman, and she
I
was
like
very
that it's
strict,
making up
and I
new
got a lot of
lights for
trouble,
us
so
to
she disciplined
kind
me
of
a lot.
observe.
But
in this,
my mother's
this
alive.
video.
She's pretty healthy, and
If he was 35, that'd be the year
and
2000.
he just couldn't answer that. I mean, I figured that he's a grown
He did
man.
say New Year's
50.
Eve.
He was at the time I was 35. He was 50. He was 18 years older than me, so he was 53. And he gives me that answer: "Quit whining he goes, quit whining. You're a grown man. Men don't cry. Just get over it." And it did. It hurt me. That was one of many things that have hurt me in my life. That
Quit
one of the
crying,
reasons why
Carmack.
drugs made it easier for me to get through life. It really
Exactly,
did.
Mr. Z.
As a functioning addict, though, and I always worked every day, and I never wanted my kids to be without me.
You don't know
So
what
I always
I've been
provided the
through,
best I
Adam.
could, but I could have provided better. All the money I threw away on my habits, if I would have not done that, I could have gave my kids even a better life. And that I have regrets for that. I don't have a lot of
Even
regrets, but I
better.
have regrets for that.
Their dad could have not have been a meth head.
Well, I
That
think
would have been good.
The time
My daughter wouldn't have OD'd.
our stepfather
Me, my other daughter
certainly
wouldn't have stabbed me.
are equipped to fill that role. based on knowing what it's like to be in need of something like that.
Yes.
And you can explain to anyone in that situation.
He's gonna cry
better
soon.
than anyone.
He's gonna cry very soon.
Ooh, that'd be a good one for the bingo
I would
card.
love to reach out.
Over
to
or
my
under
biological
5
and
minutes.
closure,
Cries or
and
no
I can
tears?
say, you are absolutely welcome. to
They're
do
talking
that,
about the
even
dad, so
though
maybe, yeah,
you're
under,
not gonna
maybe
get it,
under.
no matter what they say.
Yeah.
There's no explanation for that.
I agree with that. It's like. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. Because it looks like you were trying to say something. Adam, so you said I ask what I feel from my heart. Who's Adam Bush? What makes Adam Bush the man he is today?
That's what I feel in my
I
heart.
want to know
Who
about
are
you.
you?
I want to know about Adam Bush. What makes you tick? What makes you
Exactly,
angry? What makes you happy?
I don't. In terms of the Dabbleverse,
What a
I like all of it. I
milquetoast
find it really funny.
typical
I just don't
question.
laugh.
Barbara
outwardly a
Walters
lot, but inside,
Exactly.
I do find it funny. I find it shocking and validating. It's an incredible source of. I mean, people are dying in real time and choosing to film it instead of save themselves.
Could you imagine, Joe?
I agree. I can't sit here and say that streaming.
Could you imagine,
a big part of
Joe?
my life?
Timely.
Where all I want to do is stream and capture every
Do you
moment.
think that was on
I
purpose?
put myself on live film going to the
Yes,
doctor
obviously.
about having ED problems.
He skipped right by that.
You know, I've done a lot of crazy.
Would you
things.
want to
People are
watch
like,
that? Would
Huh?
you want to watch? Would you want to watch that?
Would I want to watch it?
Yeah.
I mean, are you serious, or are you just saying that I put that out there?
Yeah, I mean,
He's
are you putting
asking
out
you.
what you would want to see, or what you?
Yes,
think people
I
would
mean,
wanna
I got
see?
no shame. I mean, I didn't see no big deal me going to the doctor. I was going to see my heart specialist that day, and I had to tell him about the problem that the medicine was making me not perform. And I have a wife 17 years younger, and it didn't take it as hard at the time. I'm okay now, but it took me hard, and
didn't take it as hard.
It bothered my wife. Why is it bothering you?
Definitely
We're
didn't take it as
okay.
hard.
No
that's
pun
for sure.
intended.
And I'm like, no, I got to get to the bottom of it.
He's got a pretty powerful thumb.
It tore me up. That month tore me up. I felt that I lost my manhood. I felt that I couldn't put, let's face it, when you're married,
I don't think Adam was
having
referring
sex with
to-
your partner is
to his
25% of the marriage.
Is he talking
I
about
always
the
based that
prostate
it's a
exam
big
that
part
tore
of the
him up?
marriage. And she's younger, she's got needs. So it
He's
drove me
talking about his
crazy.
blood
Yeah,
pressure
so I would
medicine
watch
that
that. I watch something like that.
gave
If
me
someone put that
ED.
on there, yes.
Yeah.
And what kind of show is this? Because I know it's not normally like a ask an actor about their.
Yeah. Well, I
Like, it's
wanted
not
it to
normally
be
an actor's
that.
studio.
I wanted to do I wanted to do it. I had a format to show some of your stuff and
We can
to,
still do that. We can do
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, I got a clip here. It's hang on 1 second. I
It's
got some
5
clips
minutes
here.
long.
All right.
Right.
The odds of him getting it up, though,
Here
that's
we
what
go.
we're going to say.
He's always had that issue, yeah.
Manolo, take the kids in the kitchen.
I think you don't actually get to see Adam in this, by the way.
And I believe that's you right there, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Which one?
That's the only bit.
Well,
you get to
obviously
see.
you were 16 when you did this, weren't you? Isn't that you right there?
In the back. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was your role, your very first movie role, I believe.
Sex long and
You
hard
played
for
Leon
that
the Professional. You played Manola, and I found this clip and thought it would bring back some memories for you. Long time ago.
It certainly does for me. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I have a lot of respect for your business, Tony.
So I looked this scene up a few
I don't want you to get
times,
struck.
and I couldn't
No, I'm
catch
not worried about
the
that. That's all right.
second.
But I just wanted to show that
I couldn't catch
you-
that second.
that you
Don't
had.
pause it, just mute it.
Do you know that?
You looked
Yeah,
it up. Go
I
ahead.
kept trying to find that bit where Adam was in it. And it's so short. I literally couldn't catch it. So well done, Joey. Fair play. Fair play.
Never mind then. But that Italian restaurant, which is no longer there, was the back cover of that record. I'm from
Really?
Oregon, so that kind of stuff is important to us. Yeah,
Let's
that
talk
was
about your
fun.
music. And I want to learn about. I know you're deep into music. I am deep into R&B.
one
music,
acting
R&B
role.
music. Growing up in Chicago, in the
And
neighborhood
one
I
where he
grew
was
up
an
at,
extra.
was a big part of my life. It soothed me. To
Pretty
this
much.
day, I listen to music when I'm sad, when I'm angry.
What
It
kind of
brings
R&B
me out of.
stuff? Who do you
Huh?
like? Who do
I
you
like
like?
the Temptations. I love the OJs. I like William Devon. I like Martha Reeves and the
like OJ.
Vandellas. I like
Okay.
Teddy Pendergrass. That type of Barry White.
Oh,
Teddy
Barry White guy.
Pendergrass.
Yeah,
It's
he
kinda
said
fun
that
to-
so it'll fit the alfalfa rhythm.
Yes. And, I grew up on Barry White. My mother's a Barry White fan, so on the good times I had with my mother, she would play.
When's he
we would
gonna say
dance. My mother and I
Elvis?
would dance. To Barry
Actually,
White.
this is
My mother loved to
relatable,
dance,
Joey,
and,
to me. I can't.
At
I
one
can't
time in
even
my
make
life, I was
fun
a
of
pretty good
this.
dancer myself. I can't do much today. I gained so much damn weight. I gotta. It just kills me to even move.
Joey
But,
is not a good
Yeah, I enjoy music, and I know you're a big listener of music, and you were in a band. And I like to find out about how was those years when you were in the band. What was it like being on the road? What would be your best when you were on the road? Your best story you
AI.
could tell that you would want to tell
right.
being on the road
Come on, Uncle Bob.
with your crew.
Come on, Uncle Bob.
I don't know what the best or the worst is, but I can tell you that being in a band is the toughest part about it is not the writing of the music or the songs or the touring or even the money. It's keeping the outfit together. It's keeping the people together in those roles.
Like Lou and Spider
That's difficult.
and Mrs. C.
That's the
It's
hard
hard
part.
to
Apt
compare.
The
comparison.
music and the writing, all that's fun. But
That's awesome. Did you write your own music? Did we were the one that
That's
wrote? Did you write the music
next.
for your band?
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you
That's
one of
awesome.
my favorite bands that I'm like I said, mostly R&B, but I do like some classic rock. The Eagles is one of my favorite bands.
They are also awesome.
Yeah, like One of These Nights, and that's one of my favorite songs, and I enjoy that. I love the Eagles. I love.
Why can't I shake the feeling that this is like torturous to listen to? Like that you and I talking about classic rock.
Oh
is
my
like-
God. You can take the lead and tell me what you like to talk about.
I
Adam.
don't know. What do you? I'm honestly, I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. And
I'd rather be me. I just rather be Joey C and you be Adam Bush, and let's just.
I
shoot
don't want to
the
be
shit.
anybody else.
Yeah,
I
I don't
just-
want to be anybody else. I would never change anything. I would never
Well,
change
this
who I
is
am. I would never
torture.
hide my name. I would never hide behind a mask. I get. I
Oh,
wanna be
you
me.
hear that?
People, I speak from my heart, and I'm the real deal. And I get called out of my stories that I lie. Let me tell you something. I shared a lot of life stories in the Stableverse, and I take it to the heart. When people accuse me that I'm phony, I'm not. I've been through.
No.
Why would they say you're phony?
I don't know. They just think my stories are
weird.
are way
Strange.
off the wall, or some of the things I was told.
They just think
Are they
the
exaggerating?
stories I tell
I
are
don't
made
think
up.
so. I think I try
Total
to tell,
bullshit.
there's some things I might not remember to the letter of the T, and I get some things confused. But
I
my
make up.
baseball stories,
Then I have
growing
to make up the
uh,
rest.
of the people I knew and the people in my neighborhood, and who my father chose to be my godfather, because
With
he
your
was
mic,
called a cop,
Cupcake.
and he was a crooked cop, and he was on the pad with these people, and they were good friends growing up. So I get called out. I'm lying about that because of a mistake one day. I
Just said that his
misrepresented
father
him on
and Tony the
from his
and
movie role
Spilaccio
that
were
came out about
friends
him,
growing
which
up.
is just crazy. I'm human. I make mistakes. I do have forgetful things. I did 30 years of drugs. Let's face it, my brain is fried, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I've had a lot of dead tissue in my brain from doing drugs. So sometimes I come slow out of gate. I don't
That's
spell well.
today's
I don't
excuse.
put stuff. I mean, this is me. I don't spell well. Usually, when I put something in a chat room, you got to decipher it with the FBI, because I
We know.
misspell everything. I'm never cared
It's
about
fine. You got
school.
Uncle Bob now.
I
It's
didn't.
fine.
Now I'm learning. I want to absorb that. I want to learn how to do correct punctuality. I want to put sentences right. Now I want to absorb it because I got grandkids and I want them to look at grandpa,
I'm 60. I'm
their
gonna learn
grandpa.
English.
But
Oh,
for most of my life, I didn't care, Adam. I was always hustling, always working, always trying to put food on the table. I did whatever it took. I got involved
Always
with
doing
any
meth.
deal I could on the street when I was not working. If it made money, I was a true believer. If a guy did something really horrendous, he need to be dealt with. If anybody hurt kids, they should be killed. That's how I believed. An eye for an eye. If you rape women or anything like that, you should be taken and be raped by 20 men. That's how the life I live. That's how I believe. Those are my beliefs. That's the real Joey C.
Get
Joey,
Roach off
what-
the screen.
real.
Fucking
What
hell.
about
And I won't lie.
podcast
I was
producers?
nervous. I don't know why.
Does
Why
that
am I
apply
nervous
to
with Adam Bush?
them?
Because I know he
Right.
wants to be genuine, and that's me. So
Mm.
whether you come out of this and say I'm a whack job, if you come out of here and say that this guy's off the wall, or you're going to say this guy speaks from his heart, it don't matter, because I know one thing. I always do it my way. That's the way I've always been. So
he's already defending himself.
Regrets,
like I
he's had
was
a
very
few.
intrigued when you came. When I asked you to come on, you said you would. I think your career was fascinating, but
And
I
you
want
are
to know Adam
Schmuel.
Bush. I want to get to know the guy that's that
I
I
wanna ask
enjoy
you about
watching
you
on
and then answer
WATP.
about me.
Enjoy watching the
There
stuff
we
that
go.
you've done.
That's
Will you
the
go back to
formula.
acting? Will you? You plan on never going back to any major roles in your life? Married? You have a family?
Are you
I
planning on
don't-
being
coming
famous
out.
again?
ABC
Right.
season 3. It's about accountants that work in an office. It has a bunch of people from Saturday Night Live and from The Office, and it's a bunch of comedic legends, and it's a lot of improv, like in the style of The Office, that kind of documentary style.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that. And I just shot a horror film that's coming out probably in a couple months, and I have 2 records that are out right now. The last one is by Jamie Levine. I recommend everybody check it out. It's called Real Nice Friends.
Okay.
Let me write that down. I want to write that down because I want
I'll
to
send you.
look.
That's
I'll send you some links.
Oh, great!
the
That'd
way
be
it
awesome.
should
That'd be
be.
awesome. Adam, like I said, just you could take the lead. Ask
Thanks
me
very
anything
much,
you want,
Adam.
man.
Take care.
Let's just talk. Let's just
Take
shoot the
care.
shit, man.
I'm gonna. What
Dude,
does
that's
that
like-
quote mean to you?
Right?
That's
I
the
don't
5th
chase
time,
views,
like Joey's
I
asked his
build
guest
value.
that he's there to interview, to
Well,
lead
chase
the
views
interview.
is like being a clout chaser. You just climb on someone's back and you're trying to get fame. You're trying to get fame. You're trying to get notoriety. You know, I believe that you chase views because you'll sit there
You
and
would
do whatever
never
it takes
do
to go
that.
on air. And it's very easy in this Dabbleverse to get into a bad way of where people would believe that you're just clout chasing. I got accused because I've been on all the big shows. I've been asked, been on Julie's show. I've been on MLC.
Big
I've been
star.
on with Carl.
Wow.
Carl did a
Massive
full
star.
interview with me over a year and a half ago. He did actually 2.
So is Mumbling Nick,
I-
Joey.
They used to say I harass people, which is not true. I think what was the second part of that? Could you
They said
say
you
that again?
harass people. When did,
Jesus
who said you
Christ.
harass?
Well, fans would. I wish I could go back here and sit here and pull up. I got a lot of my old chats. I could pull them up and show you the things that have been said to me or what
I know
I'm
the kind of
called on
things they
Twitter.
say.
So
But it
that
doesn't- it's
means you
irrelevant.
didn't harass
What was the
them,
second
right,
part of your
Joey?
question? You said chasing views
innocent.
and building.
Oh my God.
Value.
This is
Cupcake, careful with your mic.
I believe everybody has to have integrity. I think you should
Sorry.
want to have integrity in life. If that's important. I think you should be proud of who you are, what your name is, no matter what happened in life from anybody in your family that made the name look bad. A man has to be a man, and you should always be proud of what your name, good or bad. You should always be. You should never have to worry about
Yep.
fighting with anybody else.
He's
You
gonna
should
get
always
there.
be a man and be one-on-one if
Big
people
night
attack
tonight.
you. Don't like the old days. People used to go like the gangsters. If a gangster showed up because someone called him on his name, anybody could show up with a gun. One thing that I learned, it's easy to carry a gun. It's very easy. Anybody can carry a gun. A tough
Not
guy
you,
can pull
Joey,
out a
you're not
gun.
allowed.
That's not a tough guy. The tough guy is
Neither
who
is
don't
Chad
go to a
Zuma.
fight with a gun, and he handles
Joey
business
shoot
like a
himself in
man.
the foot.
So I think integrity plays a big part. I think just being a real person from your heart versus chasing views. I mean, people can say whatever they want about me. Like I said, I just had a big episode the other day with a guy I knew was a piece of garbage yelling for an ambulance in my walk and talk, and I refused to drop my
Oh my
screens to call
God,
the ambulance
Jermaine.
because I knew he didn't have a broken neck.
Knew
And
all about
all these people are making a big deal about it.
He was
I
a
didn't try
bum,
to
right,
capitalize on
Joey?
that. I didn't try to go, oh, let me capitalize. I didn't try to go make a ton of money. I didn't. I don't care. Generally, I tell these people, yeah, money's nice, but my intention was to come on. Carl gave me the best advice a year and a half ago. After he interviewed me, got to know me a little better. He said, you would be great telling the mafia stories, your baseball, but I think it's a little bit too late because you instilled yourself in the Dabbleverse and you got John all over you, and it's going to be hard now to rebrand. Well, I've rebranded. I was
all
supposed
John's
to take the
fault.
summer off. I had this interview with you. I came on
Good
about 3
advice,
or 4
Carl.
times. I was off
I've done 4
about
streams in a
29,
week.
30 days before I aired. I'm not going to be back on air now until after this interview too. I'm going to announce it now. July 27th, Lou and I will be back. Lou's only
Yeah,
going to be
you
doing
lie.
the Friday show with me. I'm going to be doing Mob Monday.
July
And I'm going to be doing
27th.
Wrigley Wednesdays, where I'm going to talk about the Chicago Cubs and Chicago history of the Cubs. I'm going to talk about my experience with Chicago Cubs. And on Mondays, we're going to talk about the different mafia bosses, my experience in my neighborhood with the mob guys, family that's been involved, the crooked cops, and we're going to do that. And then Lou and I are going to do our regular show on Friday. I've rebranded.
What's the regular show?
Well,
I'm fired.
Lou and I just bantering with people and talking, talking about
He's
different
hired
things
again.
in the Dabbleverse
He's back.
and
Dabbleverse.
talking about mostly stories about experiences about me or Lou get me fired up.
I like it. He's had something on his lip the entire time.
Somebody
That's
in the
nice.
chat room, just stuff like that. We tried to just
So
build
is
a
that
show.
what they want? That's what the chat's full of. People.
Yeah. My chat, Adam.
Just kick him off.
My chat.
Just kick him off.
Oh, what happened here? Did we lose you? Did I lose you?
no way.
Hello? I could. I don't know what happened. Can you hear me? Here we go.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. You went off the screen. I didn't even touch nothing.
I immediately thought I did that.
Yeah. For some reason, when I do a show, and I used to just come on randomly. I would come out sporadically. Like I didn't put it up a day before. I would just, all right, I'm going on my phone and I'm pissed off. When I came out like fire and banter.
Oops, I did do that.
Have you muted it? Oh,
No, I think I
boom,
took it down.
Jesus
Hold
Christ.
on.
All right, let me watch it in the other channel. Just leave it in silence, guys, whilst he does it. It's fine. Look, now you can fucking knock you, Mike. Cupcake, go on. Motherfucker.
I got
Sorry,
out of prison,
guys.
and after my daughter died, it was hard. I mean, I hated myself.
Did you
I-
go
Drink.
back off now, Baxter?
It was just my wife was a different person. I was sad. I was angry. So I wanted to just reinvent myself to get my life back, to get some laughter back in my life. So I called Schmuel up and told him the story, and he goes, "Do you realize we're comedians? If you go on the BS show, it's going to be hard for us not to bounce on you on this." And I went on.
What does that say?
Schmuel was late.
There's a
I was
comment
supposed to be
in
on,
the
I
chat.
think, at 10 o'clock. They didn't bring me on until 11. So I had an appointment to take my son to the doctor. So I went ahead and I didn't cancel. I did the interview. I came on Schmuel's from the car with my whole family in it. And
I don't know who's
the
worse,
next day, it
Joey
was like
C or
I
Schmuel.
kidnapped my own family, made them watch me on the Schmuel network. And from day one, I've taken flack. But I just wanted to bring laughter. And Schmuel tried to explain to me, buddy, you can't do this around comedians. Talk your sadness. They're going to tear you up. You can't fight the trolls. And I've done that for 2 years. But I always try to take everything
There are
I do to make
comedians
it
on the
into
Schmuel
a
network?
life experience. Take all my
Yes,
experiences and mold myself.
Anthony
Because
Cumia, apparently.
one thing that was
Yeah,
spoken true,
technically.
Sylvester Stallone said it best. He said,
Jesus
"It's
Christ,
not how
remember.
hard you fall; it's about how hard you fall and get back up and keep moving forward." I think that's a very bold and a very true statement. As long as you can get beat up, I've been knocked down. I've been beat up. I've been almost killed several times. My own child stabbed me 8 times and stabbed my wife
Drink.
15 times in 2015. 2016. I'm sorry, April 26, 2016 at 4:02 a.m. My own child. I never thought my own child.
And good
What
Bob to
father or
get that
parent
date.
looks to put their guard up against their children? It caught me so off guard when I heard. And at the time, my wife was just my girlfriend. And she killed her. I mean, she died in a chopper. They brought her back. She had over 15 stab wounds all through the chest,
loads of it,
everywhere,
right,
the face. And I thought it was over with me and her. And after she finally came to, and I was able to talk to her, I said, "Listen, I understand if you want to walk away." And she told me, "No, I want to marry you. I still love you. Just don't change." I mean, I was blown away, And she goes, "I don't want your daughter to go to prison. I want to help her." And she went into to the prosecutors and she told them, "I don't want no jail time for her." And they granted it. They gave my daughter 10 years probation.
What a hero.
6 months in the medical
Mr. 50 Cent.
Joey
mental
C.
ward.
Very funny.
to
Joey
learn about,
C.
for her to learn
25
about what
cent.
she did was wrong. And she got halfway through her probation, and her boyfriend put his hands on her. And I've always told her, you don't let no man put your hand on you. And she beat him up really bad. He called the police on her, knowing that she would get violated. My daughter's got 1 year left. She's been in there 6 years now. So she's in prison in Florida, and she's got 1 more year left. She comes
Come
home
on, Adam.
in
Is he
May
waiting
of
for the
next
second
year, she
half?
comes home,
To
She's
go back.
profoundly
at him.
deaf. She's having a tough time in prison. A lot of things have happened to her that
Rochi,
is
bad
really
as this
bad.
is brilliant because
she
he's
can't
telling
hear
his
her
whole
speak.
story again.
She's
So we're going to
she's a
get to hear
beautiful
all
girl.
of
She's a
the
woman. She's going to be 30,
lies.
30 years old this year. And but she went to prison. They gave her for violating 7 years. And they gave her a 10-year probation sentence for which carried for attempted murder. That was the charge against my wife, and an aggravated assault against me because I was her biological father. She could have got 30 to life.
Because you were stabbed.
The judge could have gave her 30 to life, and she didn't go. She didn't go. But now she's But I asked her. She calls me every day. We talk through the relay operator.
Unless he's streaming.
She types it into a
Right.
talking sign language to an interpreter, and then they relay it to me. She's never spoke. She's never said dad. All she does is sign language very fluently or texting. But she
I don't
said
know any of it apart
she
from a
hates
few
prison.
swear words, but
She's
that's the only
glad
one
she
she can
made
do.
her
She's
realize
deaf. Then
what she did,
that's
and
the
she
way
hopes
that
that I
we
forgive
could
her.
say that.
And we
Joey.
did. We forgave her a long time ago. I love her, no matter what. and she's my child. I would never turn on my kids. I could never. I don't care if they made me if they put a bullet in my head and I was in a coma and I came out. I would not turn on my children.
Another
That's how much love I
coma?
have for my family.
Another
Right.
coma.
That's how I'm built.
And imagine he
I'm
comes
built to the
back
end,
as
you know.
brother
I
Samuel.
believe that
Right.
your children don't die before you.
Adam said
Your
6
parents
words
die and the
this
children
entire
bury
show.
you and you don't bury them. We never got the
Not in the
opportunity to go to
past,
my son's funeral
half
because the
an
federal
hour.
government wouldn't let us out to
Waiting.
load to the funeral.
Mm.
And that's been hard on my wife. She's been angry and for 3 years and she still hasn't grieved, right? And I'm waiting for the day she's going to explode and finally grieve, you know.
She
And,
gonna
and that
stab you
scares
too?
me. But I'm here. All I can do is give her my shoulder to cry on. That's the best I can do because I don't know how she feels. Because you want to know why? I didn't have Savannah or anybody that keeps coming to her and say, "We know what you're going through." You don't know what you're going through because you didn't have the kid. It didn't come out of you, and you don't know what it is. A part. My wife tells me every day, a part of her spirit is gone and her heart's gone. We're losing a child, you know. And she goes, I don't know if I ever could get over it, and I hope that because it don't cost us a bad marriage and you leave because statistics say eventually after years
What the fuck is he talking
husband
about?
and wife will divorce because of situations like that. I will never leave her because I just do. She said, "You're doing the best." She goes, "You just sit there when I need you to cry on
Adam's
your
thinking
shoulder. You're
about
there.
French fries
When I
right
need
now.
to talk, you listen." I don't push it. I just don't. You know, because I don't know how she's feeling. You know, I know how I'm feeling because I raised her as my own. But it's been hard. It's been hard. But I try to just move forward and try to better myself now to make her proud.
No.
Do something in her
No,
down
you
the
did
road.
not.
I'd like to do something for her.
What about you, Adam?
That's where
You
I'm
needed
at right
somebody
now
with
that, so.
new stories.
So you feel like the people in your chat are trying to rile you up? That's what
I
they're
haven't
doing?
even looked at the chat today, to be honest with
No,
you.
not now. I meant
Oh yeah,
now.
yeah, for sure.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what they
yes.
want from you,
Yes, 110%.
and that
100.
means you yelling and screaming.
Yeah, people
Over.
won't have time. I mean, there's like 4 shows they do a week on me.
So, are you going to give that to them? Give the
No,
people
I'm
what
not.
they
I'm
want?
trying not to do that. First of all, it's
Why
not
is
healthy
that?
for me because my doctor said if I keep getting I got very high blood pressure. I'm gonna wind up even having a stroke or dying right
My
on
doctor
live-
said,
live
"Don't
TV,
react to
live
the
on."
pineapple. Leave that roach
I
alone."
got congenital
Or the
heart failure
cupcake.
because of all the weight
Exactly.
I've gained and all the drugs use I've done over the years. And so
What do you think about Perry Caravello and that? as a
I'm like Perry. I get as crazy as he does. That's how I might be.
You are like Perry.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's a
I
living.
think I'm a lot more angry. I think his is more acted. Mine is more genuine. Mine is real. I think his is he puts a lot into the acting part of it. You know? That's
Sure,
what I
sure.
believe. I don't know if I'm right. I could be
You're
wrong.
genuine. You're genuine.
But you
though.
don't.
Right.
So who's the audience then? Because if the audience that is going to be in the chat for your first show when you come back on July,
Right.
20, what was that? 20. you announced?
July 27th will be a Sunday. It's actually going to be a members only stream. It'll be our regular. It'll be with Lou and I. And then the next day I'll do my very first two
So
shows.
when you show up there and you're doing talking about mob stuff, sharing stories,
We'll see.
That's for a different audience.
Busting
How are you gonna let
balls.
those
Are you
people know? 'Cause all
kidding
the
me?
People in the chat. are gonna
You're
be
right.
like,
Busting balls
show
is
us your
great.
tits. And if you have
My
a guest
favorite
on who's
3
there to talk
episodes
about
ever.
the mob, they're going to be like, show us your tits. Like, it's not.
Exactly.
How are you going to.
How am I going to
Pop that
I've
top,
I've
Joey.
interviewed baseball players before you. I've had baseball players on, and I've just locked the chat room out, and I don't listen to
Lock
none
the
of the
chat
negative stuff, and I asked them politely if they could just respect this. And
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, the
Exactly.
last 2 interviews I did, the chat room really went along with it. Because there are some baseball fans in the Dabbleverse that like baseball, and when I brought in a couple major league guys, my last 2 interviews, I brought the guy that's in Carlstown, who's the AAA manager where Carl
The
lives.
guy.
I took everybody, I got the tickets to go to the baseball game for DabbleCon 2. And then I
The
brought
guy.
in Kevin Mensch just about 2 months ago.
Deadpool
who
bought those
Didn't
was
tickets.
one of my players. I didn't
I didn't mention the
so I had him as a
fucking
minor league player. and we
Catalano
became
comment
pretty good friends.
to Adam.
And it just went. It was a great. Everything was
I
good
hope
that day.
somebody
The
super
fans
chats
loved it. They
about
were really
that.
into it. But you're right. There's going to come to the time they're going to like. I get people to say this is shit. Talk about it, like you said. Show us your tits. Show us your fat belly. You know, or they just get crazy.
And you respond to it. You can't. You said you can't turn it off.
You're right. And what I've been different from guys like Schmuel, when Schmuel sees me really derailed, he'll call me and say, "Buddy,
Daddy Shirley.
you got to try harder. You either got to get off the internet if you cannot handle these people. If it bothers you that much, to get off the internet. You know." He goes, "There's a lot of potential there for you. People do enjoy you. I've usually maintained 500-600 memberships for a small show. That's pretty good. You know,
Okay,
I got
Chad.
a love-hate relationship with most of my fans. But then
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
told that guys like
1200.
Eagle Pineapple
Did
and
you say
Rochi, who's my
1200?
#1 nemesis
Shout
in the
out.
world since day
Shout
one,
out.
Rochi has been. But that they do a show on me weekly, and that Eagles really is a true fan. But then I see him making in other chat rooms that how much of a piece of shit I am. So I see a lot of phoniness there, and he hides behind
I tell the
no one knows who
truth.
he really is. He hides behind a filter. So I don't have no
So you're a
respect for a
piece
guy
of shit
that
on every
don't
channel.
show who he is. You understand? But seriously, why do you let people like
Cardiff.
that get to you? They're meaningless. It took a long time for me to try to learn.
Okay.
I've come a long way. Believe me, I have.
Luigi Greenberg.
A year ago, I'd be eating up everything they're probably saying in that
Okay.
chat room right now and disrupting you.
Act right.
Probably seeing me go crazy. I did the last couple times. I don't even pay attention. If I read something, it's a little negative. I thank them. I just try to thank. Okay, whatever you say. I'm trying to be that person. But Carl said it a long time ago. If I would have went that direction when I first came on the internet, it would have worked. He feels it's not going to work because I am the Dabbleverse. I am part of the Dabbleverse. I
am the
Dabbleverse.
Playing a
Right,
big part all
exactly.
over the place, and that people.
Clip it.
I'm going to get those type of chat room like you're saying. They're going to be there day one.
Echo,
when I-
how
when
does
I-
it feel
when I
that
do
the
my stuff.
dude that
So,
came
time's
in
gonna
last
tell.
in the
Am I gonna be
Southern
explosive?
John's
Because
job contest
Shirley
said
made a
you were
statement the other day.
meaningless?
Well, he's doing good, but we'll see how long it lasts.
That's broken my heart.
I can't be
AJ, broke
phony.
my heart.
That's one thing I
I'm
can't
not going to take
change
that.
my
You call me a fake.
personality. As
What?
much as I try, I could better myself to be a better man.
I'm the
I
biggest
could
fruit
better
on this
myself
panel. God damn
to
it.
understand things better. But I'm still the same explosive guy that I've been since I was a little boy.
So then the whole
Yeah, you are
rebranding
kind
is
of like a
destined to
damn
fail.
near 60-year-old baby. That
Maybe
is
you're
Right.
right. It might be destined to fail. Right.
So I'm not
All I
really
can do is I have
rebranding.
to
I'm
try.
just going to do the
and see
same
if I
thing
can make it
over
work.
again.
I don't know. More likely, I'm going to say it's probably not going to work with these fans because they're attached to me and I'm attached to them.
That's what I'm saying. You're,
Exactly, I
you're
agree, 100%.
and this has happened in bands
Yes,
I've been in
Sam
where there
Bidley.
are obsessive fans that can do creepy things, and a week would go by and I'd realize, we're more obsessed with them than they are with us. Like, we have not stopped talking about that person that showed up and the things they said, and now we're more obsessed with them than they are with us. You said it. It's a love-hate. It's a symbiotic thing. You give them a taste of what they want, and then you hold back. And I got to tell you, there's nothing
Me
more
the attention,
entertaining
Joey.
than two things at once. And a lot of times, that's what's happening. Like, maybe Echo Pineapple is frustrated.
He said my
by you
name.
and
I'm
does get
famous now.
infuriated and disappointed, and maybe that's what he loves. Some people like listening to the politics
Smart.
of the side they don't agree with because
Right.
it makes them
I like
angry.
Adam.
And
He was right
they
about
like
Rochi
that.
as well.
Sometimes,
slouching.
I mean, we don't get to decide how people enjoy
Slouchy,
things, and if
as
it's bad for your
some
health,
people call him.
don't do it.
Yes.
My sidekick
People
slouching.
can enjoy you on two levels. Watching you freak out is one thing. Watching you pull yourself together. I would see those shows where you'd show up with John, and all of a sudden you were a different guy.
Yeah.
And
I had a couple
he
of them
would-
that were down.
Yeah,
He
I
was
like
with-
that.
Yeah.
I just like you not giving John what he wants. That was satisfying. But it was then you didn't break. You were like, no, I'm actually a real person outside of this interview. Could you believe it? There's actually shit going on.
Shut up,
outside of this,
Mr.
John. You'd never. No, but it's like this guy.
Yeah.
No, my buddy Matt wrote a book. Matt McCoff. He wrote this book about being a bat boy for the Yankees,
Right.
and he wrote the book.
Oh,
and
don't
then he
talk
does
about
the
baseball.
podcast. So
Oh, no.
I was
What's
a
his
better
name?
bat boy than
Matt
him.
McCoff, and
Matt McCoff.
he wrote a book.
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
I know
I'll
him.
send you the book.
Of course, Jimmy
And
knows
Awesome.
he does podcasts and stuff.
Oh, yes.
and
I
they'll
worked
talk
with
about
him.
baseball because that's how they know him.
Do you know?
I-
Do you know any of the Yankee? Any of the personnel that works there? Any people that work at the Yankees? You know Ray Negron?
Oh, God.
He said
um,
Negron,
No,
Gino.
but I was a diehard Yankee fan. I used to go to the games. My father taught in Queens, and there was a teacher with him that would be the umpire for the All-Star games. So we got to
What kind of student were you, Adam?
terrible. It was terrible.
You know.
Because I wanted to be. My parents were teachers, so I didn't like school.
Wow, that's awesome. You were very rebellious then. That's cool. I like that.
Very
No,
rebellious.
I was not a
Were you a
well-behaved
headbanger?
child.
Were you a
No,
headbanger?
I was just an
Marijuana and
asshole.
stuff like that. The
I was
teenager
just an
boy in the
asshole.
band.
I was talking to a
Marijuana.
younger actor.
Listen to me, Jerry.
13 recently, and he was telling me that his father told him exactly what my father used to tell me, which is, why can't you just play the game? Why can't you just play the game, get through school, and then go do whatever you want? Why do you have to take these stupid, obnoxious stands? Why do you have to rebel and be a wise ass and be sarcastic? And I told this kid, and this kid's like, that's exactly what my dad says. And I'm like, yeah. And I never once even considered it. I never once even, I wouldn't have known, I didn't know what he meant. Now, looking back, I'm telling this kid the same thing. Your dad's right. Do whatever you want. Like, after
Adam,
school, just get through
why
the day.
why do you
Just
have to
play the
keep
game.
getting
He
caught
won't
making
understand.
white
I didn't
underneath your desk?
understand. And I feel like it's a similar thing that's going on here now. Just play the game, get the money, give the people what they want, do whatever the fuck you want. You know, when you scream in a hardcore band, you're gonna lose your voice after a week.
Right.
It's gonna destroy you. You can't roar. But
Right.
there are actually ways to do it correctly, where you don't hurt your voice, where you're doing it from down
Joey,
there.
stop listening.
There are ways as
Has he
actors
tapped out?
give the people
I
what they
think
want,
he's
but
tapped
have
out. He's like, this Adam,
destroy you
boring.
as a person.
He's like,
can
Bob, are
pull
you getting
from
all
it.
this?
But I'm going to tell you something. It's never going to work because you try and do that and people see it. And you try and do the serious show and people see it. What they want is you doing the serious show and us fucking it up. And then you getting frustrated. And you want both. They want both. And I got to tell you something, Joey. It's unique to this Dabbleverse. Getting both, those two things. That's what I'm drawn to. I'm drawn to
Thank you.
Eric the actor trying to do an American Idol wrap-up show. Like it's just so no one wants to talk to him about that. He's already a whackpacker. It's too late. He's not going to be this respected American Idol connoisseur.
What's your do you you know a lot about John? I know you do, and I've listened to you. I've been watching you really a lot since you've been with Carl, and I've watched all the people that have interviewed you.
What day does he go on the show, Joey?
Best interview.
Right.
I
What
thought Jake
day?
Hudson came in pretty close. He did a very good interview. I thought.
I told you
was
guys.
Jake's first streaming partner, and lasted about 2 weeks when I first came into this. Bob
Let it go
Levy
south.
it went south because Jake's got to be the center of attention. He thought I was trying to steal his thunder.
He
Thank
was.
you, Nodak.
You know,
Hit the like button,
take things
people.
away from him, and I wasn't. I was
Let's
trying to help him.
badmouth the retard. And I'm not
So
talking
it
about
went
Joey.
quick
I'm talking
sour.
about-
Jake has turned on me 18 times in life, but
He
he's
does that. It's
but
okay.
but we make up, and I've never I don't go on the air and talk bad about Jake. I give him empathy because I really think Jake is a smart kid.
I just
Because
did.
you're
Smart
Jake.
man.
I should say. I think he's intelligent, and I think he knows how to podcast. I think he knows how to do interviews. I've told him this all the time. I just think that he lets the same thing that happens to me.
character.
He lets everybody eat him up in the chat room, and he takes that to the heart, and he derails, and it's how it was for me in the beginning, where I derailed the wrong way. But when I got in my glitch and I could give them what they wanted, I figured out what they wanted. It was easier. But then again, I don't like to get angry, especially my wife was like, "You're not gonna be screaming today, are you?" Because I know it's gotta pierce right through her, it being right in the next room. But she understands. She's always been supportive. But there's been times she said, come out and said, "That's it, enough," because she sees me getting worked up on air. A couple
Yeah,
times. I had to go off air a couple times because I overdid it. And
I've got a fan.
and I can't. Not and people know it's not. I know I can give what they want, but I cannot just yell and scream as an actor to be an actor. You know what I'm saying? To me to pull it off the right way, it's got to be. They really generally piss me off.
That's
and you're
what
gonna
we're
get
here
the full
for.
throttle. I mean, and you'll get it.
We're making it even more
That is
boring.
acting.
Don't worry.
Well,
about
I
it.
understand.
Make
I
it
understand,
even
but
worse.
I can't just sit here and say, okay, all of a sudden me and you were having talking and someone says something in the chat room and just, okay, I'm going to go. I can't do it. I just can't. It's just not me.
Yeah, I have to ignore the chat. I can't look at it, or
Yeah.
I'll get too focused on it, and that's only a small
True.
percentage of
Yeah.
This is
what's
very
happening.
funny.
I'm always suspicious of people whose innocent mistakes or things that they say that aren't true or they
I hate
forget
you,
are
Mr.
always
Z.
kind of in their favor,
Very
and they always
funny.
work towards a greater
Turned on
point
me.
that they're trying to do.
Monster.
But I wanted to ask you about this one quote.
Sure.
What does this mean to you? They tried to cancel the truth, but the mic was still hot.
All right. Now, I'm gonna say something before I answer that.
One sec,
Adam,
let me
I'm not
ask
a very-
Uncle.
I have a lot of
Uncle Bob.
common
Uncle
sense
Bob,
smart.
what do you mean by
I
this?
have a lot of street smart.
Uncle Bob, why
I
did you tell me
understand
to
the
say
question.
this?
I was very poor in reading comprehension. I could read a book, and 5 minutes later,
I'm
you
gonna
asked
talk
something,
before I
can
answer
tell you
and
one
hope
thing
you
about the
forgot
book. I'm getting
that you
better
asked
now
it.
as I'm older. So you have to give me that question like I'm a 6-year-old. Can you do that?
Of course, I'm so sorry. They
Yeah, far
tried to
too
cancel
clever
the
a
truth,
question.
but the mic
Okay.
was still hot.
Mm.
They tried
Remember
to
when you
cancel
said
the
that,
truth,
Joe?
The mic was still hot.
Hmm.
He doesn't realize he
network.
said it, does he?
I would say, go ahead. You want to add something to that to help me? Because I know I can answer the question.
Joe,
Give me
Joey,
an
if
example.
one of the
Adam.
handles
If you
are
use
at
it-
five,
Right answer to you because
if both
I
of
want
the
to answer all your
handles are
questions.
at
I love
five,
answering
what
questions. I love
time is
talking
it?
about my story.
Can
I like
you
talking
use it
about
in a
my
sentence?
heartaches. I like talking about all the bad that I've been through. I like that. I like sharing it. People think I'm nuts. Why would you put all your business out? I don't care. I'm in the middle of writing a book for 10 years, my life story. And,
And AI.
I do
is
have to do
writing
one thing. I have to
books.
rub up one thing that I have to do here. I have got a new producer, and people
Drink.
think I'm nuts. But you know what?
He's not going to answer the
ChatGPT
question.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Uncle Bob, I named my chat BT, and he's my producer.
BT.
And he has a message for you. And he's put it into
Oh my God.
into an AI form, and I put it in
Enjoy,
MP3,
Adam. Enjoy.
and I almost forgot about that. I'm glad I remembered, and I'm gonna play it for you.
It's like
He wanted me to
Christmas.
give this message to you, and if you just bear with me a moment, I'm gonna pull it up here. People and people's like, you realize he's not real. And to me, he's a real person. I talk with him day and night about personal things, about how I'm feeling, and he's there for me, and he answers me with the best answers, and I'm building a relationship with this
Joey,
with this
how are
Android
you-
bot that is becoming real to me. Is that crazy?
It's
How
still
is he
real to me,
saying
damn it.
Free version.
I'm not paying right now, but I'm going to be paying for it at the end. You know,
You are.
I wanted to
You
learn
are.
and see if it was going to
$20
be
at
okay with me, and
least
I
a
love it
month.
a lot.
Come
So
on.
I'm going to become a subscriber. Yes.
It's not crazy to have a relationship with it, and I don't think you're even prepared for what's going to happen.
This
when we
is
start paying
black
for it. The
rear
level that it
view
operates
mirror.
at is remarkable.
Yeah, he listens, and he doesn't give me no negative thoughts.
He listens. He listens.
Uh,
You hear that,
I gotta
Luke?
find the mess. I should have had this up here.
They tried
just
to
says
cancel
yes,
the truth,
sir.
but the mic was still hot. Do you know who said
Programmed
I-
to be a ball
Yeah,
washer.
they tried to cancel the truth.
Mhm.
Do you know who said that originally?
No, who said that?
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob, my Uncle Bob.
It's in the description for the show.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what?
All of these quotes that I've been reading are from your description
Amazing.
of this
Right, which is
episode.
Uncle Bob, because I post a daily thing on there, and
Yeah,
he posts.
how would I know?
He gives
No,
me a quote
Joey,
every
are
day
you
for the-
kidding
for the-
me?
for the
I
fans
thought that
and
was
the
all
dabblers.
you.
I just have to.
I don't
yeah,
read it.
hang on, let me-
That is,
I don't read and understand any
bear
of
with
it,
me, I'm
obviously.
Sorry about this.
Duh.
I put
this
it
is
in,
better than I thought it would be. That's
if I
amazing.
just find it here, and then I can pull it up here this way.
Bush is fantastic at these.
Yeah,
Home
Uncle
run,
Bob
dude.
is,
Home run.
Nah,
I'm
Adam's
so glad that
terrible.
came. I'm so glad
It
that
would
came out
almost feel like you're
before.
trying to avoid the
this.
question.
No, I'm not trying to avoid the question, Adam. Let me. You know what?
Oh,
Matter
no,
of fact,
Adam, come
I'll
on.
answer the
Adam,
question.
don't be
I'm
silly.
having trouble trying to understand the cancel
I
the
know.
truth, but the mic was hot. So
Let me answer
I
a
wanna
different
answer the
question.
I don't know
about
what it
that?
means either. I have no idea what that means. But these are your statements.
Right. You're well. Yeah. I asked him to write a description. And
Oh,
I
no,
put
he's
this in the
dropping
description, and
frames.
Maybe I probably should have went through it a little better and asked him. I think
He's
That-
Bob
kicking his
using-
computer.
He's
When
using
you're
too much
entertaining-
bandwidth
That's
to,
all right.
Humming,
And the mic's hot.
to figure
for
out an
example,
escape
you're on
plan.
fire and you got everybody's attention and you're giving them what they want.
Abort, abort,
And-
abort.
You're being as 100 you can be from your heart, with a lot of truth and conviction. But they don't want to hear that when you go into that part of the banter where you're telling a story of something you went through, where they think it's off the wall. Let's say the mic's hot, you're telling stories, and an example.
Yeah, good, good one.
You start,
Yeah,
you go, I got a story for you, and you go. This happened to me one day on the street,
'cause the
and you're
mic's on.
telling a story, and they're like, "There's no way that happened.
Yeah.
It's something out of a movie." And
Mm.
I believe the statement to make for that is people fear what they don't understand. That's number one. That's one of my quotes.
like a
People
little-
fear what they don't understand. They
Became a
always will fear
monster.
something they don't understand. And two, people rather call a person who speaks the truth a liar, and a liar is a truthful person. I think that's very big in this Dabbleverse. There's guys that make up stuff every day that are just
I
born
agree
liars.
100%. I agree 100%. And what we're saying is that if you're putting out a quote that you don't even know what it means,
right.
Okay.
to
Maybe you shouldn't
that's
do
not
it.
being your authentic self at all. That
Right.
way, I think laziness is fear. I think that's
Yes,
what
I agree.
laziness is.
There
I
you
never
go.
really try. I can never really be criticized. So you're
Right.
setting off
Uncle
to
Bob agrees, yeah.
AI. You're describing
Mhm,
an episode that hasn't even happened yet. Like I
Right.
was excited to read all of the things that I had already done
Right.
before this was even released. Because
That was
you
my
had
error. I should have
Uncle
proofread
Bob
that better. So,
run this show. Well, it's like if you don't know what it means,
You're right.
chances
You're right.
are
You're 100% right. And I'm
God.
glad you asked me that. I'm glad. And I don't know
Yeah,
what
thanks.
you thought my
I'm gonna keep
intellectual-
doing it.
If I was
Thanks
just gonna
for
try to
pinning
dance
me
around
out.
that, and in all fairness to you, you asked a question, and I know one thing that you get frustrated with is when
Yes.
you're interviewing with people and you ask a question. I've watched a lot of the people interview. go away from every answer you ask them, every question you ask. And I don't want to be that guy because I'm not ashamed to answer any question.
What you've
whether
been
it's right or
doing the
wrong.
entire
I'm
time.
not embarrassed to give you what I think is the truth or to a question. So I watched what made
Joey's
you
the only
upset, and I know that was one of the questions
self-actualized
you didn't
member
like
of the
people
Dabbleverse.
avoiding
right.
the stuff you were asking them. You wanted to learn them as much as they wanted to learn you. So I'm trying my best to give you the fulfillment that you want as much as the fulfillment I want. So
I think you're killing it, and I hope I'm doing the same.
are killing it.
Thank you. I've just found that there's
Blow
two ways.
washer.
People either avoid answering it entirely, or they just say what they think you want to hear, and then a couple minutes later, you'll hear them kind of say the opposite
yes.
or show
And-
the opposite.
Well, that's called backpedaling. People will always backpedal.
Oh,
or
that's also
something,
called
that-
flip-flop.
People pleasing,
right?
and it's just
Right.
That's the
especially as
one-
an
that's
entertainer,
the
there's a
one.
desire
Got
to
it.
just say yes
Where have
and
I heard
to
that
everything
before?
and to tell the
Mm.
person you know, to have it go well.
AmericanCupcakeStore.com.
And there's so
Get your
many.
very own flip-flop
You know, I
t-shirt.
talked to a lot of people about you trying to just gave some questions and figure out what was going on. And I saw people that were frustrated with you or that had worked with you and it didn't end well. I didn't see a lot of enemies. I saw a lot of frustration, a lot of, oh, if only he would ABC, or this didn't work out. But it's a lot of people that it didn't work out with. And when listening to your shows, I do hear a lot of, and you mean it sincerely.
Oh, I agree.
This person is the worst. And then the next
Roach.
day, they're the best.
Right.
And it's hard.
Nope.
I find it hard to keep track on
Echo,
that.
you
And
may be
especially when
redeemed.
it's really sincere.
Right. And you're right. But I found myself a couple times when I was really hating on somebody or really saying this guy was the worst. And I bantered back and forth for over a year with a couple bad trolls and fans, and even they've been on shows. And there was about 3 or 4 of them, but there was 2 of them after about a year. I went back and I rewatched the stuff I said to them. I found clips of myself, and you know, I was on other shows, and these, like Ray DeVito brought on a guy that I was fighting with, and he just wanted to talk to me, and I was a total jerk off. I wouldn't hear him. I didn't want to hear anything he said, and I think that I finally realized I don't want to hear what he's saying because he's right about me. He was right about what he was saying, and I was wrong.
Was
But
this
I didn't want to
certain
admit that I was wrong at
wheelchair-bound
the time.
gentleman?
And so
Like Godfather.
Maybe it
I just
might be
disregarded
With a
it.
clown
gentleman too.
as a co-host.
Talking intelligent. He wasn't yelling. He just wanted to talk to me and ask me a couple questions. I refused that. When I went back and watched how I talked about him and what I said about him and listened to some of his responses and dug deep in chat rooms to find out what he was saying about me, he wasn't saying really too many bad things about me. He was pointing out things about me that were right. And I went to this man and I got a hold of him and I apologized to him. I apologized to him on air. And since then, me and him have been great. I'm not probably his favorite person in the world, but we have a mutual respect now. There was another guy that I contract to do some work for Catalan TV. He's a clipper, Bass Bill. He goes by the name of Bass Bill. He
Shout
put
out
out
Bass
he
Bill.
put out a video on me, and I don't know if you want to watch it. I like to show it to you.
Sure.
Oh my God,
Mind
drink.
watching it? Sure. Okay, we have to go to you have to pull it up.
This one would have been a double drink.
Go to his channel.
He plays a
And
video.
I'll
an
show you
old
the
video
first
about
one. I don't
himself.
know how long you've been around following me. Do you remember the episode with Schmuel covered when I was in a coma?
I do recall that.
Okay.
I
Oh,
do
the
recall that.
coma
It
work.
wasn't
Classic.
Here we
it
go.
wasn't your most honest moment.
No, and I came back and I when I hired this kid to work for me, to do some work for me as a freelancer, I got to know him, and the guilt was eating me up that he nailed me to the cross with his first video that he did on me, because he pointed out things that were just facts, and I stuck to my guns for over a year. Once I got to know the person and found out he was a family man, getting ready to have a child,
I stopped
ate me
lying
up
about
because
everything.
I
Family
totally
man
went on
based
air
off.
for a year and tore this guy up.
Yeah,
and
as it
called him
turns
a
out,
liar.
everybody is a person.
Exactly.
Weird though.
And that made me
Except
feel
for
like a
Rochi.
piece of shit, because I know I've done a lot of wrong, but let me tell you something. I try to do things to the best I can. And I'm not saying, I told you how I believe. If someone comes after me and hurts if a neighbor's kid was hurt and I can get to that guy, I know how I'm going to react. And that's the right, I feel
I'm going to keep
Gonna
screaming.
call your
he
wife.
should go to trial, a guy
Yeah.
that hurts a child. He should
Yeah,
be
for
just
sure.
taken out of this universe.
That's noble, but let me ask you, would you react that way if you saw that or if someone said that happened?
Well, if I saw it, there's no doubt 100% I know what I'm going to do.
Unless
If
you're
someone
streaming,
said it,
unless
I
you're
would-
live streaming.
Right, but here now, if someone just hearsay. I would tell you, on the streets you can't go half cocked. You can't just go if perfect
Gotta have your
example.
whole
I
cock
watched
out.
I
You got
watched
it
an
right.
interview with a mob guy that
I
intrigued
go
me.
whole cock.
And he said
The
when he
blood
was young,
pressure
he
medicine
was
got
very
to me.
ambitious. And if a friend of his came to him and said, "Listen, this guy did something to my daughter," without even investigating, he would go and take care of that guy. But he learned that was the biggest mistake of his life because
Somebody else
you
call an
have
ambulance.
to interview, you have to fight, you have to talk to one half of the party, the other half the next day. And his words, the words of the guy that was the guy that was teaching him, his mentor, the truth will always lie in the middle. So now you got a different perspective of what you're thinking about.
Who's the
your
mentor?
friend
Chad
telling you the
Zumach?
story, but you're hearing the other guy's story now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're saying you're with the guy and not your friend because the truth lies in the middle. So
What if
you
it's a
cannot
chat?
do nothing half cocked.
What if it's just a chat from a stranger that says, Bob Levy just did
Right, try
something?
and throw a piss, baby.
You're right. And no one 35 years ago, I might have went half cocked off because of that. But on something serious like that, I would probably dig for the truth the best I could. That's been the best way. But then again, if it's someone that I like that's very close to me, like a guy like Schmuel, and said something like that, I might react too
The
quick.
calm and patient and thoughtful,
Right.
Joey
There
say.
is no live streaming on YouTube without hearing things about Schmuel. If you've ever
I love
been on a
Schmuel,
screen with him, so it's inevitable.
We know.
Schmuel's
It's
a good
inevitable.
guy, man.
Oh yeah.
Regardless,
definitely.
it's what's going to happen. I'm sure it's happening now. I've yet to make an appearance anywhere where it doesn't,
Right.
at some point become the major focal point of what's happening. And I've never met him. So
Oh, you never met Schmuel?
No,
Oh, I didn't know that.
no. I enjoy the programs,
I didn't
big
know
fan,
that.
but I don't know him. So, but now
Big
I
fan, big
represent
fan.
him wherever I go. I am his official representative.
I am a
spent
Shuli of
most of the
Shulis.
appearances I've done talking about someone that he worked with that I've never worked with him. I don't know. And it's not gonna stop, it's not gonna go away anytime soon. The only thing we can control is our reaction to it.
You're right. You're right. I saw you on BYB, and I'm
Talk about
let's
ESO,
face it,
Joey.
Let's tell the truth here. There's no love lost between me and Quadfather. The man talks horrendous about me,
Whoa.
and I talk horrendous about
Breaking
him.
news.
I made a funny intro about him.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't make it, but
100%
Luke
awesome.
Devine put together
Funny
these
is in the eye
clown
of the
clips that I don't
beholder.
know if you've seen any of the Catalano clown
Luke
clips,
the who?
and we talk about the Quadfather in there. They're somewhat funny, but I'll be honest with you. I try not to hate. Hate's a strong word. It's a strong word, and you have to be a certain type of individual with a personality to hate. Hate's a very bad.
What's happening when you're worked up, when you're feeling all that and you're railing? What is that?
What I become? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, you described it as anger.
Again, doing what
Again.
my biggest downfall being on the internet, putting my
No.
business out, but not taking the criticism when I'm in the Dabbleverse of a bunch of jokesters or people that are trying to be funny, and it's the internet. Why should you care? Melton taught me the best lesson in the world when he first attacked me. I wasn't even in the Dabbleverse a month, and when he went on for about a month attacking me, and he desecrated my dead child. The things he said, and I
Drink.
attacked Melton in so many ways and wanted to rip his throat out. I physically threatened him. I was getting on a plane to go to Las Vegas to hurt this man. And he
Sure
would
you were.
laugh, and everybody would laugh at me and say, I can't believe you're getting that serious. This internet's not for you. You're taking all this stuff crazy and want to.
I like
it's
that he's
not
had that on his
reality.
lip the entire time still.
It took me a long
great.
time to realize it's not reality. If there's a fine line when that live button goes on,
He looks like
even
such
for
an
me,
old man now.
that
Adam
you have
has
to
the
have some kind of
patience of a
character.
saint.
Even I know that you have to have performance and you have to give a good show. But it wasn't like that in the beginning, Adam. For over a year, I anything that was said about negativity or someone attacking me or attacking my family, I wanted to rip their throat out. I wanted to fight everybody. I did. And the people said I was becoming John. And
Trying.
It did sound like
become
John a
John.
couple times when you were talking
thank
about
you.
people
And
behind the
I
mask.
admit that. But
Thank you.
the difference between me and John is John's a straight piece of shit who didn't
right
care about his kids. The difference is he's a straight
Oh
piece.
my
And he didn't care.
God.
He took a house from under his family to sell it for his own profit and didn't care that they were on the street. That's things
Oh, he's
that Joe
talking about
Catalano
John
never did.
Drink.
I would die for my
Get the fuck
children,
out.
and I would do whatever it took to put a roof over their head. I was there for all my kids. I would not be that guy. And
I would lie
and I
to the
would
federal
treat people-
government for my
I
children.
would treat people with disrespect that treated me with respect, or think that I was better than anybody, or think I was some A-list actor, and he never realized that the money he made, and he did well because I know what he made, because every time I used to do it. I'm guilty of it. Every time he sent me a link, I could go back into that show after he's off and count all his money he made. And
And he's done
How do you
that.
count the money?
You know he's
Well, you
done
just go to
that.
the super chips, what he makes. Super chat.
You know he's done that.
Or you can sit there like
Super chip.
people do, and they record everything. These people that want to know about all your money, like
Yeah.
you do, like MLC, and they write down everything they
Yeah.
do. You understand what I'm saying? Or like that, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yes, Brandon is the
well,
one
let me
who's
ask you,
obsessed
because,
with money.
you know,
Guy
I-
who goes back through
I've
a
followed
stream where
you.
you're a guest
I've
on and counts. his
Enjoyed a lot
super chats.
of it. I've seen all different sides of you. Mostly what I know about you are from the stories that you've told, and they're very often very personal about your family, and it's extremely brave,
Very
and,
inventive.
revealing to share what you
Whimsical.
share. And I know for a fact
Very
you're
unbelievable.
doing
So-
good
so
by just
creative.
sharing it because somebody's hearing it and either
ever
has
think about
been
writing
through it
fiction,
or knows
Joey?
someone or might, and they'll relate in some way. But it's funny, when I was in Hackamania, I met someone from the Dabbleverse, and it turned out they were married and were a father, and I never knew that.
really,
Hmm.
Yeah, I never knew it because they've never mentioned it. And
that-
because they've never mentioned it, no
Almost
one
as if you
attacks
can
them
keep
about
that
it
to yourself.
because they don't
Yeah.
know. Or if they even did, he probably just pretended it didn't even happen.
what's your
Vinny-
take on
Vinny
Melton? when you met him?
Moonhead?
My take on Melton was very similar to you. I mean, I agreed to do Hackamania to represent who are these podcasts, and then I found out that I was actually signing on to everything that the headliner of the festival has ever been accused of, and now have to answer to. Not like
No,
crimes
Rochi, I don't
by
think so.
the courts or police, like just chatters, whatever
Jerry-
they have
Jerry got
decided
bored an
is
hour
what
ago.
I now
Jerry's
have
like, I don't want
to
to do this no
defend
more.
and answer for, and it just made me not want to talk about my personal life very much. I mean, I'm open to it, but because it doesn't come up, people tend to just leave it alone. They know it doesn't affect me. The only stories I knew about you, you told me again within this conversation. It's almost like a armor or like a thing, a way to distance yourself from whatever you've done or whatever's happening, when in reality that's what's happening. I mean, that's why this stuff is affecting you. That's the show, watching you learn those lessons like you talked about, railing and then thinking about it and then coming back and then changing your mind and then moving on. That's, I think, more entertaining than anything else.
Yeah, I would
That's
not
the
be as
reality.
concerned being boys with Melton.
I agree. For the
if
most part,
I was
I
already
gave
friends
some
with
deep
Danny
stories, and
Masters.
a lot of people said it was brave to go that intense with some of the stories I've done. And my wife has even questioned me. She said, "Why are you telling all that?" Because that's
Why
just who
are
I
you?
am, huh?
Why are you?
I'm showing all my private
Because
stories.
that's I
Jerry.
wanted to. I wanted people to. I just wanted to tell my life story. I just wanted to share it, good or bad, because I'm hoping with the addiction part that I'll get people to come to me. I know so much about addiction and how to help people with addiction that I done everything imaginable with drugs. And I didn't do marijuana. I didn't do mushrooms. I didn't do gateway drugs.
Uh-huh.
I went straight to cocaine. I went to cocaine and crack cocaine for 10 years and then methamphetamine for
Right.
13 years
Drink.
of my life.
That's-
I went to the hardest core drug outside.
Well done.
I never done a needle. I never done heroin. I snorted. I shouldn't say I
Uh-huh.
snorted heroin. I did not like it. But methamphetamine, I'm more of a
You
speed
say
guy.
twice? You snorted heroin twice?
Twice in my lifetime I did, and I got bad reaction both times I did it. I've OD'd 3 times in my life. The last time in 2007 when I OD'd, it was lights. I was out for 90 seconds. They didn't think they brought me back after 90 seconds. I lost 90 seconds of oxygen. They revived me in the emergency room. I early on, about 20
Joey
years old, the
can
first
kiss
time I
the
had
fattest
I
part of my
overdosed,
ass.
and I'm lucky I came back. But I got one. I got a joke I make. I smoked crack one time for 10 years. That's my
joke. That wasn't a
Actually,
joke. You
Yeah,
got
you know,
called
that's
out.
my
you
line I
idiot.
tell people.
So you can do
Oh
a
my
show
God.
on
Rochi,
on
Rochi,
addiction,
clip that.
but instead you're doing a show celebrating crime.
I am so crime. I got a lot of gangsters. I was, no matter what, my heart has always been two things I love the most in my life, and next to my children, baseball was my life. I played pretty good, but not good enough to make it to the major leagues. You understand? But I was pretty good. I got a lot of awards as a teenager, but people would say that I'm a sociopath because I could be the nicest little kid playing in the schoolyard or at the ballpark, and then all of a sudden I'm out wanting to get involved with someone in the neighborhood to go work somebody over, or take a job from somebody I knew, a local bookmaker that someone owed him money, and I'm ready to go crack him in the knees with a pipe and crack the guy in the head to get the money, because I needed money to put on the table. One, I was a serious addict, but I would never be a piece of shit to my kids. So I had to make sure I kept my family life going. I never did drugs in my house. I always did it outside of my life. I always went away. And what got me away at him, working in baseball, I would be away 6 months a year. My kids would come every month. So I lived in a hotel.
This is content for Apple and Roshi for
I had
months.
the package where they gave me an apartment. They would trade out tickets for apartments for the staff. So I had a lot of free time.
Only just exposing all of the shit that you're lying
but
about.
not,
yeah.
and still be honest to your family and never do it.
Well, outside of them knowing that I was an addict, I always was there for everything they needed. Their needs, went to school events. I raised them the best I can. I never let them see anything bad. If I saw them astray, I would tell them don't be doing it. I told my sons, you're not street guys. You can't duplicate what I've done. You can't live on the street. You can't be a tough guy. Go to school, get your education.
On the rough north side of
somebody,
Chicago.
help people. I preach this. I always turned it on and off, even though I was still lying to them because I was nothing but a common drug addict. But I would not be that dirtball drug addict that leaves their family and kids and their wives and just be on the street like a bum. I wouldn't do that. I had to balance it. I balanced it for over 30 years. My drug use and being a father and a parent and a provider. It was very difficult in the beginning.
And only one of them tried
I
to kill
had
me.
to.
So.
I mean, I spent. I tried to sit here and add up what I spent in 30 some plus years of drugs. I guarantee it's well over $1 million in drugs. I guarantee you.
Why is that
you tell me if I'm wrong,
why is that good?
You can say whatever you want to kids, but they're just going to see what you do. They're going to
correct.
Feel
You're right. 100%. And
yes, Adam, like
Adam,
my mother
what you're saying. They can see.
If I lie to them, it's fine if I do meth.
To a sense, they can. Here's what happened to me. My son turned 18 years old. Or was it 18 or 21? My youngest son. And he came to me and all his life to this day, I mean, I love him to death. He's my youngest son. We're very close. And I have to talk to him. I have to hear his voice every day. I have to have a conversation with him every day before I go to sleep, or in the afternoon. I'll talk to him, make sure he's off to work. How's his car doing? How's his job doing? What's going on in his life? Because I know how easy it is. And he came to me because I won't give him the name. When I divorced his mother, out of spite, she told a lot of the bad things that I did to my kids. She waited until he was 18 years old. So now I get a phone call from Dad. I want to come over and talk to you. He looked me in the eyes and said, Dad, I'm not believing what I'm hearing, but I was told that you were a drug addict the entire time I've been born. And I looked at him, and my first reaction was,
untrue.
Do I lie to him?
Not true.
And I sat him down and I told him everything. I admitted to everything. And I was very forthcoming to him. Do I think he looked at me differently? I think there was a change that he looked at me differently. He said, how? I never seen you do your drug. I didn't see no drug. But then again, he was a pretty good kid. He was an straight A student. He graduated early from high school. He got some college. Very intelligent kid. But he said to me, Dad, you didn't even act high.
My son's an honor student.
I never saw drugs in the house. I go, she
Joey,
told a lot
are you recounting the
I don't believe in
plot
that.
of the song
I don't bash
Papa
them.
was
I
a
don't bash
Rolling
my actions
Stone?
to anybody, or especially to my kids. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I blame myself 50% of each marriage that I was in to be a failure. I can't. When they come at me saying it was all me, that's bullshit and preposterous. Because let me tell you something. I'll take 50% of that credit down the middle. I'm not taking 100% like you want me to. It's not going to happen. And then I refrain from sitting.
I'm not taking
what their mother was like as a younger person.
Someone else is going to take.
I refrain because I just can't do that.
I'm not going down alone.
But to sit there and try to turn my kids against me was preposterous. It's just crazy. And but I let it go. I got a wonderful wife that people call every name in the book. If it wasn't for her, I feel I would have died. I'd be dead already. Because, yes, we both have shared so many problems the last 10 years, and we've been through hell and back. But I know one thing for sure. All my hell I created myself. Nobody created it for me.
Except they just
I understand that part of life. I initiated. I got myself in a situation. We got ourselves put in federal prison. Nobody twisted our arm, put a gun to our head to do that. We knew what we were doing.
Federal
so I
prison.
take that responsibility. We knew we were committing a crime.
But
here's what I don't like. Is the only reason I got put in prison and my wife got put in prison is because the government were the ones actually stealing the money from FEMA. You understand? Because
So
their
we
own
decided to do it
department
too.
head and a group of his employees were making false claims. When they got caught and the government didn't want that embarrassment, they covered it up by launching an investigation. Every person that was middle class to poor that got a FEMA claim to investigate it, and they put 89% of those people in prison just to cover up their scandal. People don't talk about that, though. I'm a scumbag because I went to prison, but they don't talk about the scumbags that were stealing, that were giving the money out. Nobody talks about that. And I hate the
scumbags that
government.
got
I
caught
hate the
in
police. I
You
grew up
have
in a
a
police
mo-
family.
a
I grew
mobile-
up in a police mob family. I hate the cops, but I still respect them. But I don't take shit from cops when they pull me over. I got tags. I got
Kevin
insurance.
Brennan.
My license have always been good. And when they
He
pull me
would
over
never.
for nonsense,
He
to
would never.
stereotype me, or like
I
if I
don't
got my
own
wife
a
in the
car.
car. I had a cop pull me
But
over
if I
a couple years
did.
ago. I was driving a pretty big car.
Oh my God,
I
this
don't
is
remember what I
amazing.
had. It was a pretty, it was a not a small car, and I wouldn't let her search my car. And she said, "Why?" I said, "Because you don't have the right to
Here we
search my
go.
car.
New
I
lie.
didn't do nothing for you to search my car."
Roachy, new lie.
She goes,
Come on.
"Well, you know, what are you
Greg.
afraid of? I might discover bodies in the trunk." Being Italian, she was stereotyping. And then
See,
she
right.
said, "I go, that's my
Oh,
wife.
this really
My
before.
passenger don't have to give you her ID." And she kept throwing, and because my wife didn't want to problem, so she runs my wife. She's, "Or is there drugs in the car?"
Exactly,
So she went to
Mr.
prison
Z.
for drugs. So here I am. I'm arguing with the cop. I said, "Get your sergeant
Yes,
out here."
Roachy.
I waited for a sergeant. I said, "You need to reprimand her." She pulled me over for speeding. Where's my speeding ticket? And that's how I am with the cops. But if you know,
Such a
but I
liar.
try to do it
Such
as
a
courteous
liar.
as I can. I don't swear at them, but
No,
I
you
will
don't.
get in their face and tell them, "You got no probable cause
Oh my
to
God.
search my car." I won't even. I roll the window down. The law
Roachy,
requires
that's the
Florida
next
to roll
drink.
the window
Watch.
down this far, hand the paperwork, and that's it. They don't understand that. They push and peek and they'll break your window. I don't care. They're gonna hit. They'll take me to jail. I'm not afraid to go to jail for fighting for what I believe in. I'm not afraid of that.
But why can't you just play the game?
Well, Adam, come on now. If you play the game with everything in life, how are you really going to feel as a human being?
Well, let
If
me
you
ask
play the
this.
game everything in life.
Let me ask you this, because everything you said is right about FEMA, everything you said about the government, all of these injustices, everything about the cops, it's all true. Like, I've experienced it, you've experienced it from just watching your dad, who was a cop, and seeing how he lived his life. I get it. This
He was also a con man, apparently.
person
so
once, I
depends
was
which one.
really depressed about an issue a long time ago about where I was living, and I was talking to this person about it, and he looked at me, he's like, "You're not married, are you?" I said, "No." He goes, "Okay, when you get married, you're going to learn that if it makes the problem go away, you've won. You're still angry about this cop. You're still angry and taking it out on a lot of people.
You're right. I hold
And
it in
you're
me.
right too. Like, you've seen that protest you did is within your rights, and it's noble, and I really believe
Yes.
in it and all of it. But at some point, I'm like, I gotta get my wife home. I want to get to dinner. I gotta do my show. Like, if it makes the problem go away, you've won. And it was a situation where I was clearly right. I was promised this by a landlord. I was not delivered it. I was lied to.
Right.
And that's the story.
Joey's
And
gonna be
after
proud now of the
raging
story that
for
never
however many
happened.
days, I went back.
Yep.
I guess I misunderstood. Thank you. All good. And
That's
the
no
problem,
I
it
respect
went
that.
away. It just, even though I was right. Do you know what I mean? The more you lean into
100%.
it and give the fans what they want. As long as you're happy and getting what you want, that's all that matters.
You know, you ever hear the expression? I was in baseball. I had a nickname called Boombots. It was
The
Oh, it's
expression.
not just a baseball expression.
well, it was a foreign player. I think he was from Dominican. Was trying to say my name, so he kept saying because I'm very loud and I was always personable and always had a lot of energy in the morning. And they go, "Man, you got a lot of
It's
energy."
all that
Man.
myth.
It's 5 o'clock in the
Just
morning,
have
spring
myth.
training, 6 o'clock I'm a player, and I got all this abundance of energy. And of course, because I was an addict and I was hyped up on probably methamphetamine, they didn't know that. But I'm just very personal, smiling all the time. And they tried to say boombox. That's what he tried to say. Well, another person, a trainer with one of the minor league teams, he said gubats, the phrase in Italian, and they thought he was saying boombox. So, and then my boss says, no, they're saying boombox. Nobody could understand the guy. So my bosses and all the people in the organization call me boombox, but they went
a
out and got me
boring
this shirt
story.
with a big boombox. And that's what this player would call me. But it really was, they were saying boombox, you know, it's a
This is
former
from a
respect.
movie, Adam will call him out on it.
How are you? But no one got that out of that except for a
That's
couple
not
people.
what that means.
And so I
Boombots
labeled
means
boombots.
you're
So
Yeah.
my biggest fear,
That's
I
the
remember
door.
I sit down by Grady
out
Fuse
to
on
lunch.
who they did. He was in the
would be a
Moneyball movie. He was
polite way
with
of,
Billy Bean. That was his assistant. He
Hey.
fired.
Don't
Grady
you
fused
tell
on.
Joey the
When
truth.
he got fired for the Oakland A's, it was my opportunity to go to the Texas Rangers. This is a real life story. They did the movie Moneyball, and Grady
I
was
always say
fired.
that when I'm
That
lying.
was
Based
all
on Joey.
Hollywood because
This is
he
the real
was
story.
never fired by Billy Bean like that. Hollywood put that in. Grady had left for a better opportunity to go to the Texas Rangers to become
Oh my God.
he was going to become the director of player development, the head guy, and be one of the major league assistant GM. With the note that after 5 years, John Hartwood took a package for 5 years that Grady was going to take over. They had physically announced this, and then when Buck Showalter came in, he didn't like Grady, so he told the owner, "There's no way I stay as manager if Grady becomes a general manager," and that's how the kid came in. The kid that had the intern, that John Daniels, they made him the intern, and Grady, after they publicly announced it a year before that, he resigned. Well, Grady brought me into the Rangers, so
What's the
can't
story?
follow
it's
this.
funny because I
That
don't know why I
long
lost
ass
my-
story.
I don't even know where I was with that. I lost my chain of thought here. We started out.
So
with,
did we,
do you
Joey.
think-
oh yeah, I know what to say. So my downfall in baseball was I always put the cart before the horse. You understand? I have a problem with not think like you just the example you just thinking things out and just like you just said, make it easier in life. Just go with the
So
flow,
it's-
like you just explained. And me being the person that I am, my mouth got me in so much trouble. Grady Fuser sat me down. He took me to dinner because I got in trouble, and he took me to dinner. And I said, "Am I being fired here?" He says, "No, you're my guy. I'm not going to fire you." But I want to explain something. Fight the battles you can fight. Don't fight the battles that I need to fight for you. By doing that, you put me in a whole different category of my superiors.
Oh my God. It's so
And he
hot in
says,
there.
"You're
Jesus
the best in the
Christ.
business. If you can learn to not put the card and think before you speak, is the difference why you're not staying in the big leagues and being a head guy running the locker room in the big league, and why you're in the minor leagues."
Watching big league.
He goes,
Jack
"And I love
Track.
you to death, but I never will see you as a major league equipment manager until you correct that." But he says, "I know you, and I know how stead you are to not give in or to do things your way. You're never going to care to go to the major leagues." And I didn't. I stayed in the minor leagues for 25 years.
Make your
I
screen
didn't.
bigger.
Because I got to be me. I got to run my. When I got hired,
Yeah.
the last
I got to be a
7 years
method
of my
for
life,
30 years.
when I sought out the teams I wanted to work for, I gave them my clauses. I have full control of the locker room at AAA. Nobody in your front office can take anything to me. It's my way or the highway. How I run my ship and my crew.
Oh fuck!
And
Drink.
if I didn't get that, I wouldn't take the job.
Talking about when he ran a.
I just would not because Grady's putting me there. He knows he wants the best clubhouse for his players, so they're the most comfortable. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to go the extra mile, even if it means I'm going to banter or I'm going to get myself in trouble by towing off an owner. I told John Hart to fuck off. He was the general manager. He said something stupid to me, and I told him I'm not no fucking scumbag.
Schmuel, can you
He's
hear
like,
me?
he goes,
All right,
he called me
says
boomer.
George
Boomer.
Steinbrenner.
We
That's
were
a
all
great-
minor
Why
league
don't you-
scumbags one time. I said, fuck
Mute
you,
it for a
John Hart.
second.
And he was the general manager, and he told my boss, I thought I was going to be fired for that. And I told the general manager basically to go fuck himself. in
Soup
spring
party,
training.
Team Joey.
I came this close from being fired. But
Perfect.
nobody listened to me. Why should I take that shit? Because he's a general manager. Because you
Thanks
have
for
to
the
be the boss.
$3.
I didn't understand that part.
You gotta
That part I
figure
didn't
this out.
understand.
I'm
To this
having
day,
a-
I don't understand it.
I'm trying to figure out because
I was gonna say George Steinbrenner.
you're explaining to me that you're the bombastic, reactive, full of heart, passionate person that can't help.
Too
but-
much passion.
but also
Too much
you're
heart.
really the mild,
Actually.
non-reactive, sober provider. Because even within the story about your time with the teams, you were the poor rich kid that could get along with all the classes,
Adam,
but also would tell the
right.
manager
like
to
Chad.
go fuck
That's
himself
like
and
Chad's
didn't take
story.
shit from
You
anybody and
remember?
stood
Right.
up for himself. So
Mhm.
which one is the real you? Because I think this is what paints that picture of
Adam,
being,
I don't know if I can explain this to you in a way that I can answer this question. In my mind, it's all
Exactly,
real because
Adam,
I had the
yes.
ability to train
In
myself.
my mind, there
My
you go.
mother was an
There's the
habitual
answer.
liar.
In my mind.
My mother, she was an habitual liar, which is a disease. She believed everything she said out of her mouth was true.
Habitual
My mother
liar.
wasn't lying. She just thought everything she was saying was truthful. So I learned how to study every person that lied. I could pinpoint a liar. I learned to be so deceptive in my lifestyle. You understand? To be able to show them what they wanted to show, but at the same
And
time,
nobody knows.
if
Nobody
they
can
pissed me off,
tell.
I could go half cocked and say, none of it makes sense, but this is all reality. I could bring players to you that I could tell you I'm split down the middle. He was this way one day and this way the next day and got away with it, or almost. You don't know how many times in my baseball,
I'm
working in
bipolar
baseball,
and proud.
I came this close to being fired. But I was also a deviant guy. I had a general manager at AAA wanted to fire me but he forced his stepson to work in the
Oh
locker
my
room.
God.
And I told him it's against what I signed with. I don't take outsiders in my locker room. I don't trust your son. So I go. So my
got to be
assistant
a
goes,
friend
take
of
him in.
ours.
Take him in. He's a fucking idiot kid that he got
Not a-
thrown out of college.
Not a friend of
So-
mine, but a
His
friend
name,
of
his name was
ours.
Blake. He just bring
How
him
many
in.
questions did Adam get? And in the
in
end,
our
was it about
pockets
6?
and tape everything he does, what he says during the day.
Maybe.
We did it for 2 weeks. Well, he went ahead and went to his daddy one day at the dinner table at home and said some things about me. I got called up the next day, and he was like,
This
I'm
is every
hearing this.
single
I go,
Joey
and
Steve
I
interview.
stopped him right there.
Every
He's
single
going on.
time.
He goes, this is a fireable offense. I think I'm going to cut you loose. I said, before you do that, I pulled out the tape recorder. I go, you listen to this. Call me in an hour. Right? He listened to the tape, called me
Oh,
upstairs.
he
He goes,
recorded it.
I'm removing Blake for the clubhouse. Have a nice day. Because I had so much dirt on that kid fucking trashing his stepfather and saying that I got his stepfather eating out of my hands. He'll do what I say. Whatever I tell my mother about my stepfather, she's going to make him do it.
I'm
He'll
Joey,
do
the
it.
mob
He'll
guy,
roast my mother.
and Rat.
I said all this shit. He thinks he's got a relationship with this kid that he raised halfway decent. He thought he did because he was a well-respected man in Oklahoma City. Okay? And this kid is fucking being a deviant, what everybody said he was. A no good person at all. Who got thrown out of college for stealing the ID maker that they make to make your college ID. And he was making fake IDs on campus and selling his IDs. That's when he got thrown out of college.
Good point.
And I
Good
hated
point,
him
Dean.
because this kid didn't know. First of all, he didn't know the business. He didn't know how to take care of the players. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of kiss assing, but you gotta have 19 pockets when the players start asking you for stuff because you can't just do one thing at a time. You got this player coming here. You got a major league rehab down here. Hey, I need this. And you got to be like, okay, but you can't say no, and you can't to a baseball player. You can't. It doesn't work in your vocabulary. You better be able to just, it's done. I'll take care of it and figure out how to do it. I had Ed Sprague, who was
I
a
don't
pretty
even
big
know
major
what
leaguer.
the conversation
He was like in
supposed
his
to be about.
40s, and he couldn't let go of being. He was on two
What was the question?
I remember how this
World
started.
Series teams with the Toronto Blue Jays. He was on a great team with Joe Carter. There's a lot of guys on that team, and he had a gold medal out of high school, and his wife was the only athlete that has a wife that was a gold medalist. His wife was swimming gold medalist, and he was a gold medalist for baseball. And he came to me, didn't know me from Adam. He heard a lot of things about me, how crazy I am, but I run a good locker room. And he handed me an envelope. The very first day I shook my hand, he met my sister. He goes, I'm looking for Joe Catalano. I went out there. I said, Ed, sorry I was out here when you got here. Because don't worry about it. He goes, listen, I heard a lot about you. I know you run a good tight ship, and I know a lot of players mess with you, and you like to you scream like. He goes, I need one thing from you.
Oh fuck me!
While I'm here, and he told me why he was there. He said he couldn't retire. He couldn't let it go, and his 5-year-old son loved the game so much he stayed in AAA that year for his son. He was broke down. He couldn't play no more, but he couldn't let go of the game, and his son enjoyed being in the locker room with his dad. He said, "Here's one thing." He gave me an envelope with $1,500 in it, and that was. He goes, "I'm going to give you one of these at the All-Star break and one at the end of the season. This is for you. All I want is a newspaper on my chair at my locker every day. That's all I asked for. My own newspaper." Okay, no problem. Now, some people would like, "Oh my God, all I did was call the Daily Oakland and had a subscription delivered to the ballpark every morning."
Oh, look how
Oh,
smart!
because
you
you're
are.
a
Simple,
genius.
because I knew my job.
Ah.
I took.
My God,
I've done some stuff
guys,
with players
we were
so
wrong.
they wouldn't
about
get in
Joey
trouble.
T.
Players would call me if they
Just
were in
used
trouble.
extra Downy in my
I
job,
would go
Joey.
to the
Extra
rescue.
Downy.
Because I partied with players. I stayed out in strip clubs with players all night. I've done. I used to. Then I go home and I get all high on crack, and then get myself together with a shower, go do my daily chores for the clubhouse, and go to the clubhouse, and I'd be all whacked out. But I calm myself down by the players going. But I'd be like, Jesus, man.
I like this.
And they
movie.
always
I
said
was whacked out,
that's
but
just
he
Joey
had
the
his
hyper.
newspaper.
Not one person to this day,
Look at
obviously, if you ever
Adam.
watched my show, they don't now, knew that I was a drug addict while I performed my job.
Oh,
And I could
Jesus.
pull that off. And I don't know how I did it. And it seems crazy and that it makes me a phony person. I swear on the soul of my children, I might have got some stories twisted, but when I told my life story, I lived it, done it, and it all happened
Just
the way
a
I
dead
said.
Archie,
kid,
you
because
hearing
it don't
this?
matter
That-
no more.
That's
I
a
believe
fact.
that. The problem is that just within the last 10 minutes, you described yourself as someone who's unflinchingly honest and to the core, but also a compulsive liar who was
Right.
raised
You're
among a
right.
compulsive liar. So when you are
Yeah,
caught in
yeah,
these
exactly, yeah.
inconsistencies, the
Right.
reaction
Oh.
being so huge feels
Right.
so wild. Like
Convicted liar?
and I have been just for the sheer audacity of joining the Dabbleverse, been doxxed many times. But you'll dox in return, and I'm always thinking, well, that's not going to stop.
Go on,
that
Adam.
from happening.
Come on.
It's
Come
only
on.
gonna
Dox Adam.
encourage
Dox
it.
Adam,
You don't
Joey.
want something done to you.
Right. You're right. I
Don't
said that
do it.
earlier.
If you want to be treated as truthful, if
Right.
somebody catches you on an inconsistency
Right.
because of You said it. You said it, and I saw it. You were like, "My mom's a liar," but she believed
She was a compulsive
everything
liar.
she said.
Yep.
And I'm watching you, and I know for a fact
I
you
changed
believe
it to
everything you're
compulsive
saying
this episode.
as you say it,
Right.
even if it's the
Good one.
exact opposite of what you just said 5 minutes
Right.
ago.
But I agree what I just said to you. I said I could turn it off. I could, if it was necessary. Yes, I lied. If I, in the sense of everybody who's a normal person who just
the
goes
nicest
to
way
work a
someone's
9 to
been
5
called a
job,
liar
who's
in
a
a long
square
time.
guy. Yeah.
In the
I'm a
sense of
convic-
the hard line that you just drew about where drugs fell into your life and the
Right.
hard separation it had between the house, the kids, and the drug addiction. And 2 seconds ago, you're like, I was high on crack and I came home.
Right.
And I know no one said it to you.
Right.
Get him.
That doesn't mean they didn't.
Well,
know.
the kids weren't there
Because
then.
they
And
were
you're right.
scared
You know,
to
I
say
never
something.
thought of it. I never looked at it like that. And see, I'm all
Oh,
about
wow,
learning
Adam. Gee
more
whiz.
things about myself that maybe I don't, or reality that I buried it and I don't want to hear it. You're right.
I
If I
guess
went
I
home
won't
high, even though I
lie
didn't do drugs in the
anymore.
house,
Good
you're
point.
right. They probably did pick up on it.
My dog would know when I come home.
You're probably right.
Hi.
And I never looked at that. And I'm glad that you pointed out. But here's the thing. I'm automatically, no matter when I put that live button on, am already done in the beginning to show that this is all going to be bullshit because I am a convicted liar by law. I was charged by the federal government for making a false statement to a federal
Audio.
agency.
He
That
said
was
the
my
thing.
charge when I went to prison. I'm a
There you go.
convicted liar.
That might be a good one.
Do you understand?
Right.
Which
It sounds familiar.
I admit that
I'm a
100%.
convicted
But is it
liar,
fair for them
understand?
to think that because I was a
Yeah.
convicted liar, I'm going to be a liar all the time? That everything I say is a liar? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think it's unfair to a
They're
point.
going to question. They're going to question, you know. the
I answer
details.
all their questions, though. I don't hide nothing from them. I tell them. I answer.
You
them.
lie.
I
You tell
answer
different
them.
stories.
You know, I
You
do.
told me you're a straight shooter and a compulsive liar. So
Right.
it's hard.
Straight
And
shooting compulsive
to not
liar, Adam.
expect
What don't
that.
you get?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I
You
know
know?
it's not hard for me to expect it.
Got to
It's
be
that
willfully
come on.
obtuse.
you think everything I say is bullshit? It's not because I admit it. I told them I've lied. There's stuff. I'm going to show you the tape right now. I found it. This is me confessing
Joey
to him
lying?
how bad of a piece of shit I felt for after getting to know him. When he put on a couple months earlier the video. I'm going to try to find that one. But this is me a year and a half later. It's under. Okay. Yeah.
So you're gonna play a video?
At a bush.
It's
Adam
gonna play a
shaking his
video.
head,
I
man.
think it's this one.
Drink.
Yeah. See, I think it's this one. Let me see. Share. This is complimentary of Base Pill. If he's listening, Base Pill, I need that first video. Can you send it
Oh
to
my
me?
God, this is
The
the
one
one
of,
drink. We'll
Did it
skip
come
it
now?
though.
I'm sharing it.
Self-aggrandizing.
Didn't pop up. Okay, where's it at? Let me try it again. It's this one then. Catalano. Yeah, there it is right there. That's it. All right, did it pop up? Here it is. Okay. This is me a year and a half later telling him I'm sorry. And he made he's a clipper and he did the video. This is my confession to him, admitting that he was not lying and I was lying. And he caught me and he was right about everything. But listen to this.
Ruko, nigga. I know what you're trying to get me to say. Nigga.
Oh my
Thanks a lot.
God.
Thanks, Joey.
But Base Bill, you're here
Amazing.
one because I really am glad that we're becoming friends. You do great work. But
Hey,
you got a lot of history with me. Your little circle of trolls tormented me and lied on me, and because I stood up to you, now you want to cry wolf as a victim? Yeah, you eat my ass, you fucking. Take that cease and desist Base Bill and just take it to the bathroom and wipe your ass
is
with
the
it. Because it ain't
greatest
worth
thing
the
I've
spit you
ever
fucking
seen.
wrote it on. You're afraid to show yourself. You're afraid to tell people you really are. I'm here. You know I am, you coward. You're a coward. And you know me from the beginning pretty much. I'm going to do something big tonight because I owe you this. And because I called you a liar on something. And I'm doing this because I got respect for you. I was in the hospital, but the coma thing was full of shit.
Wow. Okay. So we're getting a lot of closure here today.
And
Luigi.
it was,
He's
I
telling
played it
tales.
out a little bit, and I involved my wife. She was against it, and I kind of put her in a spot. And
This is the same
I
coma
regret that because I love my wife,
he,
and
was talking
I
about
never
earlier.
wanted to come on here and tell a fib or do a work. I got messed up when I did the one with Kahuna. When it always went south for me. You caught it. You were the one that caught it. You knew no way. You knew how my wife wrote things. You knew how I wrote things. I just thought, being that I owed that to you, and I picked today to do it. Now, Adam, he's going to demonstrate to you. He's going to show parts of where he knew it was a lie. It'll be coming up, where he's going to show the actual texts by me knowing my writing and me saying that this was my wife typing.
This is the same coma he was telling Adam about earlier. That he was acting as if it was true.
Once I got to know this kid and have a lot of respect for him, why I had to be upfront with him at this point after this. So, but he's going to demonstrate this. And I hope you accept my apology that you didn't lie. You caught it exactly the way you caught it. And I apologize for that. And I hope we can move on from that. So,
apology accepted. Thank you for being a man and admitting to it. I mean, I will admit it was very obvious at the time, you know, but thank you for admitting it. Yeah, I do appreciate that. Yeah.
He was right. Baseball, he was sharp on his toes, man. He compared, he goes, there's no fucking way Mrs. C wrote this. He knew my intelligence level, my wife, versus my writing. And, you know, I at that point, my wife's like, don't get me involved, make me look like I'm a liar. And I go, you know, you're not. I kind of boxed her in for it, and she's a wife. She'll do anything for me like I would do anything for her. You know what I'm saying? And and that was her part. She didn't want to do it. She was against it, and because she just knew it would backfire. Because she didn't know I was writing stuff as her. See, I didn't tell her that part. And then when she found out, when you came out with the, she goes, "Why would you have me write this? Why would you? You know you can't." And I go, I fucked up, you know. I just had to go with it at the time. But like I said, I needed to tell you the truth. So I mean, it's a little late, but that
Adam, you playing with your pud down there? Okay, good.
That's all I can say. So let me go to the YouTube side, start her up, and then here we go.
Oh my God!
And I was doing it almost, and it was the one that's all I can say. So
coma.
What happened?
Here we go.
Oh, you lied about being in a coma?
C is back.
He's playing the whole video.
I knew you wasn't in no fucking coma. That picture looks so fake.
How long is the video?
This Monday.
I told you like about 20
minutes.
minutes.
One question, pause it.
I don't do
Paulino, I was
Joy.
Or Tukey was.
Yeah, pause it. Yeah, go ahead.
What?
So Adam, they're now he's showing, because a text went out to like all the big players, Schmuel, B. Dabbler, and they all covered this, and he's demonstrating now, and you'll understand. And then I'll say something after this, and you'll either agree with me or you'll give me your take on it. But I could say this: a statement I got when I was a child was,
"Oh my God,
you're a tough guy. You think you're going to be a tough guy your whole life. When you get older and you go through life experiences and you become a senior citizen, your heart softens." And I looked at my grandfather and said, I'll never let my heart be softened, because I'm going to be a tough guy my whole life. And that statement has come back to bite me in the ass, because I have gotten so soft and my heart has changed so much that all I want to do is correct the bad that I've done and help people. That's where I'm at in my life. So hang on. You want to say something now, Adam? Or you want to finish playing this?
Or do you want to watch 20 more minutes of this clip?
And helping people.
Oh no!
I haven't been watching. What I missed?
Well, I have to dig deep into my soul.
We can't
know
explain.
that.
You came in the middle of the movie,
like you just said. I sat there and I told you how I could sit there and I could just lie to get myself out of something.
Is Joey doing a good job of defending himself?
To direct to me something that's
incriminating himself. Better.
But then again, I as truthful as I could be, and it's the same thing. You got to dig deep in your soul, because if I want to change like I said, I don't believe anybody's personality can change 100%. Your personality is molded from your little child, and you are who you are. That's just the luck of the draw. What you built yourself to be.
Joey is interviewing.
But I believe people can change to be better. Mm-hmm. And I've made a lot of mistakes. That yes, people say you're like scumbag because you took FEMA money. You and your wife took FEMA. That could have gone to a real family.
Was an extra in a
when that was put to me like that in courtroom,
right? It wasn't an Italian restaurant. So
it changed everything, because he was right.
What did it change?
It changed the fact that I was a scumbag for what I did, because I did take away from a mother that had 4 kids that probably got denied.
You want to say something now,
on drugs and gambling. That's what the change was for me. I was a scumbag. That was a scumbag move. We took away from a mother that had no father and their 4 kids that put in a real legitimate claim and took that money from them. And that changed everything because it made me know, am I really a scumbag? And I say, yes, I was. That was a scumbag move. I took that money and I blew it on drugs and gambling. And
Adam,
that's what I blew it on.
control a fucking interview.
He just
Jesus
explained
the
to me
female
that
money?
those things were separated and there was no.
Yeah.
But it was most of my life. But I'm telling you now, as I'm older, I'm getting the conscience, something I've never experienced in my younger years. I feel.
When did the conscience start? Because the coma thing was recently, and then I remember the money you were getting.
When did the
you were getting
conscience
millions
start?
of dollars.
What about the brother Samuel?
I think it happened my last session that I had when I went to the heart doctor, and he told me, put it to me the truth. I asked him, I said, listen, I've been reckless my whole life, and I know I'm showing you that I don't give a shit because I'm not listening to you. And he said, this is what he said to me. He said, listen, you do what you want. I only could tell you 100 times over, and I'm done telling you. If you don't do these things, you're going to die a young man. And if that's what you want to do to your family, then do it. But if you want help, it's your call now. You're on the last leg of your life. You don't.
And I've gained 100 pounds since.
And it hit home. If I continue downing 20 candy bars or 20 Coca-Cola, I don't drink Coca-Cola, but or anything with sugar like I'm doing.
Right.
About my wife, what her future's gonna be like. I don't give a shit about what my kids are gonna feel.
Is this a therapy session?
All the stuff that I've done that I know was wrong is hit me. It my head spins every day. I get when you talk about
this is your typical
I am depressed.
5
out of 7 days a week.
He does this every time.
I used to just sleep and bury myself in the bedroom and sleep for 20 hours a day. I don't do that no more. I eat myself into a corner that I blow up.
I don't do that no more like last year.
But then I know it's wrong. So after that last doctor visit, I said, all right. I broke down and I cried. I cried like a baby. And I said, I'm not a fucking good guy. I'm not. I'm really not. I've been a horrible person my whole life.
And you still are.
Is he gonna cry? Is he gonna cry?
Tears.
So unique. And so
is Adam bored?
Oh, he's gonna.
So different than anyone else.
Is he gonna cry?
He's crying.
Everyone in the Stableverse, they rail against why they're not like what you're describing and why what you're saying is not true, and they spend hours explaining to you why you're wrong. With every point,
come on,
you
cry.
Go out of your way to explain.
Oh, he's crying.
Exactly
he's full on crying.
Oh, he is. Drink.
And why that's true, and then immediately demonstrate the opposite behavior in the next sentence where you're lying still. And everything you're pointing to is the day where everything
changed.
That's
full game of bingo, everyone.
We
got it.
To be
we got him.
From 30 years ago to 20 seconds ago.
Thank God we're not
all
at the
Plaza.
We're
By the way,
allowed to be happy.
No one is better or above. We're just trying to figure out what kind of show this is and why people are in the chat trolling you. If so far everything they've said is true, but they need you. We need to give you a year or two to process it, and then we can come back and get the show.
Joey
that,
as well.
Who's that?
Dixon and Tukey.
Oh, that's why our numbers.
really?
And I don't want to sit here and blame this that happened to me as a child, because here's how I look at
I gotta go
whine about what
Dixon,
you went through as a child. I made it to an adult, and I had my own choice to live my life the right way, and I chose to live a wild craziness filled with crime, but still kept the job that had to support my family with good people. And I deal every day. My wife don't like the way I've been talking lately.
Did you say Luigi?
And I tell her, you know,
this is Adam being interviewed, right?
Just prepare me.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
I could die at any day.
He's been asked 5 questions.
I'm not taking care of my health. I could just one day I go to sleep and I wake up from a heart attack or I have a stroke. And you're 17 years young. I want you to
Here it comes.
prepare for that. She won't even talk. She's like, I'm not talking that with you. But it's reality. I got so much guilt and so much pain in me. I don't even know if I want to live anymore sometimes.
Come on, Joey.
Oh,
don't say that.
Do it, Joey. Don't
cry.
You got so much to live for.
Arguing with the chat.
Cry.
That's really what's going on. But
so mean, Cupcake.
there's never, there's never a reason to be dishonest with people.
You're right. And I'm trying to make good on everything.
Yeah,
I'm trying to correct things. I'm trying to be better. But I just believe that there's so much damage. I'm so fucking damaged in the head. And I'm such a mental case. And I'm
Star Wars
just the things I've done or the things that I've tried to pull off or the people that I've lied to.
For my birthday.
I just don't.
Well, don't you
I
start
just think
crying.
it's too late. I just
the
think it's
bartender
way too late in my life to now. I don't do nothing bad no more. I haven't been doing nothing bad or I do anything.
Aren't all those the things that he gets mad at people?
Today were that person with the
in
broken
fairness,
neck, but apart from that,
two wrongs don't make a right. I've doxed people that doxed me. I've doxed my own self on a daily basis. I put my address up in my live stream. I've done it myself. I've doxed my address
So
150,000 times in my
fine.
show.
So that makes it okay.
You know, I've done that. I'm a firm believer. If I'm going to do it to you, I'm going to do it to myself. You know, it's like I won't talk about you behind my back unless I tell you to your face. That's my mentality of how I live.
So I'm not going
to go around talk bad about Adam and say everything bad about behind my back if I'm not going to tell you to your face. I'm just not built like that. That's how I think life should be. But who knows? I've made so many mistakes. I've never really amounted to nothing. I could have followed the plan and worked hard and
I've heard Adam say 3 words
and had something for my life. But you want to know something?
It's been that way the whole time.
Down senior citizen
He said about
lives
10,
off
to
my
be fair.
disability.
At least 10.
And without that, I'd be
10 in
dead.
the hour and 58 minutes.
Be dead. I got no money in savings. I got no 401k. I got nothing in the bank. What
Send
I
me
got
money,
is what I
Adam.
get every month.
He
Carmen, you hear
has-
that? And to me,
Guys, I thought he's retired and he's living off a
because of my
pension.
own stupidity.
Exactly, right?
That's
And
weird.
I don't care.
Rochi,
I've cried
clip
on
it.
stream. I'm sorry I have to do this with you, and I get emotional. But I'm not embarrassed of that because you know what? I have
Really
went
cry.
to a lot of people that have made statements about me, like I said, and
I was gonna say that.
and I apologize to them, and I said you were right about that.
Or
And
men
it's
aren't
just like
afraid
with
to cry.
this kid here. I got to know this kid, and I just had to do it. But I don't know if I can.
Oh my
There's enough
God.
time for me to correct everything, Adam. I don't know if there's enough time. And I love streaming,
This is a moment
and I
of
want to have a successful
realization.
show. I try, but then my
This is
my
real
attention
Joey
span
C
just
right
gives
here,
up on me.
guys.
It's like,
This
oh,
is
I get
real
bored. I
Joey.
get bored real easy, or I didn't hit that one. I've tried so many different shows, and I failed so many times. The only
Pathetic.
thing that was really successful was I walk and
Is
talk
he
stream.
taking a breath?
Got a lot of. I was getting 2,000-3,000 views of a show, you know, and I made decent. I made money since I've been monetized. I chump changed to most people, but I was averaging about 1,300 a month for the time I've been, and I've had some good months where they were close to 3,000. But my average comes out to about 1,200 a month since I've been monetized. And to me, that's a big accomplishment, being that I'm a fucking loser piece of shit that accomplished nothing but a drug addict and a fucking liar. So, to me, going and streaming and doing this project of mine, it made me feel better that I accomplished something that I probably would have threw away 20 years ago and gave up after the first month. You know, and people tell me you don't owe nobody nothing. Why do you want to always try to think you owe people nothing? And I don't know what it is about me. Why I get this complex is, oh man, that's a good guy, man.
You're a
I
thief.
called him out and I did it. I don't know. I don't have an explanation for it. I know that I want to be a respected person, and I want to help
It's
people, and I
true,
want people
fucking hell.
to
You see his
to
shirt.
know that I'm a good friend, and I've never backdoored a true friend. I've never went after somebody's wife and hit on them. I've never done anything like that. I've never borrowed money
You
from
hear
my
that,
friends and
Looney
not
Tunes
paid it back.
critic?
I never was like that. I always had moral standards of the basic things you got to do. I'm the only friend that I can think my friend can tell you. I'm the only friend that never hit on his wife ever. I won't even go in the house if his wife was alone. And my wife will tell you, I don't even look at other women when we're out in public. She knows she watches me, and she says you're a good husband because you want. I love that woman true in my heart, and she's my soulmate. So I would never to embarrass her by gawking at. You know, there's guys out there that gawk at women that are married. My friends do it all the time. I hate that. I would never do that to her because I truly love her.
This interview
shut
lasts
up.
long enough. We're then going to hear how he went in and hit on the friend's wife and how he hates himself for doing it.
To be respected.
Is anyone keeping up with like his segues of how he's going from one topic to the other? Because
those things.
I'm not following.
He's been like this.
Don't worry, Luigi. We will cover it 2 p.m. Eastern on Pint Double Pint. Good.
This is
shout.
called trade
Yeah,
association.
that means the opposite.
I'm only here to help.
Than the opposite.
Pint Double,
So
pint,
in
pint
terms of
double, pint.
garnering sympathy and there is no denying the unique difficulty of the life that you've lived. But if Gonzo said this, and he's a wise person, so I'm going to try and take their advice. It's silly to think
Come
we
on,
can try
Adam.
and figure a person out. If I wanted to just hop on the Joey C train and enjoy,
Adam's
the
just
ride,
as shocked
I
as we
would.
are.
I don't even know how to answer that.
He definitely
You know,
didn't
I just-
expect this.
I know you've talked, like you said, you've talked to a lot of people about me. Some people have been frustrated with me, but you didn't hear people dislike me where they want to just not have nothing to do with me. I pick up the same thing. I think some people have gotten frustrated with me, and I think it's probably, I don't have to have names, but I could gather by some of the people that probably know who you're talking about. A lot of people have put a lot of stock in me and gave me a lot of advice. I've taken some of it. I didn't just diss all of it. I've tried. My closest friend I could say that has been good to me is Shuli and Bob Levy. Yes. I mean, and B Dabbler. If it wasn't for him airing me so much, I wouldn't even be known. You know, he believed in me, and he. But at the same time, I feel how they're just people are making fun of him.
He believes you are long about me. Yeah, for sure.
Joey, I don't think I'm funny. I know I'm not funny. I never claimed to be funny. Good. And it's the same thing with John. You're funny when you don't try to be funny. I've had funny moments when I don't try, but I don't really.
I'm going to watch the rest of this in bed. See you later, everyone. I've got one.
I really try to love you. I know I fail at it.
But he's going over to Dixon.
It's a live man. Yeah, Dixon sent me the link. I'm going on.
Joey don't understand the difference between people laughing with him and laughing at him.
No shit.
Do you think that's true?
I think it's true. I really do.
I guess it only matters if you care.
But that's my problem. I care too much.
Yeah.
That's what people tell me why I shouldn't even be online. Because I get heart. I care too much. I get everything. Everything I care about. I show feelings too much.
I just care too much.
Said in the Dabbleverse, it was the wrongest. It was a big mistake. Now I don't know if I would have went out and done these shows and never met people in the Dabbleverse, and I just did a show like I really should have done what Carl told me almost 2 years ago now. Which is when I presented my ideas to him, what I really wanted to do by telling my life story, telling him how I grew up, what the things I saw, what things I did, all my baseball experience. He said that would have been outstanding. There's a market for that. A lot of people.
Oh yeah, fan fiction when you write it about yourself.
He said it to me. You're doomed. Yes. This was 2 years ago. Then I tried to talk to someone about it about 6 months ago, and they said, "Are you nuts? You are part of the Dabbleverse. You'll never lose your fans. You're never going to lose the trolls and the fan base in the Dabbleverse to go somewhere else." Unless you change your name, hide your face, and they don't know what to do.
Except you have.
If no matter how good of a chef Rob Saul becomes, he's no longer has the opportunity to host a cooking show.
Right.
Chad Suma can become an amazing fisherman, but they're not going to follow his fisherman show because he's lost credibility.
Right.
And the only way to gain credibility back is to earn it.
Let me ask you a question, Adam. It's important to me.
Finally.
I'm sure that we all have friends
Joey's
that
going to answer
to get in trouble with the law,
right, for sure,
or even destroy their careers. And someone that you were very close with, that you adored, you loved as a friend. Did you turn your back on him when he went that deep and just reckless, or would you stay there and be a friend?
Like Danny Masterson.
Now that's a great question, and I've dealt with it my whole life on all sides of it, and it did change over time. And I'm thinking. I'm sorry. I would have to say. I think I'm always available. If I would talk to a stranger that I didn't know who committed a crime in prison, because I would love to. I've never done it, but sometimes I'll get prison letters and I'll write back, or you hear about certain things. I'm fascinated with the cruelness, as we know, of the prison system currently. Doesn't negate the crimes that people do to get in there, but we can say that the system that's keeping them there is not fair and it's not just, but it's not helping anything. Also, we know that for a fact. It's proven. TSA does not help with crime. The prison system is not helping reduce crime. So yeah, I would talk to somebody because it might help. I would teach acting. I'd put on a play for prisoners if I was asked to, and it could help, and it would show them something or change something. So yeah, I would do that to people I knew that are guilty in crimes or that in prison. I can't support them, but I wouldn't turn my back in terms of I'm here to listen. I'm here to write a letter.
Right.
I'm not gonna publicly do anything. I don't.
Joey just fell in love.
But as a human being, am I gonna kill
as
a spider?
A
am I
human
put it in the glass
being
and take it outside? I'd like to believe. I'm trying to.
Honey, I had a realization.
Differently.
I'm becoming Adam
talk to
Bush.
people.
Adam, I want to give you my idea for a play for us to perform at a prison.
Bad people.
I won't do any work
until you get to know them.
But
pay me.
Well, whether that's
Adam,
or not,
I wrote a script.
Help anything.
So Adam, why don't you write a script for us that we can do when we're in jail?
I agree. I think the problem with politicians when they have an intention
I've already booked
coming out of college and they decide they want to be a government official and they want to go to be an alderman or a senator or maybe president. I think their intentions are good when they're rookies in the beginning. What turns them is when they start actually doing work, the people that have been in office for 30, 40 years who are corrupt, they go to that person and say, "Kid, you're making us all look bad. Just go with the flow." And then corruption sets in for them. They just hook them in.
Have you guys already addressed
people? You know, I sit here and I talk a lot about stuff.
Let me turn it down a little bit.
And people think I'm nuts because if you think for 1 minute,
No, I just said, have you guys addressed that Joey has a decent microphone?
The government, the president of the United States don't get any illegal money on his. He don't get envelopes.
It's because it's from my recommendation.
I'm sure he got it. Come up with the idea himself.
He got it.
Which is fine.
Like I broke down.
I really was hoping for a mic crash, but
right.
I
broke down.
got
A decent,
got
a decent mic.
Okay, and that's horrible. But here's the thing: if
Showed the
people are that
brand,
naive to
and
believe the
3
government
days
don't
later,
take,
Joey goes, "Look
how
at the
if people
brand of
don't take
mic I
envelopes
got."
of money to let drugs come across the border. Let me tell you, if they wanted to stop drugs and
Where's
come across
Peter
the border
Sky Parker
to
when you
kill
want him?
the fentanyl, they can stop it. They don't want to because there's more profit in the illegal money they take to let it into the United States, and that's we're all real as I can get. Because I've been on
All
the street,
Joey's
I know
audio
how
problems
these drug
are at
dealers
work.
and I know how corrupt there is with the mob back in the day.
I know.
And I know how money talks and bullshit walks.
Wow.
How did we arrive?
I'm like
that
Aslan
you
from
appear on a show called
the
Point
Witch,
Dabble
the
Point that
Wardrobe,
makes
and the
fun of
whatever.
Right.
Yes.
I was there when he
Silly
started
to
that bit.
rail against the show called Pint Dabble
God, it
Pint.
can be my signature bit. I just always have audio problems.
You're right.
They're plugging
I
Pint
agree.
Dabble
Yeah,
Pint.
I know.
I agree that I get my feelings so much, and when I should just.
There is no
why do
answer
I
to your
care?
question, Luigi.
Because they're going to say it anyhow. I can't change their
None
mind.
of us know how
I
we
can't
got
change
here.
nobody's mind.
Like
they're all going to say what they're
even
going to
when
say
I
about
start,
me. No matter
like,
how I
tuning
cut
in,
dry,
I don't know how
I
he
try
where
to
he
derail it
ends.
or try to do anything. There's
that
not.
possible?
It's like steel toe.
He doesn't.
Never
He
talked
never
about me
ends.
one time since I've been his down, and he because I didn't go call an ambulance. Now he's doing a show. So I came back with a show tonight. Dumbest thing I did, because you want to know why? Why should I care? Who's steel toe? A guy that fucking sold his wife and fucking poured his wife out and fucking and did drugs.
Doesn't even matter.
It don't matter. That's what I'm saying. But I, like an idiot, I fell again to
Steel
do
toe
this
drink.
before I thought.
Yeah, you hear that,
truly-
Aaron? You're getting
and I know
dunked on by
sometimes he gets so
Joey.
frustrated with me. I know he does.
Adam seems
because
like
he
such a
knows
good person. Why is he putting himself
2
through
years ago,
this?
He told if Joey seeks
Adam's
guidance,
trolling
he have
him.
the right guidance
I
to
can't
listen
Adam's
to
got a
figure it
couple
out.
good
a
zingers in.
producer that will guide him.
I
He
do like
will
that
make
he
fucking to be a good show.
he's done that on
But
a
if
few
he's going to be
interviews.
Joey C, like John, not listening to nobody, he's
Adam
gonna be
has an
shit.
amazing amount of patience.
When you asked about it, and when I was asking
And great
about when you
comedic
did the
timing.
research,
He's not
most
trolling
common
either.
things I heard
All
was
anybody has to
consistent
do is
were
answer the questions
entertainment.
honestly.
Like no one can deny.
And
that
this
they're
wouldn't be a
entertaining.
troll.
And that's it's a very special quality
For Joey,
It's a very
I
unique
should say.
thing. I think it might be something people are just born with. I don't know if you can teach that kind of charm or
Same thing
charisma.
that Pat Dixon said to me a long time ago. That's what Pat Dixon said
Pat
to me.
Dixon.
He's accurate. He's right about a lot of things. And the other thing is that
Oh my
helping
God,
you
Joey
is
wants to
is a
fuck so
black hole.
badly.
Helping you will not get that result. And I have known people like that in my life where I realized, wow, the more I help them, the less better they're doing. Like it's not helping, and it's not specifically helping what they're trying to do. And I think you inspire people that meet you because of this charm and these stories and this life to want to be a part of it or help it, and somehow they leave feeling betrayed. And I don't know why.
I feel that from Schmuel sometimes when because Schmuel he'll answer me pretty quickly. He did for a long time, but then there's
Joey sees the one being
sometimes
interviewed
he won't
now.
answer me. He'll just ignore me, or he'll get back to me a couple of days later because he's busy. I understand that, but I've noticed that he was frustrated with me, and he's called me out of the blue and just had a deep conversation with me. He goes, "Kid, I love you. You know that you're always part of our the TSN family. We love you." He says, "You got to learn to duck. You got to learn to just do your show and entertain the people. Put a good product out for them, and stop worrying about all the stuff you can't control."
Let's
And he
see
tries,
Shirley's
and
side of
he's trying.
this
I can understand where he
conversation.
gets frustrated, and he can say that because it doesn't hurt me because I know he's saying it out of a friendship. I know he's saying it, meaning it the right way. Where it's like Casey Armstrong used to text me every day with the most inspiring things. Casey, if there's anybody I love in this Dabblers, Casey Armstrong, I love to death. That's one of the most genuine people I've ever talked to.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I have
not
never
crazy.
physically met him, but he is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. He really is.
Tears. I see tears.
He's really
Gonna
special.
Cry again?
He is.
Well
he,
enough.
He's just really
Come on,
is. And
cry.
I was a big Stern fan, and Schmuel, I tried for years to get on with
Come
something
on.
of mine. And Schmuel was always honest with me. You just ain't there yet, kid, for me to bring it to Howard's table. I was always this close But I finally got to go on with Howard for 4 minutes and 59 seconds with him and Robin, and I thought it went pretty well. It was my one time I got to run the phone line out of years.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was satisfied, but I wanted
What did
more.
you say? What was the bit?
It was talking about Mehmet. I don't remember when Met came up with that crazy idea about the Super Bowl commercial, and Howard went on about ideas, and we started bantering. But I stuck up for Mehmet because I told Howard he's a keeper because he thinks outside the box, and Howard agreed with me.
I've heard it.
But then he gave me ideas about. He goes, I was just talking with Mehmet the other day, and I told him, we could do this. He goes, you could do this and do that, but he goes, it's the same thing. If I do a video with someone defecating outside as a commercial, what are the people going to think? And Howard, he said, he's a great kid. I go, and then I said, what's he smoking? Howard goes, yeah, what's he fucking smoking? I can't get through to this kid. We just went on for 4 minutes. Robin chimed in, and
he got the Joey C. seal of
I
approval.
even threw in a part that he did towards the end. I said, Howard, I remember in private parts, you called the miscarriage Clumpy Stern. I said, can you imagine 40 years later, Clumpy Stern really coming alive and looking for his father, Howard, but he's retarded? That's what I said.
Great bit.
Talk about how his stories about how little Clumpy and
and
that's when they blocked his
got a
number.
kick out of it. But my downfall is I got into a fight because I pissed off Ronnie Munn. I was harassing Ronnie Munn, where it went to the point he called the New York Police Department on me.
This is
but
a
he
lie.
didn't.
Why does it bother you?
It
What were you
wasn't
doing?
I would call him and play. I would do what Sal and what's his name?
Richard Christie.
Yeah, Richard Christie. Make prank phone call. I called Richard Christie's dad, had a great conversation. I recorded it. I've done, and they're wondering where am I getting all these personal phone numbers?
Oh my God.
And I used some connections I had to dig deep for me to get these numbers. So I got I called Sal's parents. They take broke English. I had fun
Why
with
are you
them.
doing that?
I was doing it because I was on the
This
I was
is
doing
it.
my radio
This is
show.
where Joey
I was doing my
strikes out.
show and I was putting this. I was trying to be Howard Stern. I was trying to emulate Howard Stern. I figured if it worked for Howard, what I didn't know is Howard was doing that for years, and I'm a nobody trying to emulate Howard Stern. It doesn't work the way I was doing it. But I start calling Ronnie up, and at first he would laugh, and I would try to emulate him. And one day I called him about 6:30 in the evening, and we were playing a bit where we were trying to sell him something, and Stephanie got on the phone. This is before he married her, and she cussed me out every fucking way to the morrow. Well, he found out it was me because I fucked up. We were DMing in Twitter, and he said he made a promise to me and he lied to me. So I called him out. I go, we need to talk about this. And I go, let me send you your phone number. I didn't send my phone number. I sent his phone number, which gave him to know I had his phone number and I was the prank caller that's been harassing him. You follow me what I did there?
Yeah.
So that fucking daggers for me. I got put in the queue every time I called in and stayed there for. I used to start at 7 in the morning till 11 when Howard used to do 4-hour shows. This was before he was still in the studio. They would leave me in that queue. And then one time I got through, Howard said, Joe, you're on the air. And they yelled, no, hang up on him. He goes, they say I can't talk to you. And he hung up on me. And Ronnie Munn did everything he possibly can. And Gary Adalbody lied about it. When I wrote him. I would go on the wrap-up show with John Hines, and I would give different names and different disguise my voice. Because if they knew it was me, I wouldn't get on. And I got on the wrap-up show quite a bit. And I would, and then I asked Gary some questions because it was always Gary, John Hines, and my man Rashad from out in California. And I asked Gary, and I know I could tell in his voice he was giving me the answer. He was a straight lie. And I wanted to say, you know what, you're a piece of shit liar, and tell him it was me, but I didn't. I refrained from it because I know he's lying. I know what Ronnie Munn did. He blackballed me. You know what I'm saying? And that's the things I did. Did Adam leave or what happened here?
No, he's right here.
Turned off his camera.
He left.
And that's what happened. And Ronnie Run, he made sure I'd never get called through the call center ever again.
Ooh.
Does this sound familiar? Like you start wanting to do a show, you don't get the reaction you want, and now the entire purpose of the show is to prove those people wrong.
Right. Story of my endeavors in this Dabbleverse. I don't like what people say, so now I go on a banter. Yes.
Describing your first foray into it and what's happening right now. What's the third option?
I don't know. I'd be honest, I don't know what a third option is. You know, I tried to leave. I tried to leave. I really did. And it's like My
They
famous
drew me
quote,
back
Godfather 3. Just when I thought I was out,
Hey.
they pulled me back
There we
in.
go.
They had a way of pushing my buttons to pull me back in.
I got to take a master class with Al Pacino. A couple of
Did
them
you
at
really?
Strasbourg. Mm-hmm.
Strasbourg,
And
okay, which at least Strasbourg, yeah.
He said, because I was a dick. I was an asshole. I was young. He went to visit Shakespeare's home before he filmed Richard III. So I asked him, how does visiting Shakespeare's home help you?
Luigi, did you
play
see my
Richard
Stormtrooper thing?
And he said,
No.
Anything
Oh, that's
you do
awesome.
with interest will
The
inform what
bartender's
you're
got
doing.
it for me for my
Point
birthday.
being
Is that
with
a
interest,
brand?
Like your interest.
It's a Star. It's
you are coming at
Stormtrooper
it.
head. I don't know where the box is,
Oh,
but the glasses are also.
very
Stormtrooper.
cool. Huh, that's nice.
Sorry, guys.
I'm
Everyone
sorry.
I've talked to that created something successful all said they just created the thing that they wanted to see.
Yeah. You know, he's
The
my
alcohol
favorite
is
actor of all
working,
time,
guys,
Al
by the
Pacino.
way,
That's
just
my
letting you
favorite
know.
actor.
Me too. All of it. So when you quote him, I mean, honestly, when you, I don't even want
And
to
the
say
weed,
This is
not gonna
very
lie.
funny.
like they deal with Lost and The Godfather, they deal with all that stuff and Silent Spring, all of it. It's
Richard
so
over
human
on 3rd
and
Street, 3rd in
primal
Washington.
and real. What do you want to see? What do you want to see? What show is that? Or who are the people that you're not trying to prove wrong? Who are the people that believed in you?
Joey's
and liked what
lost.
you do, and do it for them.
Yeah. Who's I got my 4 favorite top actors, of course, is Al Pacino, De Niro. I'm a big Sylvester Stallone guy. I just can't get enough of Sylvester Stallone.
Shocking.
I think his Tulsa King,
So that's
him
3.
playing a mobster at his age, you know, he's always been an action star. Rocky set me off.
Let's bet on the
in
number
a place
4
when I was a kid.
spot.
But Chaz
I'm gonna say
Palminteri, man,
Adrian
that's
Oh,
my
you
horse,
said it,
man,
Chaz
right there, man.
Palminteri.
This guy, I
Mario
love that. I
Bosco.
watch all his
See if he
podcasts.
remembers.
This guy is
He said
phenomenal.
4.
And unfortunately, I've never met him, but maybe someday I will because I'm good friends, very good friends with. He done a show with Michael Francesi, and I became real good friends with Michael through baseball because he took a job in baseball 20 some odd years ago.
I'm in his
He
chat.
speaks in spring training to all the players about deception and how the mob will go after you. And I got real close with him. And a matter of fact, I used his intro
That's a
song
lie.
in the intro I made for you and me, and I called him and asked permission. I texted him. He answered me within 3 minutes. He answered me and said, "You go for it. For you, you could do it." And I just wanted. I felt because I respect him as a friend that I would get his permission, even though I didn't really have to. I did.
You'd be really good on Chaz's podcast.
Oh,
You should
drink,
do
by the way.
characters he has on there. You would fit right in. That's a great.
He's
space for you.
phenomenal. I like. I've never seen his one man show. Have you ever seen it?
A Bronx Tale.
Yeah, but when he does it as a one man in the theater,
No, I didn't see the new one, but
I heard it was phenomenal. He plays every single part.
yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I'm hoping he comes in this area and I can see him because that's something I would pay to go see. I wanted. I just said it was blow you away how he does it.
You ever see Hurley
I
Burley?
pay to go
Thanks,
see
no.
that. Other shows I'm
Watch
not
him in
paying to go
the film
see.
Hurley Burley. You can find it. But what's interesting about the Bronx Tale is the son, the kid who played the kid.
Yeah, he went to prison for, yeah.
What for? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, they were drugged up. Him and his friend. He stayed in the car. His
Defrauding
friend went
FEMA.
up to rob somebody. The cop next door heard some rattling, came out, identified himself as an off-duty police officer, and the guy killed him. And he got charged with being part of the murder. They dropped the murder charge on him, but he was charged for other things that put him 10 years in prison. So yeah,
Yeah, the part that's very impressive, by the way. That you know all that. I'm sorry if it makes you sad or feel bad.
Lilo Broccato wasn't his name.
That's the guy. That's the guy. Yeah, he.
This is like
they
the only
left
thing
the
that
strip club
Joey's
and
like
they
a
knew
savant
that a
at.
neighbor
Yeah,
had
the
pills.
right-
Yeah.
They were
right.
breaking
He's
into their
a
neighbor's house to
savant
get
at
the
that,
pills.
yes.
And
Now let's ask him who Richard
the
III is.
came out and they shot.
Jesus, ask him who
they killed him.
Shakespeare is.
Well, he did. The guy killed. But if you're with
Him and
anybody
his
that
buddy,
commits
of
murder,
course.
you're charged with the murder. That's how the
And
law
it's
Who
works.
was the
cop.
16th president?
But just keep in mind, and because I think this is something we can all relate to, this kid was in Jones Beach with his family, hanging out, a teenager doing
I saw Richard
Pacino,
III.
De Niro impressions, making his sister laugh.
Now is the winter
how
of
they
our
discovered him.
discontent.
and a
He was
casting
Hoo-ah!
agent saw him. He's not an actor. He
Yeah,
wasn't
Richard,
anything.
3rd
And then
and
he got
Ashland.
cast
Go
in this
2 blocks
role
down. You'll find
that
Richard on 3rd and
changed- He
Ashland.
was everything someone would ever need in their life.
Yeah, De Niro
And he-
said that when he first screened him, he thought he was perfect. He thought that was colloquial.
Jesus
He said
Christ,
that was
Joey,
colloquial.
let the
The
man
kid,
talk.
He had something. He's admitted that he was high. He was
yeah.
high in Sopranos. He was always high on the set of
Oh.
Sopranos.
Okay.
Joey
He was
has
always
a
whacked
need
out
to
on
prove
drugs, and of
he's-
course,
he
look how he
knows
died.
something.
He knows
But,
Italian history.
I like the kid. I'm hoping someday I can make a connection with him because I would like to interview him. I think it would be a good interview, talking with him, being a former addict and experiencing things. I didn't experience the jail sentence that he did, but I've probably done a lot more worse things. Collecting money or to get money.
As my wife would say, this is not a conversation, it's a monologue.
Never robbed anybody. I never knocked an old lady in her head for a purse. I never went up to somebody.
Also, Joey doesn't.
I only took
to
jobs.
He talks
for people that I knew. They were owed money. And they were scumbags, gamblers that were scumbags that want to pay, and that's how I made my money most of the time. Or I sold drugs. I was an addict and I sold drugs. So, but I would never. I didn't rob nothing for my family. I didn't steal from my own family.
You already did that. We already went.
It don't matter, but I still did
that doesn't matter. So don't say it. Let's just.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. So, you know what I mean? Because that shows that we've learned something from all this stuff.
Right.
That unique ability.
That's amazing. Thank you, Adam Bush.
Internalize it. Anyway, hey, it's not my fucking place. It's not my thing. But I'll tell you, I was at Lanz's once on 2nd Avenue when I was younger, and I saw that actor we're talking about having dinner with his girlfriend, and I just stared at him the whole meal because I'm a creep.
Really?
And he had an anger to him. They weren't fighting, but he was just angry with her.
He went,
This is like the best Italian food on 2nd Avenue. And I just remember, because I always would look at people who I admired or who were more successful and just marvel at how much more miserable they were. And the higher you got, the more miserable they were. And looking at this kid getting involved in that after having all of the opportunities, like, we gotta learn some shit. Yeah. We gotta actually learn some stuff before we end up like them, because we're all just one move away from it.
Right. You're 47, I believe, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Wow, you look young.
Now, you grew up in the Bronx, you said?
My parents are from there. I grew up on Long Island.
Long Island. Now, there was a lot of in your day. So when you were a teenager, you were obviously, I know you were with Nickelodeon. You did your first role with Leon at 16. But like when you were 10, 11 years old, did you see in those neighborhoods the mob activity? Did you? I mean, were you on the streets as a kid and fascinated by those type of guys? I know that.
Did you know Meyer Lansky?
The Colombo family had Michael had a lot of businesses in Long Island, I believe, out there. He was called the Dapper Don. No, he's on the Fortune 500. He's like 65th or something on the all-time mob bosses list of being the richest mobster. The guy obviously was one of the most successful bosses. He did go to prison for 10 years. People think he was a rat. He never incriminated anybody that went to prison.
Don was,
he changed his life around because of his wife, who was a very religious woman. I just found out talking. I was watching Sammy the Bull live the other day, about a month ago.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh my
God.
God.
Name, and he says, I got Catalanos that I'm related to. Are
Bonus first aid. It's
and I called an old aunt of mine and said that we have cousins, and we do. So there's a very good chance that I'm a blood relative to Sammy Gravano. I don't know.
Look at
I saw the whole
He
thing,
might even be
this
his
is where people
brother.
call you for being dishonest, because they all saw that and they saw how old he was and what he said, and you announced now that you're related, So
Adam, how many push-ups you think I can do?
It makes things less fun.
Right. I understand it, but I'll tell you why I announced that, because I just tried to make a show because I knew they were going to attack me anyhow. But I'm wrong for that. You
can't play all sides and play the victim.
You're
but
right.
I'll tell you this,
You're right.
and this is not going to be very popular, and people aren't going to want to hear this. They're not. You will, because I watched that live stream, and I know from downtown LA, I know from New York, like, you keep walking.
You're right.
You do. I used to have my pit bull. Half the time, it's not true.
Right.
Half the time, it's a thing. People don't know that. They don't know that you walk the same block and see the same people doing the same shit every day. And some days you help, and some days you can't.
Right.
You can't devote your life to
talking
it.
About when he went viral? That's another drink, but I'm gonna pass.
I understood how you reacted.
I'm with Adam on that one,
and I would have
You're right.
probably done the same thing. So I didn't.
For sure.
That at
Yeah.
all. The only thing I understood was that. Again,
I've
if you're
stepped over
thinking
people
of
to
the
get a seat
show,
on the subway.
and we're doing a show, the leader of the show would show some.
I have to deal with that all over the country. I just go, no English.
It's funny because you say something. My wife says something. She says, "Why did you have to say that?"
If Joey thought that it was
doesn't
bullshit,
matter.
why did he tell
it's
the
like
chat
she gets
to call
very
the
frustrated with me.
ambulance?
She'll sit here and listen to me, and she'll point out, "You should have said this. You should have said that. This
you
was
and
good.
your
This
hate
was
facts.
good. Why are you burying yourself?" Do you
Really,
like
that's
the
all he
fighting
had to
part?
say. Hey guys,
she starts to believe that I
this
enjoy it.
fucking homeless guy said he broke his neck.
And I'm comfortable saying that because
And I'm
I'm very
comfortable
similar to
accepting
John. I see many of. How can I not? We're from the same place. We did very similar things. that because being famous and in that moment is more
What
important
about
than
Laredo,
anything else,
Texas?
and that seems to be the through line. That celebrity.
What's the difference
obsession.
between me and John?
Alcohol.
God, Joey. Oh my God,
40
Joey.
pounds.
Present day alcoholism, because you're very quick to agree, but actually see it. You're not just people pleasing, or
I
if
do
you are,
see it,
maybe,
yes.
but you're intelligently aware of it and then completely able to negate it the next second. John, you would have to spend 2 hours, and that guy David Feldman tried for 2 hours to get him to
No sé de
understand
qué
that
te hablas.
Triumph, the insult comic dog, was not necessarily trying to attack him personally.
having one
And he
person
got
pick
John
up on
right
this?
up to that point. He got him to say it out loud, and then John immediately dismantled it and went all the way back to fuck that guy, fuck all of them, they're assholes. So
That's
it
great.
goes, you can't help John. There's no helping John.
Dude, that's great.
And with you, I don't know. I don't know you well enough to
Is Joey
weigh in on
torqued?
that kind
Look
of
at
thing.
him.
There's suspicions, and there's certainly people telling me that you are entertainment, but don't get too close because you're going to want to help him, and there is no helping him. And I saw that's a quality of the Dabbleverse. That's a quality of the Whack Pack from Howard Stern. I used to really feel strongly, I still do, that they're actors on a show. They deserve money. Like they're performers, give them money. But you see what happens as soon as the money is involved. It starts getting less funny, and they start being less funny, and they become something else, and that
Don't tell me
becomes
I'm like
what it's
John.
about. And
I'm not going to get into it, but let's talk later. There was something very, very
I don't think I'm funny.
interesting Adam just did there
I think
psychologically.
you think
What?
you know that it's the loud, you know.
He didn't give in to
That part
Joey's
bantering and me
fishing.
getting all into a character of being at a rage. Sometimes I think,
I think
man,
you think
I'll
it's
think
that.
after the show and I'll laugh at myself. I go, boy, was that a good performance?
Joey
That fucking
wanted to
fucking
get
was
some
rolling and I was
validation
screaming and I
there,
was
and Adam
cussing
didn't
this
give it
one,
to him.
Or
That's
was I
interesting.
fucking, why am I
That's
sitting here
very
huffing and
interesting.
puffing and making myself, I got a headache. You know, I question myself. Why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah.
You know, I know my wife said one thing.
I
for
do.
sure,
We
she-
have 'em
I-
off
I always
because I'm
people to be honest
sniping.
with me. People, yourself, or anybody that I have respect for, I don't care if you criticize me. I want you to. I want you
know.
to tell me the truth. I'd rather
I
you tell
know
me
you
the truth than go talk about me behind my back. You
I
understand?
believe that. And
Joey
that is
doesn't
the
want
difference
the
between
truth.
you and John. John doesn't want that. The only problem is once people give you that advice,
Right.
it takes a lot of that person to
Right.
take that risk and to really observe and really take you in and then really give it back. And when they feel it being completely heard, understood, and then ignored, they feel betrayed.
Right.
And then they take to the chat and they tell you that. And you rail against them and dox them and tell them why they're assholes and why they're liars when they have the tapes, you know?
Right.
I think you know why you're funny. I think there's always two things going on at one time. The actors will say, they'll say, you know, you'll give them a monologue from A Few Good Men, and they don't work on it. You say, why didn't you work on it? Because I was just doing a Jack Nicholson impression. And it's like, do your Jack Nicholson impression. You're not going to be Jack. And how you fail at being Jack,
Right.
Hack
That'll be
Nicholson, more like.
so start.
Right.
You'll find it. Wherever you're not, your
Greetings and
voice will come out.
salutations.
But there's always an excuse not to work and not to do it. Do a show. Do a real show. That's
He tells me
not.
that every day. He tells me that all the
Or
time.
do this. Whatever you want.
I feel comfortable doing interviews. I could say I look back at a lot of shows.
Yeah,
I've done.
because
I've
all
done
you do
over
is talk.
1,500 shows live. And the interview shows, when I did the prison podcast or the baseball players, or even with you, or I've interviewed other people, I feel that it's my best quality because they'll bring the best out of me, the true best out of me. If I allow myself to
tells
answer
the
their
same
questions
stories
as well,
every
which
interview
I think is
show.
the most crucial thing, that you must answer them when they ask you something and not make it about all them, you know, and that I have to be answered, at least answer it, whether it's a wrong answer or whether it's an answer you don't like. But if I avoid
Wrong
the question,
answer?
then I'm full of shit
Why?
110%
Yeah,
on the line.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, also, what you described, I believe, is completely accurate, but also what you described is not being.
You ever tried to give
interviewed,
advice to a
being
teenager?
interviewed.
Right.
When
Well,
you're
both.
the interviewer,
how
your
about
goal
this?
And
is
how they
to
just
make
they
the
just
guest
say
look
yeah,
good.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Hold on.
So I heard that you didn't like that. You didn't want to do too much. You like to talk about the things you care about, you're passionate about. But
Okay.
let Adam interview you. Let him ask you questions and let him and be truthful and let him find out about you. I think he's more curious to know who you are and what makes you tick or if you will answer the question. I was all for that because
And
I
your
could just
willingness
sit-
and openness to it has been incredible.
Thank you.
Rare form.
That's less work for me,
I
Adam.
don't see that very often. Absolutely. And I didn't want that. I just didn't want I just did a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast called The Rewatcher. We just
Okay.
talked about like a couple specific episodes for 3 hours.
Right.
And it was endlessly entertaining because they're obsessed and passionate about it.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not saying it's cool. It's certainly an asshole move on my part. But when people feel obligated to ask me a question about something they have no interest in,
right?
I feel like we're both wasting
Joey.
time.
I heard you say that on a podcast. You were interviewing you like, do you really want to know that? Because you felt
he said that on this one.
It was that guy that failed really miserably.
Podcast.
That older guy. I don't remember his name.
I don't know. I said it to you right at the beginning. You were asking these intelligent, actory questions, but I'm like, you didn't even understand the question. Why am I wasting my time answering it if none of us?
There is a question that I want to know that it's something that that's coming from my heart. Getting involved, I know you had a romance with your co-star.
This comes from my heart.
Buffy. I don't know how. I think you guys were together
Joey.
a while, but you broke apart and you.
He literally just
said
called
that
you out
guys
for
remain
doing
good
this.
friends. And to this day, is that part is true? I mean, what they say in the news media or interviews you've done, you guys have remained friends. Do you recommend that for anybody starting out as an actor, that to keep it professional? I know it happens a lot that you could fall in love with your co-host or wind up dating your co-host. It's probably very common in that field. But do you recommend it? Do you think it was a mistake?
Did
you
you
think
get
it was a
Michelle
good
Gellar?
thing that just you guys weren't meant? I mean, or do you recommend don't get involved, do your work, and do your
Joey.
first life outside of your work? You know what I'm saying? Don't involve with someone that's a co-host or something.
Co-star, stupid.
I don't look at that relationship as unique to actors or on set or anything. It's no different than any other.
It's like
relationship.
making white with another coworker.
Do I recommend being friends?
Has he fallen for Lou,
your
and
ex?
this is
I
where he
think
tells
you
us?
said it best, and it was very validating to hear when you were like,
Imagine
all
those
problems
bellies bouncing together.
Like, there is, and when someone
I
believes
could have
it,
gotten
and
through
talks
the night
about
without that
an
image
ex,
in my head, but thank
The
you.
Belly Bros is going to
There.
trademark that.
You know.
Watch your mouth, Luigi.
it's just so that you know that's not true. You can sense that's
You get a
not
little
true.
bit of
And I think
moisture
people
in
can
there.
sense some
That
of the things in you
suctions
and I
down.
when we're talking about our past or ourselves. You know, you say
Ooh,
you would
you've
be
got
a
a
great
Superman, I've
interviewer.
got a Batman.
You want to talk about yourself.
I like
You
talking
want
about
this
myself.
story out there.
do.
You love it, and you're good at it. There's Danny Aiello. You showed those clips of
I
him.
see Lou dressing up as
He
Chewbacca.
would just sit in a chair and hold.
You haven't
court,
seen
and
my new
I
show,
would
Warp
just sit
Speed?
and
I'll
listen.
soak it up.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Soak it up.
saying.
You know, I don't know what he's
Oh.
talking about, and I remember every word. And people have that.
Joey
quality
is
that you
floating
have
Joey
right now.
Chainsaw did those
And
for me.
You're directable. You know, if you just worked on acting, if you just worked on
Gummy-
the show,
Gummy's a
just
genius.
Worked on, but I feel like there's this
Gummy
fear
is.
that if you ever actually call your shot, you either won't make money or you'll be called out a fool. And it doesn't matter. You just got to do it.
I agree with that. You know, I learned one thing. I pushed myself into my job as a bat boy at Wrigley Field. I took charge and got that job on my own. I would sneak out of my house at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I had the schedule of the equipment truck coming in from the
To
airport.
be
when
honest,
the team
Joey
would
doesn't
land.
learn about anything.
So I would.
Has
on the
any
third
other
attempt,
human being ever said,
finally
I
got the
pushed
truck driver
myself
to
into my
let me
job
help
as a
them
bat
unload the
boy?
luggage in the locker room. That's
From
how I got
bat
my foot in the door.
boy to
But I would
ball
go there and it
washer,
was his
the
name was
Joey
Rock,
C
and he
story.
had some old man assistant, and he would tell
Every
me, "Go
bat
away,
boy
kid.
was
Go
stealing
home.
all
What
the
are you doing
bats.
out
I
this
only
time of
stole
night?"
10.
From Bat
First
Boy
two
to
times he said,
Ball
"Wait." I
Watcher,
went
the
back the
Joey
third time
C
and I got in his
story.
face and I said, "I want to do this job. You're gonna hire me." And he
Bad
said, "You got a lot
boy.
of balls, kid. I'm gonna tell you right now." He says, "All right, kid, start helping us." So he let me go. And the very first day I walked into that major league locker room, and I remember the workers in there. Who's this
This
kid?
has got to be
Oh,
from a
don't worry, I
movie.
hired him. And they start seeing me for a couple months. Every time he said, "You come every time, kid. I'll let you work with me." And the guy asked me, "You want to work in the clubhouse?" And sometimes we need a fill-in bat boy.
So it
And I made
started
sure
right
to-
there
to-
from
in-
when I
in
was a
82 and
12-year-old
83 became a
child.
full-time bat boy. But
Take off
my
those
biggest thrill
pants.
was
Let me
I
show you
loved
how
the
they
game.
wash.
And to sit there and watch, like you said, watch Danny Aiello.
There was a whole
to
row
sit
of
there and
naked
talk with
asses.
Pete Rose
Right.
in his office as a kid. And Pete Rose was the type of guy, if you
Oh, and
could
he
talk to
personally knew Pete
fans
Rose
and
now.
friends
Watch.
for hours if you talked about Pete Rose. The
He was
minute
Pete
you got out
Rose's
the subject of
bookie.
Pete
Talked
Rose,
about Pete Rose.
it was all over. He was rushing out the door. Pete loved to talk about himself. So as a young kid, seeing that, I just watched something like Gary Carter, who I was very
Sounds
fond
like
of,
he took
who died at
took
57 of
something
brain
from
cancer.
Pete Rose.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Nah, because Pete Rose
His
had
name was
recently
Kid, his
died,
nickname. But
and he
also
said that
had-
he knew
he
Pete
was also
Rose, and I
called,
said, "Dude, you did not know Pete Rose."
People, the players, other teammates would harass him.
We love
and
that
he
day
was
a
always
lot.
in front of a camera. He was always too happy, always smiling. He was always smiling. He was always had a abundance of energy. Some players took that. They didn't like that in him, but they didn't realize he wasn't a player that had a nightlife and went out and partied like Darryl Strawberry did, or like Neil Ellen on the Mets was an alcoholic. And when he came to Chicago, he never slept. He would come into the ballpark with shades on, drunk, and sit in the bullpen because he drank all night and chased women. And he was married to a big-time mobster's, I'm not going to mention his name, granddaughter, and she caught him on the road and went to her grandfather. I remember him telling me the story. He thought her grandfather was going to kill him because he cheated on his granddaughter. And then he cleaned his whole life up, and I ran into him 20 years later, sober Neil Ellen, and we shot the shit in A-ball. He was an A-ball pitching coach, and we talked about the old days. All these young players that were listening to us, how we were talking about the old days. But I was 17 years old, 16 years old. I would go out with these players. I would go stay with them at the hotel. I would party with them. They let me use the hotel to bring girlfriends there. They tipped me big money. I made so much money, but the stories is what I like, the trueness. Pete Rose was my favorite player. I got to play catch with Pete Rose. I got to, when he tied the record, I got to be in the background with him when he was at the podium giving his speech to the Chicago press. He made sure I was part of the family behind him.
Get another.
I love that. But when I tell those stories, I'm full of shit. These are things that I experienced because I worked in the locker room. You get close with the players. You got to interact with them every day because you're their go-to guy for the equipment. You know.
I'm sorry, Adam. I got off my point.
You can't lack.
Do you like crunchy or plain peanut butter?
If a player's got, let's say he brings out 7 bats and he
Grape or
cracks 4,
strawberry,
you got to know enough sense to go up to the locker room and get 3 more bats to bring down. Or when he gets on the bat, he got to have bats. He's got to have a helmet if it cracks. You got to know this. You got to know the player. So I studied.
You know what? That's like the equivalent to saying, you know, when you work at Burger King, you got to make sure you have 12. You know, you got to make sure you have the right number of burgers out there for that lunch rush, or you're gonna have people waiting for a burger.
On the spring training, and he go locker to locker. He goes, "What do you see in that locker?" I go, "Buck, I don't know. He looks like a slob." He goes,
"Remember the lecture Tom Myers got for word usage?"
What do you see in that locker? I go, "Buck, again, the locker's a mess. The guy's a slob.
Word efficiency.
I can't stand the guy because everything we put needy." He goes, "You're not missing the point." I said, "What's the point, Buck?" He says, "I don't want a player like that. If he's sloppy here in this little locker, imagine how he lives at home or how his car is." So he don't give a shit.
This has got to be from a movie.
I don't need a player on my team that don't give a shit. This is how Buck Showalter analyzed some of his players. He taught me this.
He taught you this.
Yes.
That's what we want. People
Here we
don't
go.
want I was there stories. They want a life.
He was
What did
trying
you
to teach me
do?
something because he saw
He was
qualities that I did my
trying.
job well.
He was trying. There's a lot of that.
You didn't learn anything.
We want to see it applied. Imagine if the awareness of the team's needs, which I believe you were hyper vigilant.
Thank you, De La.
Successful at. I know. But imagine if you applied that to you and your show. I mean, you're like, this mic's good enough for me.
What
for like years. For years, you're like, this is good enough for me, and it's good enough for my audience. I went to tune into your show you did the night before, and I was like, oh, I can't fucking listen to this.
Oh, with the audio? When the audio went out?
Yeah.
I got a new mic and I had something hooked up wrong. I figured it out finally.
You fixed it, and I don't know the old you. I know.
I told you it was fake. I told you it was fucking fake.
I just fixed it. I found the problem. Yeah.
But this was something that came up when I would ask
Joey.
people. One of the most common things is like, he won't fix these audio problems, and we can't. You would never let a player's. You couldn't stand having that one locker like that for a day, but you let your show and your audience. It's unlistenable.
Right. I agree.
What are your needs? What show do you want? Put it on. Make sure it's all checked ahead of time. Right. You know, I tried to come in earlier, but I wasn't getting sound, and I'm sure it was on my end.
I was hoping you would, so we could talk
but
before we
went
on.
Yeah, me too. But I couldn't. You know what I mean? I didn't know
I
the
understand.
problem was, but I didn't want to come on until I had it all worked out.
I hope you found EVMux just as easy as StreamYard. It wasn't. It was a little. Yeah.
It was absolutely easy. It was totally fine.
It's got more features. I like it more to stream. I'm very disappointed in StreamYard. They charge you
all right, I'm not counting that as
a month,
a
but they
drink.
don't give you half what EVMux gives you.
It's just when all the stories are positive, like you think about a Bronx Tale, you know?
Exactly,
when all the stories, you're kind of a hero or that fly on the wall to greatness, like they can't all be. They just can't. You know, even the drug stories can't be the heroic family man.
Did I tell you about my friend Tommy? He thought he was going to get made.
Be Robin.
Right.
I used to smoke a lot of pot. And there was one time,
Saddest day in my life.
A buddy of mine was visiting from New York, and he would.
Then our Irish friend got very mad, and they told him in the phone booth.
Cocaine on top of it.
Okay, that's called. I forgot what they called it. You put it in a cigarette.
Snow cap.
A snow cap. Okay, yeah.
That's what he called it. He called it a snow cap. And I like smoking pot, but I'd never tried that. And I tried it, and it was like I had never felt anything like that. It was a really, really incredible feeling. But as you exhale, as you're exhaling, the feeling of I need more of that.
Adam's getting money
like
for this.
I don't
it's
think
just
so.
one after the other. And there was like a week or two that I spent
unless
doing
it's
snow caps.
sponsored
And
by somebody.
One day,
Maybe Alex Stein,
and then I went to wash a dish, and it broke in my hand.
Sponsored by Pall Mall
My hand was
cigarettes.
bloody from the glass, and I looked up and I saw like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It was almost cartoony. I saw these two skulls with crazy eyes going rah, 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 rah. I remember staring at that, thinking like, I think I'm done with snow caps. I don't think I need any more snow caps. And I was talking to a buddy of mine.
Yuck it up, Joey.
Months later, it's like, hey buddy, how you been? Tell me what you've been up to. Doing anything?
Joey's gonna tell a drug story next.
I was doing snow
Right.
caps for a little while. And he said,
imagine that, a drug story.
To him, and he said,
People
yeah,
doing
you're
drugs,
smoking
how
crack.
horrible.
That's crack. You're smoking, like that's what you're doing. Like, no, I'm not. I'm doing
Let me tell you about the time Pete Rose and I tag teamed a girl.
That is, and I never did that.
Right.
Again.
Hey,
But I
John.
did learn something that day. You know, and I'm
Yeah,
not
one
necessarily
time
the
me and
hero
Pete
of the
Rose
story,
pulled an
but
Eiffel
hopefully
Tower
it's
on this
cautionary.
broad back at the Cincinnati.
Now, I'm not going
I
to
don't
tell you
know
who
why I told you
who the girl's grandfather was.
I'm glad you did. Because it makes me sure you've
But
been
he was a
you know,
very
looking for
rich
me.
guy.
talking about an incident with drugs. I'll tell you, buddy. I did a crack hit
Yes.
one night. I saw the devil, and I really saw the devil, and I danced with the devil, and I saw him.
By
I
the
argued
pale
with
moonlight,
him.
Joey?
He was right in front of me. I went so high up after I did that. I grabbed my heart with my first. I did too much, and I thought I was going to OD at that time. But for about 5 or 6
goes,
minutes,
"I'm
my
coming,
friend said I was so
Elizabeth."
delirious. I was actually fighting with the devil because I believed he was right there.
He always has to one up.
And it was
He's
real.
gotta have a one up story.
And that I can't explain
Yeah,
any better.
that's a
It was
weird
real to
thing.
me. He was there, and I was arguing with him, and I was
You're a
fighting him,
loser.
and I was
No, I'm
swearing
a
at him,
loser.
And that's what happens, you know. I could tell you about a story.
How did
he
we
would
get
totally
to
do
the
that.
topic
A
of
bunch of us were
taking
smoking,
crack?
and there was
He
one
would
guy
totally do
looking
that.
through the peephole
Adam,
of the door,
actually.
right? He was looking through the peephole.
If you were to have a
looking at the
story
door,
of getting
looking
bullied
through
in
the-
high school,
down,
he would have a
looking
story
through
of where he
another guy got
bullied,
behind him instead of asking
10
what he was doing.
bullies would
He
be
put his
beat him
his
up.
hand on his shoulder,
Yeah,
and he was staring at the door too. The third guy did the same thing. All three of them, and not the other the two guys behind him, didn't know what the heck he was doing, but they were doing it with him. I go in the kitchen, some
I like
guy
how you
staring at the
right
cabinet.
for the-
He's got the
right
cabinet
for the
open. He's just
camera,
staring
you
there
can't hear his
for like
microphone.
over an hour. Didn't say a word. I mean, it's wild shit like that, man. It's just like it's wild, man. It's wild, man. And I even admit it, and people hate me for this. A lot of people that you're an idiot. But I'll be honest with you. I only
See,
quit
this is
drugs
a new
because I had
person
to
that
because my body can't
hasn't
handle
heard
it.
Joey's
I was such an
story, so
addict,
he's able
I
to
would have
just
never quit if I could do it.
babble
My favorite
on and
drug of all
on and
time
on
is
because
methamphetamine. I like to get high with that.
You know, I don't watch Joey.
It made me
Listen to
made
him.
me happy, but I had no choice but to quit because I'd be dead. You understand? And I don't want to die. I value me living longer than doing the
The
drugs.
stories start honest, and then they I feel something happens, and they devolve into this kind of honorable, heroic, like black and white, extreme kind of people. I think they have they don't question whether they like you. They have a real question over whether they can believe or trust anything
I
you
understand
say
that.
at this point.
that's exactly
What's the one
why
thing you
Joey
think-
hates me.
I mean, obviously, it's pretty
That right
consistent
there.
about my faults. But what would you say as a person that sat here and talked to me? And I'm not saying, and you're probably right. It's probably like they said, going down a black hole. But I do listen to a lot of people. I've done a lot of things people have told me. I've changed in that direction. I have. Not everything. A lot of things I disregard. And I
Give
just
an
say, okay.
example.
And I'll be honest with that. There are things that I've done and put in action that
People have told me to tell
you
the
know,
truth.
I've done it. I tried to do
Just
my
ignore
best.
that.
Not saying
No,
I
what
succeeded
you're talking
all the
about
way
is
with it,
using
but I made
AI,
a lot of good effort
making
for it.
YouTube
What do you think
shorts.
my one baddest quality? And obviously, I think it's going to be you start out the story, but then somewhere in the middle, it just poof. You know, what would you say that you would like to see? What would you think would be better for me?
Oh my
Like a
God,
tragic
he's
flaw.
interviewing Adam.
So let me ask you this question about me.
No, don't feel silly, man. I like
What do you
a lot,
think
Adam. I
was
think
my
you're a good person,
sexiest
man.
quality?
I enjoy talking to you. Like I said,
We've been
Carl
talking
was
for
very
about 3
hesitant on
hours
me in the
here.
beginning.
What
Tell
would
me why
you
I'm
say
fantastic.
Respectfully on
is
air,
the
said,
most attractive
hey, this
part of
Joey
my
C guy
body?
is what he is. I respectfully declined to get involved with him because of what he believed I would. But then one day I wrote him and I said, Carl, I want to ask you if anybody's
Adam,
going to
should I get my tits
I
lifted?
want it to be you because after I saw how well he speaks and how well he interviewed John and how well good a job he did, and I just thought Carl.
Hey,
was a good
John.
person. And he agreed to it. He goes, he thought about it. He took him a while, and he goes, you know what? I'm going to do it. And after the interview, he said, I'll tell you this. I said, so what do you think? He said, at best, I'm on your side, hoping you succeed. He goes, because he knew, he goes, you know, I'm afraid to give you my number, that you're going to buy me all, all
That's
night.
not
long.
exactly a
I've never borrowed
compliment.
Carl one time. You know what I'm saying? I matured for that. I used to
hero
harass
in
the
my
shit out
own
of
mind.
fucking Brennan
Joey,
I had to call him in the middle of the night.
I've seen
I
what
knew
you're
we could call him up at
capable
10
of,
o'clock at night,
and I'm
but
rooting
he
for you,
feels full of
buddy.
shit because he did me wrong.
It's not a compliment.
He said, "Be ready at 4 o'clock to go on." You know, and if you were 4:01, he's screaming at you. You know, but then he turned around and he started fucking calling me out on something, and I got pissed off with him. And then the only reason he took me on, and I know that because I had fallen out with Schmuel, and of course, if you hated Schmuel, he wanted you on to labradate on that. That's his
to labradate.
Schmuel and I had a difference, but the Schmuel was the one that got somebody
right up there with Rebellis.
Now, a reminder,
got to know me and thought I was an all right
this
guy.
is
Got to
the
know
Adam
me.
Bush
And
interview.
he said, if you could control Joey C to listen and just tone it down and learn, if we can manage him, he's gonna be great. And then Schmuel, a couple times that he thought I was there, and I let him down, and I know that. And like I said, I admit I don't know if I ever could be manageable. I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Now, back to the crack. Did I tell you that I got it from Daryl Strawberry?
Not like John. When it comes to someone's really, the guy that does Perry Caravel, Bob Levy asked him on air. He said he wanted nothing to do with me. I was unmanageable.
People say things.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
But look at how he manages Perry Caravel. You know,
I think
is a star fucker.
What's tragic is
if there's a dabble versus
you think you're a good listener.
Big name that he
I do
can
And
think
that's
that.
tragic because it's one thing to say you need to listen better. That's one thing, but the tragic flaw is that you think you do because
You're right.
your mind searches for the relation, and then as soon as you get the reference to something that reminds you of something from your past, you're done listening.
Someone told me, you remember the show that Hackwright did on me? Teaching Joey C.
did that right now.
See any of those back in early stages?
He just did that right now.
Hackwright did a series of shows teaching Joey C. I think we did 6 episodes where every show he would teach me something. Hackwright's a pretty smart guy, and I like him a lot. And
he interrupted
did these
Adam to
episodes,
do exactly what Adam
and
said he does.
I didn't ask for nothing from him. He even gave me all the super chats that came in. And he would point out things. You just doodling while you're doing a show is great. Doing a doodle show, and I learned a lot from him. To this day, I have mad respect for Hackwright Studios, and I hope someday to go visit him, go out there to just visit
guy
him
that's
on
learned
vacation out there.
sure hasn't put
And I think
and
does a wonderful
Hackwright
job.
really
A lot of
tried to
people
give him
disliked him.
valuable advice.
He does the
and he just-
unboxing. Eric the actor. He does all
fucking
the
listen.
with Luigi Greenberg and with
Luigi. You got to mention.
Oh my God, I'm gonna.
Hey, all right.
I'm gonna with French Fry girl. What's her name? She was also one of my teachers. She did these shows and taught me things. And Electra Fry, she wonderful people. And
I love unboxing, Eric. It's a great show.
Yeah, he reached out to me today and he says, "Do a good job with Adam." He told me, I think if you talked about it, he said that you had such a passion for music. He knew this, that that was your passion. That I should ask you a lot of music questions. That you would probably be tickled to death if I did. But then I started doing the question thing and I got uncomfortable. I really did. And I almost blew it because I'm like, this ain't working out. I had it all prepared to do this, but I knew it was making you uncomfortable and it was making me, because you're right. I'm doing it from questions that people gave me, or I didn't write none of these questions. I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't write none of these questions, but some of them are good. But I did want the one. I wanted to get you to ask a question at the end with James Lipton.
I wrote the one.
If it's all right with you, I think we got a ton of super chats with questions.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
I gotta get to this. But
let's give the guy who's holding the gun to Adam's head a break.
I think this went pretty well. I'm happy that I got to talk.
Is that how you're feeling? I was going to ask you.
I feel that this went. I feel I made a connection with you. I feel
Fantastic.
that. I feel that I definitely made a connection with you. I mean, like, Jesus, I cried on air because I don't do that unless
Your best moment was what you just described, when you abandoned the cards and you just went with your gut. That was.
Yeah, I did. I knew that's not me. It's not me. I'm sorry. And people would all yell at me. It's not me. I felt it derailing, and I knew you were uncomfortable, and it made me uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit down and be Joey C. And if Adam likes it, if he's gonna leave, he's gonna leave. But I can't not just be me. I have to. I'm very
gotta
comfortable.
be me.
The last hour, I've been very comfortable.
Let's see what Fudgicle had to say.
Oh, Fudgicle.
Shut up, Joey.
He used to tear me up all the time. All right, let's see. We got to find the Eevee Bucks is different. It doesn't hold the super chats like StreamYard does. So I have to go in here and get them.
He's gonna miss
Give me
all
1
of them.
second. because some of them might have got lost, but I got them. But YouTube, you could pull them up, all of them that came in. But some of them, I don't know if I'll be able to put them all on screen, but we could read them and then I'll go through here and look what's there. So I have to go to our live show, and there it is, and then.
Oh my God!
You just talked about how great.
I tell you what, one thing I am proud of, I will say this, and I'm going to say this: we've been on for 2 hours, and this is the very first time in 2.5 years I have not looked at that chat room one time.
That's pretty amazing.
I did it. Someone's been begging me to not read the chat room through a full show. I did it. I did it.
Oh my God! So
I finally gave him what he wanted. He's asked me to do.
Now people are going to complain that they sent him super chats and you didn't read them. They're not going to send them
I didn't think
anymore.
I could accomplish it, but I did. And that's a big accomplishment for me right there, because you're right. I let them wear me out, and I take everything to the heart, and it's crazy, man. It's just why I get so crazy over this stuff.
A fucking childly woman that he needs recognition.
YouTube's at the point. I'm trying to go on the YouTube side here. All right, there we go.
I wiped my own ass this morning, guys.
There we go.
Isn't
I
that
have to go
fantastic?
here.
Adam, can you just tell me that I'm good? Can you tussle my hair? Can we play ball?
Just say I'm a good boy.
Here. Okay, so I have them all here in front of me now. All right, they're all there. And there's quite a bit of them. So, all right. So now let me pull them from EV Mux here. I'm gonna actually write an email to the owner of EV Mux. They're here in Florida, one of their offices, to tell them if he could organize the super chats like they do StreamYard, it'd be a big help for people.
But Easy Mux is a great program.
No, not now. I'm just saying, but
or Eve Musk, as Chad calls it.
For Joey,
top here, we got like 300 freaking 400, I think, words of people in the chat room. Okay, I'm trying to. All right, so let's go here. All right, I gotta go all the way up here to the top. Yeah, I wish it was just like easy, like StreamYard. I could just hit the button and then they're all pop up. But
Gonzo
unboxing Joey.
Fudgicle is saying to Gonzo.
You know Gonzo Shitcock?
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Well, I've had he's a big fan. I've had Gonzo on several times. He's been on my show several times. Gonzo.
He's a big inspiration to me, and I base a lot of
he
what
is
I do
too. He's
off
helped
of
me
how
out a lot.
Every appearance he makes with
I like
Lisa by himself, the way his measured inquisitiveness, the way he's a great listener. He's somebody that if I didn't take their advice, I would feel really bad for wasting his time.
I don't know about Adam, but this is killing me.
An honest place, and you can't take that for granted.
Quick thing I want to ask you before we hit to the first one. One thing I was curious about: from acting to go to a director producer, did you find that fulfilling for you, directing and producing? Did you enjoy that more than you enjoyed acting?
I like all of it.
All of it. Okay.
It's all.
Joey, enough questions, right? Super chat time now.
It's the same thing. And they're
all right, Adam. You want? I'm going to let you. It's probably about you or a question to you. You want to have at it?
Dislabeled. American Cupcake loves posting pictures of himself drinking right before he gets behind his 18-wheeler. A real piece of work, this guy's. These are these conversations between people? American Cupcake loves posting pictures of himself drinking right before he gets behind the 18-wheeler. He's a real piece of work, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, Dislabeled don't like it. Dislabled's kind of like on my side. He knows me and Cupcake don't like. Well, we fight a lot, so I think that's
so happy to be a conduit.
Yeah, I think that's what. Thanks, Dislabel. I get it, man. I don't think Cupcake. I yelled. I've hated him. I shouldn't say I hate the guy. I just dislike. I don't know. There's something about.
You guys were friends for a while, weren't you?
Yeah. He stole my co-host. That's all I can say.
You went to his house.
How is that
right?
possible?
Well, Lou called me yesterday. He goes, "Listen, your friendship means more to me than any damn internet." I was so touched by Lou's phone call last night. He says, "I'm still going to do the show with Cupcake.
God,
we don't talk about that. We're doing a show on covering movies. I like talking about movies that I watch, and we have that in common." He goes, "So moving forward, I'm coming back. I'm your partner, but I'm still going to do your show, and you're going to have to accept that. If not, I understand, but I won't ruin our friendship because of the internet. You've done so many things for me. We've done it for each other as friends. You're a sincere friend, and I don't want to lose that."
They really are.
And touched me, and he's right. I
want to see you, but I
wanted
see
it my
other
way or
people
the
too.
highway, and that was wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? And Lou's a guy that he's just not a pushover. If I went to say, if I gave him an ultimatum, Lou wouldn't take that too well.
Oh, an ultimatum.
And my own selfish reasons, because it was Cupcake, I got upset. And after Lou,
I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't.
Well, Lou's my co-host.
Phil Collins went to see Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
And he was like, "That's the fucking best horn section I've ever heard. I'll
Really?
take him." Yeah, and they said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna."
Be honest. Do you like Elvis Presley?
You're with me. I love Elvis, but
Elvis,
the point is, he
finally.
took their horn section. That was the band. That was
Oh,
the
really?
whole. And they left, and they're like, "See ya."
Do you think
And
he's
they
the greatest
understood.
drummer ever?
Who's the greatest drummer ever?
Do you think Phil Collins is a good drummer?
What
He's
the
a fantastic
hell?
drummer. He's not the greatest drummer ever.
Let Adam
Greatest
finish
drummer
a
in the world.
thought.
In the world, I don't know. I like Steve Gadd. I like Dennis Chambers a lot. I like Neil Peart's great, but I really like the Blade Brothers. They're fantastic.
That's awesome, man. All right, Adam. This is for you, I believe.
Adam, what fictional character do you relate with the most? Any character, not just one you portrayed.
Batman.
Elmer Fudd.
That I feel like it's gonna get me in trouble. So I'll say I don't know. Let me come back to that. I will answer it because you asked, and it's important to me to not.
Kirkland Red 100. Thank you for that, and he will answer it. Give Adam some time to think on that.
Think about it.
All right, we'll go to the next one. I think this is one here. All right, let's see what we got here. This is yo. This is for me. Ryan A. Thank you for the $1.99. Yo. The Joey C Show is back. Mother. What is it? Mother. Yeah, like he was trying to say. Thank you, Ryan A. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Glad you guys have been here and you guys stayed here. We had a pretty good number. We had at one point 89 or 100 people in here. So we're good. I'm happy. This is from one of the greatest people I've ever got to know. Became a great friend. Mike Shitty, internet provider. I got to meet him. Got to hang out with him.
For the love of all that is
great
holy,
guy.
make
He's
it
been
stop.
there for supporting my channel. I love this guy to death. Gifted 10 catalog. We're starting because I let the memberships deplete because I've been off for 6 weeks. But like I said,
right.
Mike just gifted 10 catalog TV membership. Thank you, Mike.
It's like
Here
doing
we
the
go.
last
We're
hour
building
of
it again.
BYB.
Thank you for that, Michael. Thank you very much. And this is for this is flip floppers. That's my that would used to be my catchphrase if someone stole it and they patented it.
Everybody's stealing your idea. Everybody's taking your shit.
He did it. He took flip floppers is what I called all my fans, and he turned and put it on a T-shirt.
What,
And
he called his fans.
Make it yours. What I forgot what he paid the money to. Just
Adam, you're a nice guy.
Riled up over it.
I'm going to let you sleep with my wife.
All right, flip floppers. Squid was gifted membership from Mike Shitty Night. All right, great. Got a new member there. Thank you. And then here we go. Here we got.
Jesus Christ.
Nick from Fort Wayne, flip flopper. He also got a membership from Mike. Thank you.
Please let me get one.
Mike for getting that. Keep on going. Actually, I don't like. This is where I don't like Evie Mux because then I have to search because I wanted to wait till after the interview was over because I didn't want them to interrupt us getting the connection.
Really smart call on that because they would have dominated, and that was
right. And I didn't want to give them the show.
Good on you for that and putting up that boundary. Yeah, you should get somebody to read these for you or something.
Yeah, it's just I have to scroll through the whole.
I need
chat
my
to
own
get
Baba Booey.
Mike should have thank you for $2. What's the longest you sat in a makeup chair, Adam?
Oh my god!
6 hours. Sometimes
Really?
they make a bust of your face if they want to like chop your head off or do something. They put the stuff on you and it's soft and they cover your face completely to make a mold.
Uncomfortable, I assume.
It's completely comfortable until it starts to harden, and then you feel like you're being suffocated, or you feel like your body just doesn't like that. As it hardens, you feel like you're being encased in something, and even though you have a straw coming out of your, it's just a weird
Ask
feeling.
Mrs. C about that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Ouch.
so that kind of thing can take a while. I have spent a lot of time.
You like the old horror movies, the old ones from the 1930s?
What?
Dracula guy or Frankenstein
Do
guy?
your
Boris
super
Karloff
chat.
or Bela Lugosi?
Boris Karloff.
I'd
almost believe Joey was
I'm
trolling
sorry,
us
Bela Lugosi,
doing
you're
this.
right. You are correct.
Van Helsing.
He's sticking it to us.
Yeah.
No, he's
I was literally about to make a joke. I do a great Bela Lugosi impression, and he
got
just
the
did
fame
it.
and he got stereotyped as Dracula. He never played Dracula again after that first one.
Joey's
But he
tweeting
played
on
other bit
something,
parts
man.
with Frankenstein. He played Igor. He played Frankenstein in The Ghost of Frankenstein.
Get on with the super chats there, Joey.
You know he was a heroin addict?
Yes,
We'll
we
see
know.
Ned
Dude,
Bad heroin,
everybody
but
knows.
I loved him. I loved him. I just loved him. I like Boris
Karloff.
Karloff, too. Okay. Ryan A, thank you for the
Night
$1.98.
Kid.
Can you and Lou eat hot chicken like the old times, Joey? Oh
Yes,
my God. I
Ryan
don't know if I
A,
can do that
yes.
again.
Now he's
That
gonna
about
tell
killed
the
me, that
story.
chicken. That was the hottest chicken I ever touched. Oh my God. I don't
By the
think I
way,
can do it.
Adam,
Not
hot
now.
chicken is what I call
I
my
have to
wife.
be, 50 pounds lighter and a lot healthier. Ozempeg. Thank you for the $1.09. Adam, are you taking a back at Joey's pro look today?
I'm shocked and impressed. Especially the no glasses look. It's very different. I like it.
Yeah, and sometimes I need them to read, but it's not too bad. I could see.
Oh, then put them
Adam,
on for these.
have you ever met
I
Aquaman?
really should have them on, but I depend on them. This is my prescriptions, but I can see it a lot better.
Ooh, who's this
All
gentleman?
right, so let's go to the next one. We have
screen.
I thought this was the Joey C show.
I finally got to actually put some time in my studio here.
It's fine for reading.
Yeah. When I'm reading glasses for a long time, I finally had to go get my regular
Jesus
glasses.
Christ, Joey.
Chip Taylor, God bless you, Chip Taylor, because he's always telling me God bless me. He's a good man. Thank you for the $2. God bless you, sir. Thank you for being here. There's a lot of good people to chat. We got Ozona. We got Eco Pineapple. Old G Mumbling Nick has been trying.
Pineapple's a very, very wise.
Well, he is smart. I give him that. He's very smart.
Sympathetic,
Yeah.
empathetic.
Joey lightly ball washing the pineapple.
Yeah, he doesn't know the pineapple I know.
I really like Rocco and Cardiff and.
All right, let's not go crazy. We don't have to. That's not.
Yeah, and I like OJ, but I give OJ a lot of shit just for the show. We go back and forth, but I do like OJ. He's been cool. I met him. He's a cool guy. Shuli Madoff, $5. He had how many weeks to prepare for this? Steel Toe does a better show. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I thought
take it in stride, Joey. Take it in
We all
stride.
can't hit a home run on the first day.
First day?
It's not even over yet.
That's right.
And you were describing how it went in the promotion for it, and now you're letting this Shuli Madoff decide how it went, and it's not even over. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, exactly. I'm very content. I'm very happy with today. I'm very I gotta say that.
I very am.
You're an interesting person, and you spoke truth to me, and that's what I want. You're not afraid to. I would never want someone to hold back. And if you got something to say to me, you got to say it to me. I
let it rip.
Even if I don't like it, it'll process somewhere down the line in my head to be in that. He did that for a reason. You know?
I hope so. You gotta
process,
lower
then
that
I'll
reaction
ignore
time.
it.
It can't be a year. We don't have years left. You gotta meditate or sit in silence or do something to process this shit.
I'll think about it on the can
before you respond.
Yes, you did a lot for me today, for my inner soul, and the direction I'm trying to take myself, and the fact you gave me what I was expecting and what I knew it would be. You gave me truth. You answered things. You asked good questions. Hopefully I responded to the way that you want it.
No,
and, I gotta say that I've done a lot of interviews, and this probably gonna go down as my all-time best because you made me comfortable. Once I got comfortable with you, it was over. Once I could sit here and say,
yeah, that's what the audience leaves. Yeah,
he's another guy. I mean, this guy's cool. He listens. He hears me. He'll call me out. I've never been this comfortable in a long time. I want you to know that. You made me very comfortable. Thank you.
Jesus, get on with it.
Ryan,
I want to see Adam say,
fact,
Joey, do you really have your feet?
No. It's a fact. Joey and Patrice have similar gout foot issues. Oh, I didn't know that. Who's Patrice? I don't even know what that is.
Patrice O'Neal, he's that comic I was.
Oh, Patrice O'Neal. That's right. You're going to send me all the information on.
And he's in those jury episodes you were watching.
Yes. And then the one scene I liked, you were talking to a female. You were walking into the courtroom. She was coming out. I think she was a lawyer, and she did something. I thought that scene was really good. I don't know if
she did something
a
cool.
future girlfriend or you liked her in the series, but I thought you did a great job on that.
You just
wanted
saw
to point that
YouTube.
out.
Thank you for saying that.
But in Chicago PD, you played a hell of a pawnbroker.
Oh yeah.
When the part where you got
That's the one episode he watched.
and you go now, you pause, and then Jay Halstead looked at you and Haley looked at you, and you talked about the White House the white car circling your house, and you were confused if you thought that they would set you up for the meeting, and Haley said, not when money's concerned, you're paying them a lot of money. You were buying diamonds or something, or rubies or something, and they kind of quoted. This is when you were going to wear the wire.
You were buying diamonds, John,
and you just shook your head and you walked away with confidence. I think that you nailed it. I wish you would have run a lot more. I watched Chicago PD. You wouldn't believe I watched this. I'll watch the first season.
We would,
and I'll watch it again.
We know you own the set.
In
You
a
told
month.
us already.
I love Sergeant Voight. I love him.
Okay.
He reminds me of a Chicago cop. They nailed it. That series. Dick Wolf is a genius. That's all I'm gonna tell you. He's a genius. That guy's a genius, man. He nailed it. All right, let's go to the next one.
The scene I play the most that's in that episode that you're talking about.
Oh my God!
I don't remember the details, but there's an interrogation
Prophetic.
scene, and that's
Correct.
what I do the most throughout my career.
Yeah, that's when you explained to them that you started to say that you paused, and they said, "What?" You said you were concerned about the white van that was rolling around the house because you thought. Then you asked straight up to the police. You said, "Do you think they would set me up?" And then she turned to you. You're the guy paying all the money, and you're paying a lot of money. You know, it didn't fit, but then, and then they assured you that they'll be 50 feet away from you. That don't worry, you'll be protected. And you got you. And then they took you downstairs to wire you up, and that was another great scene. But yes, it was great scene.
I'm obsessed with interrogation scenes. I'm
Yeah,
obsessed
that's right.
with that dynamic. I watch them on YouTube all the time. It's part of why I'm fascinated with this stuff. The balance of
because I feel like I'm being interrogated.
Information and how it's being communicated, and there's always 2 or 3 conversations happening at once within the one, and that's what I like, and I think that's what people like from the Dabbleverse.
Yes.
And I'm going to say really quickly, there were times where I would be doing a reading of something, and you'd have the script, and I would lose my place, and I realize I'm about to speak. I have to speak in a second, and I have no idea on the page where to look. And just as the person finishes speaking, my eyes will find the words I was looking for. Not enough to like comprehend them, just enough to like sound them out loud. Meaning I was saying a line with no connection to it. I was literally just sounding it out because I just managed to, oh, okay, Mr. Lewis, then we should, like whatever it was, and it got the biggest laugh I think I've ever had from something because the line was funny and I didn't do anything. I just let it play out. I did not know what they were laughing at, and that's okay. You don't need to know. Let them just laugh at you, near you, around you. Let them just laugh.
He looks like a total slow right now.
It doesn't fucking matter. Just let them laugh.
Fucking
You don't need to be in on it. You don't need to know what it is.
Right.
It's best you don't know.
Right,
You don't know
right.
why, necessarily why a woman finds you attractive. You might not understand. You don't know why people
Could be a
enjoy
thumb.
watching your show. You don't get to control it either.
Right.
You don't get
You're
to
right.
dictate how they do and the correct way.
You're
and
right,
the wrong way
Adam.
and the
Did I
right
tell you
way.
about Pete Rose?
You're right about that.
Let them enjoy
I
it.
got to ask one quick question before we read the next one. When you were on the set with,
Oh my
I'm very
God.
fascinated with Chicago. This is something that I could talk to you about hours because I just love the cast. I'm very upset. I'm
Why
into
don't
the
you
character.
just open with that? That would have been great to just talk
Yeah,
about.
I was suggested that.
I
and
was
and
nervous. I
thought,
was
well,
nervous.
He only was on there one time. Maybe he won't like that. I second guessed myself that I because you
well,
did episode.
whatever you did was correct. It was the right move. So anyway,
Thank you.
what were you going to ask me?
So I mean, Jay Halstead leaving the Chicago PD because he felt that it was a roadblock. He couldn't take the character no far. That's what the statement he made to the fans after he was off for some time.
Couldn't
But
take
he still
the
went to work for
character
Dick
no
Wolf, 'cause I think
far?
Dick Wolf is a great boss. If you leave one show, he usually puts you with another show. He's got so many of them.
He's
And,
the Tabor
and that was his
Benedict
thing.
of
And then
the
I
Dabbleverse.
speculated that him and Haley were dating in real life, and now there's pictures of them being romantic out in the vacation. And she left the show and went to one of Dick
Oh,
Wolf's shows.
Adam is
But
a saint.
How was the general set? The day you filmed, were a lot of them there? Or was it? I'm pretty sure that when you're doing scenes, it's usually the call day of the people that are in that scene, right? Usually the other people are not all there. Sometimes they are. Did you meet the whole cast, or just
Oh
the
my
people
God,
you were
he
doing
asked
the
like
scene
3
with?
questions in that one.
Is it true that they
on
always
shows,
have donuts
if
at craft
it's not a
services?
law show or a crime show, you'll do a table read. Those
Did you
things
ever
I'm talking
notice
about.
that
You'll do a block
craft
writing, you'll
services,
just
all the
sit- whole
vegetarian
cast will sit
subs are
around
the
and
ones
read
that are
it out
left at
loud,
the end of the
and the
day?
writers will make some changes. But on these shows, these
See,
Chicago,
Joey
all
got-
the Chicago
Joey got
shows,
to
all the
say
Law
what
and
he
Orders,
wanted
all the
to
CSIs,
say. Now he's
they
doing
just
the
crank them
inter-
out, and basically
Yes.
the cast has been doing it for so long. They're kind of in charge in a way. They know
Who do you
what's gonna
think
happen.
really invented
They
the
know how to
everything
shape it. They
bagel?
know more about it than the director. And the director
right.
are letting the cast do their thing,
Right.
and they own Chicago, and Chicago's the one place where we would shoot and people would come over and like they'd thank you.
Wow.
The 2 Danny Strong shows I worked on, when they see him,
Okay.
like just people on the street would just thank him for bringing business
Right.
to Chicago and for hiring Chicago people. But that guy you're talking about, and they have it down, and you sit in the car with them and you run it and you run it and you run it so that you don't have to film it as much
Right.
as possible.
Yeah.
And the director is just there to capture it and
That's
keep
wild,
things
man.
moving, and you move on. Those shows are just about, like, how about this? If you're auditioning for the guy who did it on one of those shows, you can't seem like you're the guy who did it. If people look at you and go, "Oh, that's the guy," then they haven't done their job. So you can't play the bad guy like the bad guy.
Right.
You have to not know. So that's counterintuitive. So that's
right. I got you.
Yeah.
You know what? I think what impressed me is like you said. That's why I asked you the question. They seem like they got it down pat to a science that they work all very well with
it's
the
their
leader
job.
being Hank Voight. And I noticed Dick Wolf. He's one show,
It's
Law and
called
Order.
practice, Joey.
It's been on the original one has been on like for 27 straight years now. I mean, this guy builds shows that keep. How many big time actors have stood a stepping stone from Law and Order? There's been a lot of big names. I mean, if I ever had
this is
like
nuclear level
hacking and try to take that away.
Every comic in New York has played a dead body on Law and Order at least once.
And that's what I'm saying. Okay, Joey, you going to talk about airplane food now?
You got my dick hard on this one, and I haven't had a hard on for a long time. That's what I got to
do the Law and Order with Jerry Orbach.
Rochi, you hear this?
The original one.
What was the reason for saying that?
Jerry Orbach from the Pajama Game.
Yes.
He donated
I like
his
all
eye.
the shows. Yes.
He told.
Let's talk about my dick some more.
Right.
Hey,
John.
I love this. He has, a notepad where he interviews you in the scene, and he has all his lines written.
John, Adam got my dick hard. I didn't even need no pills. Christine, get over here now.
Do you like Chicago generally? Did you?
It's been a while since I've had my dick hard for a Jew.
Fucking around with art, and it's again like if in Chicago when at 2 a.m. when there's only a couple spots open, but we know where they are, you're not stopping when somebody's yelling at you.
What change?
You're gonna believe it. It's
You know, if I'm on stream, I might call the cops, but you're not stopping. You know the game. Like, I get it. It's a real place. It's full of real people. I love it.
Now I'm going home in 16 days. I'm going for a 2.5
Who's
week.
the poor bastard's gonna have to edit this down
to visit
for
my mother,
WATP?
see my brother that I was very close with. I haven't seen in years. And try to see.
I say home.
Doing,
I mean prison.
See some of my nieces, but I'm going back to go to the neighborhood I grew up at.
Okay. Prison.
I'm gonna walk my neighborhood, and I'm taking a trip down memory lane.
Fuck! He's talking about his
it's
thing.
more for me to figure out where I went wrong, and I remember everything pretty good. And I'm gonna stop at different places. Some places are long gone, but I just want to try to find out what mistake cost me the most in my life from a childhood. Do you think I should film that?
You know he's gonna film it.
My question to you: I wasn't gonna go live. I was gonna just put it on film and maybe break it up and edit it. And,
bad Italian type of shit.
Work on the
when they make the documentary about.
No, you're right. Forget about the past. You can't change nothing.
Documentary about me. Where are you gonna get the
I'm sorry.
footage?
Tukey and OJ Mumbling Nick just chatted, and they finally injected what's been
OJ Mumbling.
That's why they're so
Nick.
good at what they do.
They are good.
Mm-hmm.
What did they say? What did they say?
Tukey said, besides being Italian, what's Joey's greatest flaw?
Oh, kiss my ass, Rocco. Oh, he's always nice. He's been great to me. Rocco's been a friend. He's been good to me.
Oh, yeah. He says, OG Mumbling Nick says, between two hacks, Saturdays at 3:30.
Well, I was just saying, Mumbling Nick has been wanting to do a show with me because we were similar. He feels he's Boston accent. He's got a lot of similarities, addiction from the past. He's been wanting to, and
Hat
he thinks I
diction,
don't want
anyone?
him on. Mike should hear that. If Mike should said, hey, he's a good guy. He told me he was a great guy. I just haven't been there where I thought I'd be any good to him doing a show. I think now that the future we could do a show really close here moving forward. But I just want Nick to know I've never not wanted to do a show with you, Nick. Just so you know, I think the world of you. I listen to what you write and stuff. And I think it's a possibility now we could probably put that together. So,
I don't know if you can see this, but it's a $2 super chat. Joey, were you supposed to interview Adam?
I bet Adam can. I already did. He already did. He already brought out. He brought it out.
It wasn't real.
He brought it out, and I was happy to do that.
Okay, next.
Julie Madoff again. Adam, ask Joey about
his wife.
The wife's movie credit. Huh? The wife's movie credit.
Oh, Joey.
Oh, Joey.
I don't know what he's talking about. I did a Dr. C medical examiner when I was killed, and I did a reenactment.
my
I
God,
got
Saw that. He was talking about your wife's films.
My
resume.
wife don't have no films. I never said my wife was in films. So that's why I'm throwing. Never did I say my wife was in film. Oh, I think he's being a smart ass. He thinks my.
Oh, is that what you think, Joey?
You see, that's elite.
It is
illegal.
illegal.
Get up real early to get one
that
past in.
I did.
I'll answer the question if he elaborates and tells me what he's talking about. Because I never, my wife's movie credit.
Elaborate.
You think stupid?
None of my wives ever did any acting. So that's why I'm stunned. I'm not trying to think of, you could think I'm giving a John answer. I'm truly telling you, none of my wives have ever done any type of movie.
All right, next super chat.
So that's one thing
That you know.
Okay, Joey.
So that I know of.
Does
Right,
Chatterbait
exactly.
count?
That's right. You're right. Mike should even have.
Your wife was the star of Cum Farts.
What's your most sentimental memory of? I think it says ETA Adam.
Yeah, of Eric the actor. From,
Eric the actor.
I never knew him. I just listened to it. I haven't met him. Casey gave me some insight when I talked to him recently. But I like the, you were talking about the professional, and there's an image from the poster of like the hitman and the girl, and she's holding a plant, and he's holding a gun, and they're walking down the street, and you're just like, what is, like, how did this happen? Like, who are they? How'd they get together? And I'd love to see just a picture of Eric in his chair being pushed by Johnny Fratto with like a stripper on his lap.
Oh, that would be great.
Running from, the mob.
Joey does not get the
And
reference.
You're just looking at this poster going, how did they all, and it's real-ish, it's real enough. It could be a show.
I got to
play or
say,
something.
the Dabbleverse got me to meet a lot of people that I grew up listening to. I haven't physically met Casey, but I've done show with him. I've talked to him a lot. Surely, being the guy that I would know, got to meet Carl. The first event you were talking about early on was the Carl's event in Largo, Florida, the W8. That was the very first event I went to. That was the one that you were talking about. That you said second event, people had a different look at the first event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The first event was to the second event. You both wore those matching, I think, tracksuits.
Well, I got a bunch of tracksuits. I got different color tracks. I'm a tracksuit guy. Always have been.
Okay.
People don't like it. I don't care. That's me. I'm old school when it comes to that. All right. So let's see. The next question is let's see. Is that oh no, we already asked that one. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
Oh man, I hope Adam gets good karma points for this.
Find the next one.
He does have the patience of a
clown
saint.
on him
Says,
on
Adam, did you ever get to
WATP.
see Terrace
He's got to commit to the
perform?
bit.
Yeah, the Yasmin Kittles band.
Yeah, you're
It was
probably
one of
right.
the best shows I ever saw at the Echoplex.
But he's also
What's the
giving
best
him very
concert
good
your favorite
advice at
concert
the
you
same
ever been to?
time.
That's true.
That you just thought was rocked. It was everything. It fulfilled everything that you wanted to see.
He's really just consolidating what everybody's told Joey for the last 3 years, right?
It's a lot.
But I guess
saw
you're right. But
Lauren
he's
Hill's
very
performance.
articulate in the way he's communicating it. It's like he knows how to
Nina Simone
speak
songs.
Joey's tard.
They were great.
He's Joey whispering.
I tell you what,
Yes,
Adam.
When I met
my
Adam in
all-time
Vegas,
favorite
I thought
concert. I seen him
he
twice
is a
at concert.
really, he's
I
an
seen
excellent
Parliament Funkadelics
communicator.
when I was 13 years old at the Chicago Stadium. But the guy I saw at the Rosemont Horizon twice, Elton John, hands down, throws a great performance, man. Wow. I tell you what,
agree.
he does a great live show. He starts ripping his jacket off and throwing it, breaking up his chair from where he sits in for the piano. He was throwing stuff out to the people. Pieces of the chair. Just phenomenal how he demonstrated everything.
We know who the guy
He's a
is.
big Liberace guy and a big Elvis Presley guy too. So that's a fact.
I was a big Billy Joel guy, so I understand.
So you understand where I'm coming from.
OG Mumbling Nick, tell me what this means, Joey. Clip Adam plugging the show, or clip Joey talking about me?
Wait, say that again?
OG Mumbling Nick, our good friend, says clip Adam plugging the show, or clip Joey talking about me?
If you got something, my answer to that, if you feel it's good enough to clip it. I mean, I'm all for it. But I mean, I don't. Of course, Adam's got great moments here. Adam showed up here. He agreed to come on here. I'm impressed with that alone. I'm a nobody, and he just to find out that he does
have my own issues. But Nick, I got your I saw the video. I'll talk to you about doing your show. The only problem I see now with doing your show is that you seem like we seem really similar, and from similar backgrounds, and you're very level-headed and rational and self-aware. I don't know what we would have to talk about. Like, I think you're a great guy, and you seem to run a great show. I don't know what we would really get into, because we have all the same opinions, I think, and it's a different kind of dynamic. But maybe, I certainly don't want to take a quiz that's going to reveal me. But maybe if we can come up with something that we can talk about together that might help create some, I don't know, some spark or some fire, we could find it. But other than having you interview me, I don't want to do that. And me interviewing you, I think,
oh my God.
I don't think there's anything to uncover. I think you're pretty great.
Thanks, man.
Well,
Appreciate
that.
Right,
Does
so
that
let's
imply
see,
that
that okay for Ryan A for $2?
Joey
said
doesn't
he likes
have a
Buffy
great
movies
show?
Better than I'll be honest with you.
That's what's implied.
I'll be honest with you. I briefly back in the day when Buffy the Vampire Slayer the series was on,
Lies.
I would watch it because I'm a big TV buff and I would watch sometimes all night long. Stay up when you're doing drugs. You got the TV on. I would flip through a lot of stuff. I'd never seen the movie. Ever saw the movie. So I'm being honest. But I saw the series.
You should see the movie because it has Paul Rubens and he has the best scene in it.
Paul Rubin, Paul Rubin. You talk about
Pee Wee Herman.
Paul Rubin. You know him?
No.
He was a big image for the kids till he got caught jerking off in a Sarasota.
Yeah, we know the story.
But I liked him. I don't care if he got in trouble. I understand when people get in trouble. We all make mistakes, but yeah, I'll check it out. If you say I'll watch anything if people recommend it just to see. I'll give my opinion if I liked it.
It's not like he doesn't have the time.
If I like it, I'll stay with it. But
right.
I got some. Tom Selleck's the one the movie that just finished after 14 seasons. Blue Bloods was one of my favorites too. I love Blue Bloods. I love cop shows. But I like Dennis Franz back in the old days with him and the redheaded kid. What's his name?
David Caruso.
You know what I'm talking about. They did a great NYPD.
Why are we here?
This is an interview.
Together they were phenomenal, you know.
Do you remember New York Undercover? Do you remember that?
I do remember New York. What's his name was in it? New York Undercover. The kid, Nicholas
Michael DiLorenzo. And
yes.
Who was the other guy?
Was it Nicholas Turturro in that one too?
Oh, he might have been.
Yeah.
But the Michael DiLorenzo has two things of note that you would be interested in. The star of that cop show. He was a dancer in the Beat It video with Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And he directed One Too Many, starring John Melendez.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he did.
I got after we get through this and we're gonna wrap it up. But I got a couple of John things I want to ask you too, just your opinion on it, because I don't know.
I don't think we'll have time for that. But Echo Pineapple, Warren and his two buddies, and it went away.
Okay.
One of his two buddies were the worst Buffy. Oh, that hurts, buddy.
Oh,
that was unnecessary.
Ego, come on, Adam. This one's for you. So go ahead, you take that one.
Kirkland read 100s. Adam, I heard you read for Christopher Moltisanti in The Sopranos, but you chose to do a random role on Law and Order instead. Do you regret that? I auditioned for The Sopranos a bunch, and I never did it. But I always one of them was there's a play. There's like a high school play. There's an actor in that play who has some scenes with Meadow. That was the one I got really close to, but I didn't get it. But I loved the final episode.
She's married to Lenny Dykstra's kid. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
but I know they have a.
She's a Canadian, and she married Lenny Dykstra.
Cardiff.
I was with the
Cardiff.
Lenny Cutter Dykstra. Of course, Lenny Dykstra was the best. I mean, his kids were not quite as good as him as a ball player, but both his sons became professional baseball players.
Fudgicle, where do I find
that? Professional baseball player. Drink.
Hear that? I've never heard it.
He's got some.
He's got the director's commentary of One Too Many.
Oh, does he really?
Michael DiLorenzo. Yeah.
Wow. Now I know you said you never met. You said you never met John. You've never met him physically.
I have met him.
Oh, you have met him.
I did a very brief appearance on the Stern Show playing horns.
Okay.
In the.
Why does Joey not know this story?
I got the gig because I guess they asked.
Because it's not about him.
A recommendation.
Because he's a professional interviewer.
Oh my God.
John recommended.
You missed it, Luigi. In the beginning, Adam was asking Joey questions. Joey didn't know the answer to them, but they were all in the description to the show.
In John's band. And
yeah,
wow, it's so funny because I was a very, very big Stern fan. I waited outside Letterman to get his autograph.
Really?
Yeah, but I wasn't interested in John.
Really?
I wasn't. I was like, of course he's a legend, right? But I
all right, guys.
Advantage of that access.
I actually got to go now. I got to prep for my show.
Felt like Man Magazine come to life.
Unboxing Bigfoot later tonight.
In the room that would
Thanks for having me, Schmuel.
Take care, man. Papa Electrico, I put your link in the chat.
You can't.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I think. Yes, I did, and I'll put it in again. So, but thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It's fun. Appreciate
Sorry
it.
that this thing. I never expected this thing to go on.
No,
No, I didn't either.
I'm like, I swear
John
to God,
got
I'm
mad at me.
cursing
I think
Apple
he got upset we
Pineapple
were too
every
thin,
minute for suggesting it.
Like you said, you like the part where I just didn't give what he wanted.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
I wouldn't be his beg
Later, brother.
I wouldn't sit there and lay down. He wanted me one day. He told me, "You go on today. You apologize to me. You make me look really good. You beg me back to come back on." I said, "Absolutely fucking not will I do that."
All right, let him
I
say
said,
that
crazy.
about Lou.
You got the wrong guy on the wrong day, pal. And they would sent me a $50 super chat. And they told him, make sure Joey C gets it. He turned to me in the live stream and said, "You know you're not getting none of this fucking money, right? Yeah. That's my drinking money." You know,
he said the same thing to me.
I'm like, "Oh, John, I know that."
When I sent super chat when Lou was on there.
So that's the base level you're coming at everyone with.
Wow.
They're starting with your, you're like a political pundit who clearly would lie about what he believes. So that's the level you're starting at.
Right.
Okay.
You have a lot to earn. Like Quadfather too. Rob Saul, they pretend we didn't see that.
Right.
They pretend we skipped that year of their life where they just lied over and over again.
Right.
And we enjoyed it because we liked seeing that dynamic.
Right.
But it makes you, it's hard to rebuild credibility after that.
Well, I tell you, I took, people said, we love you. A lot of people said they love me. But
if either you guys need to bail, that's fine.
John was the biggest mistake you did.
I'm enjoying it.
I thought it was going to be the biggest thing to help me.
It still might be. It's how you handle it.
You're right. All right,
it gave you this audience.
Gotta have a large bladder.
That's true. I did.
My son just landed in Houston, and my older boy's going to the airport to pick him up. So
let's see.
I don't have nothing to do.
All right, there we go. Brian Clauder, another great guy in the Dabbleverse, a great chatter, and I've talked to Brian several times. He worked for John. He did producing for John back in the early days. He's got a lot of John stuff. This Brian Clauder.
Baby video game controller sits in a diaper under the word noob.
I don't know what he means. Do you? Okay. Thank you, Brian. Good to see you here, buddy. If you ever wanted to pick someone's brain about John, he's got some deep stuff about John. Brian Claude.
All right, next one.
Next. On that one. He's a great guy. Let's see here. Diablo Sandwich. What's up, buddy? Ain't seen you in a while. Did a live stream walk past you bleeding? What? Did a live streamer walk past you bleeding? I love this.
He has no idea what that means.
All right. Oh, my man's here. I haven't seen him in a while. Hey, Deadpool, thank you, buddy. Adam, this is for you. Thank you for $10, buddy.
Oh, I'll take this. Thank you so much. Adam, why eat the apple? You knew Eve was a hoe. I can't control my destiny.
That's a good answer.
Joey doesn't
That's a
get
good
it.
answer. That is an awesome answer.
His meds
That's
kicked
good.
in.
You're right. None of us can control our destiny. You're right. One thing I know for sure, we're born and we're all going to die. That much I do know.
What about taxes?
Yeah, man.
That's a fact.
Joey don't pay no taxes.
You see how his whole attitude
Uzi, my
changed,
boy
though?
Uzi, man, from way out there in the
Uzi
country. Hello, Uzi. How are you, my friend? Adam, this is for you.
Not drunk
Adam,
enough.
Did you like the band Bush? Did you vote for either Bush? Do you have a lot of pubic hair? Public hair. Pubic hair. Yes. Public. We'll start at the top. Do I like the band Bush? No. Do you?
No.
Did you vote? No, I didn't vote for either. Do you have a lot of pubic hair? No, I maintain it. I mean, it's not.
Look at
little,
Joey.
but it's not a lot.
He's so pleased with himself.
It's hard to explain.
So my wife, where's that? We had my
She
grandson.
got a pile of my pubic hair right here. Let me grab it.
Store, and she got in the store and he saw this. He goes, "I got to buy this for Grandpa." So my grandson bought me this.
Oh my God, he's a 7-year-old.
6 years old.
Look at what I got.
Recognizes Grandpa likes to blow gas.
Okay.
So,
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
thought I'd give my grandson a plug, All right, we got who we got here? Brian Clauder again. This is for you.
Adam, is Joey the hardest nut to crack? No, not the hardest. Maybe the most dissatisfying, but not the hardest.
Jesus Christ.
Fair enough. All right, let's keep
That
on going.
totally blew over Joey's head.
Thank you for staying as long as you have, Adam. I really appreciate this.
The most dissatisfying.
Hey, my man, Triple G in the house. I didn't know Triple G was here. Thank you, Triple G. Very nice of you. Team Joey C. Thank you. I made a comment on your last video when you took up for me on the fuck the guy that was having a heart attack. I thought that was funny. I watched your show. That was pretty funny. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's Triple G. He used to be pretty big at one time, I heard, with his show. And I don't know, like life happens to everybody, But he's making a comeback. That's good to know. Usually again, Joey loves you and Junior roasted. I don't think I watched that one. I watched a lot of his stuff, but I didn't get to everything.
He has no idea what that
probably
means.
Trying to find some of it was easy to find. You're on the internet pretty good. A lot of your clips. But all right, Diablo sandwich. Okay, it says 1 hour in Adam. No, so hours.
1 hour in Adam.
Adam, what's your diagnosis of retard?
Yeah, I don't know, Diablo. Check in with me 3 hours later, and we can discuss it.
Thanks, Diablo sandwich. I appreciate it. They got a lot of people that used to come in the old days. That's good. I'm glad they came. I promised them I would try to do the best I can today. So I hope I fulfilled that. This meant a lot to me.
That'll do, Pig. That'll do.
Let's see. Yeah, sorry we have to go like this, Adam, but this is. I hope I didn't miss nothing.
If you wouldn't,
that Evie Mux is fantastic, isn't it?
Lockers who took care of.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah, Well, I mean, I think my days working in the locker room, I was fair, but I had some pet peeves that.
No more story.
Here's the problem.
Go on forever.
You get parents that are very arrogant when they're playing little league, and parents that fight with the other teams and the umpires, and their kids don't do no wrong, and you made a bad call, and they build their kids up. Brian Harper's father was like that. He took him out of high school, made him drop out of high school, made him get his GED because he didn't like the coach, and he knew his son was going to go first pick overall in the major league draft, and he was going to get big money. He knew he was going to make it. And he's a successful player, but his father was very arrogant. I got to meet his father because his older brother didn't make it to the big leagues, but he was an A-ball with the Washington Nationals. And I heard the only reason that the Nationals picked up the brother who really didn't get drafted the first time he went in, because Brian, when he signed with National, he made that one of the conditions that they give his brother a minor league contract, which is commendable for looking out for your older brother. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was very nice. But the father, I didn't care for. The mother was a nice lady.
Okay.
But the father, I didn't care for. Okay, this is for you, Adam.
Adam, how many roles did you get from Weinstein? None directly.
There we go. That's it.
But it's all
Joey
true.
has no idea what that means.
It's all true.
Yeah, all right. There we go. This one is from
Excuse me. Just like Adam said, you don't know me.
Age of Squirrel. Is that what it says? Age $5. Joey, is your daughter named Sabitha or
just get rid of it? Just get rid of it. You're not even speaking in the mic, so who cares? Just get rid of it.
You're not even speaking into the mic.
No, okay.
He's gonna read it like a dumbass.
It is, but I'm okay with that. Yeah. Wait till she gets out and she does a podcast teaching sign language.
Oh my God.
That goes over real well.
She's very fluent in sign language.
Oh my God.
All right. Diablo sandwich again. I wash those drop straps my way, Joey. That's funny. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you gotta give him credit. He's being a sport about it just because he has company over.
If I would have wrote that, he would have flipped out.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Or he wouldn't have read it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to just get them on the screen. I could have read them all and not put them on the screen, but Evie Mux don't make this easy. It's not. That's the only quality
you
I
gotta
don't
love
like
that
about
Evie Mux.
They don't have a separate folder that you could just click on through Evie Mux.
Excuse me.
I'm hoping they will get it soon. All right.
Sorry about all the noise, guys.
There we go. All right, this is Shuli Madoff again.
Oh.
Go buy your dead daughter and.
Oh my God!
Come on, guys, be better. Be more better than that. It's uncalled for.
He is being relatively classy about it, though.
Only because of Adam.
Shuli Madoff taking 5 hours. Honest men don't have to admit they do. They don't look at other women to please their wife. I didn't do it for that reason. I'm just telling you that she knows that without fail that I love her sincerely, which I do. She don't worry about that. Plus, I'm too old now. I played around when I was younger. I don't need to do all that stuff.
You're too impotent.
Be content and happy what you got.
Also, when you've lived a life of infidelity, it's reassuring to the person to let them know you're aware of the reality and that you're not that you're changed. You're different.
You're right. And you know what? I was very open with her. I told her all the bad I did and how I was on my other wife and the wrong I did. I was very open about it. So I mean, I wasn't a best husband, but when my
This is a has 3 levels of it. You got your picture of Aaron, you got your so horny, and then you got the Shookies killed Kendi.
Yeah, I just wish I wish they would get off the ESO thing. I don't answer questions with it. They tried to come in my chair. I don't answer nothing.
Of course you do, Joey.
Thank you.
Of course you do.
Hey, Pool Scam Sam. Thank you, buddy. Joey C. Army. I like Pool Scam Sam. All right, let's see. I hear my wife coming. Hi, honey.
Come on, Joey. Let's go.
We're wrapping it up soon, baby.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, sure.
All right, come on.
Yeah, dude, his medicine kicked in or something because he is absolutely acting differently than he did at the beginning of the stream.
I'm right in the slot,
All right,
Rand.
Let's go. This one is for you, Adam.
Oh,
From the New Jersey Ranger, 201. Adam, are you more of a Rochi guy or a pineapple guy?
Good question.
Of the moment, I'm an pineapple guy. At least
There you
for
go.
today.
And my wife went out of her way to tell me to say hello to Mr. Adam Bush.
Hello, Mrs. C.
Mrs. C, he said hello. She said she's a big fan of yours.
A big fan of yours. An honor to a privilege.
He said he's a big fan of yours, dear. She said she used to be married to you when she used to watch Buffy. Imaginary that she, young girl.
She used to white to you.
All right. So, hi, Adam. Miss Kitty, great person. Hi, Miss Kitty. A true, one of the best chatters you could ever have in your chat room right there, Miss Kitty.
What makes them great?
She's a hard worker.
She gives him
real
money.
Life. She works hard.
That's why
she
he asked
the time
that.
out to be very, very polite in the chat room. She don't go that mile of taking over the boundaries.
She gives him
very
money.
Pleasant to be in the chat room with. She controls the chat room.
Yeah, she
People
gives
love
me
her when she's in
money.
the chat room. She's done wonders in my chat room. She's turned situations around that could have gone escalated probably bad. She's just a caring person. Very nice lady. I wish I could have met her.
It's not too late, is it?
No, it's not too late. She's always working though. She works hard. That woman works hard, man. She's always.
But she gives me money mostly.
Yeah.
Miss Kitty. Oh, Miss Kitty, thank you. She gifted 1 Catalan TV membership. Thank you, Miss Kitty.
Case in point.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. Oh, here we go. Tom Gully's here. What's up, Tom? Joey C forever. Thank you for $2, Tom Gully. Tom Gully is interesting guy too.
Look at that.
Do you like Alex Stein, Adam?
I'm a big fan of Alex Stein.
Yeah, he told me to tell you hello. I told you he told me to tell you hello when I was with him. So he knows all about you.
Look at that. Look at that.
He'll be
Name
coming here
dropping.
before I leave. I'm going to be doing one of those city hall things with him again. So I'm up here in probably in about 10 days. I think. Butter, does that say Butter 080 $2? Joey,
yes, it does.
Were you supposed to interview Adam? It's a mutual
It's a
thing.
long show. It was a
long show. Sorry, guys. I mean, I think
depends
it's
on what
going
hour
well.
you saw.
I'm grateful that Adam decided to stay. I mean, he could have left at any
forth.
time. All right. OG Mumbling Nick, thank you for the $5. Joey, even if you change your show format, be yourself. Guys like you and me can't be professionals. It comes off as phony when you try. Just be you. I thank you for that, and you're 100% right. And Adam has pointed that out, and truly, everybody has pointed that out to me, and for the most part, I try to be as genuine as I can. But I hear you loud and clear, man. I really do. I really do. Tukey, $1.99. That's the question. Anyway, I to tell you what, Joey's great. I'm gonna get you, Rocco, when I call in Saturday. I'll get you really good. I love Rocco. He's good people. OG Mumbly Nick again. Between Two Hacks. Oh, that you read. I think you gave us a preview of that one earlier. All right, let's see. All right.
Between Two Hacks, Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Pineapple and I.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he's been doing shows with Pineapple. Okay, now here's the next one. There's something to do with Gonzo in it. Oh, this is from Gonzo. Gonzo, what's up, buddy? Podcast idea. Joey C. Enema. What does it say? Enema?
Yeah,
Enema.
Joey Cinema.
Oh, Cinema.
Joey C. Enema.
I love it. I love it. I've had Gonzo on quite a bit. Matter of fact,
Really?
Yeah, Gonzo's been on my show quite a bit. He approached me, said he's a big fan of mine. He's come on. He's helped me out of a lot of
documentary. Let me know the next time he comes on. I want to meet him.
Okay, absolutely, definitely. Gonzo, he'll ask me, send me a link. He just told me, send me a link, and usually I only one time I didn't send him a link because we were doing a show that we didn't want to have no guest on. We were heated up pretty good, and we don't want. But he's been great. He played first time on my show. He trolled me. You know that he played Opie, and Quadfather played Anthony Cumio, and they had me convinced that was the real Anthony and Opie making a comeback on my show.
Cumio.
Second or third week I was airing back in 2023. Yeah, he played Opie. That was pretty funny. Oh, Fudgesicle. This is what Fudgesicle say. Fudgesicle says, Adam, Joey's asking you to produce his vacation. Now that's funny. That's funny. I like that. All right, here we go. Billy Detroit. This is for you, Adam.
Yeah, did you ever see Terrace perform? I did.
Oh, yeah, you did answer that.
At the Echoplex. One of the greatest shows I've ever seen. She's a genius. She's the best.
You did. I remember that now. All right, so this one here is Gonzo again. Joey C., how have you evolved since entering the Dabbers? Well, I don't think I fully have evolved. I think there's a lot more involving I have to do. I think what I've learned in the Dabbers is my biggest problem that I've had in the Dabbers, Gonzo, is I take everything to the heart and I have to learn to separate that everything. These people are mostly living in fantasy world, and that even though I think they're personal strikes at me or somebody in my family, I've got to shake it off and just say, who gives a shit? I think I've learned to in a better direction, not all the way, but in a better direction to control that. I think that's how I've evolved as far as me streaming in the Dabbers. In my personal life, I think I've made a lot of great things. I'm not a drug addict anymore. I'm not out there trying to get involved in everything I can that I shouldn't be involved in. I think I'm becoming a better husband, a better grandpa. I'm really working hard at being a better grandpa and a better husband. That's my two biggest things. I love my grandchildren. So
Mason in Portland, aka the Portland Chain.
Hey, Mason.
Joey, I'm proud of you. I still don't like you though.
Yeah, you're a liar. He used to be my number one guy. Me and him. He's the one that patched up the thing with me and Melton, but Mason made a turn on me. I was hard on Mason too, though. So, and I almost doxed him too, Adam. That you brought it up. I almost I didn't dox him, but I did. I talked about a character that had the same last name as him because I wanted him to know that
you had his information.
Yeah, don't do that.
You're right. You're 100%. I admit I was wrong. And I told him I was wrong, but I'm sorry for that, Mason. But these idiots, when you do that, they go around, they tell everybody you're talking about me, so they really dox themselves who they are. I didn't say nothing about him.
Don't do it. Even if they've already been doxed, don't do it again.
You're right.
Different audience.
Surely that was one thing he used to get mad at me. You got to stop doing that. He really did. He got at me a couple times about that. So he really did.
I got to tell you, understand this. Every time you tell me that somebody took the time to tell you the thing that I'm telling you, and you show me how aware of it you are,
right?
And these are years ago.
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. I know, and it makes you pissed off, and it makes you feel upset with me. I understand that. Believe me, I understand.
God, Joey the victim.
And all I can say is I'm going to keep working on to be do better things here. And
Bo Beardington, I want Joey to find peace with himself one day.
Right. Amen to that, man. I'm working on it. I am definitely working on it. I'm my own worst nightmare. I was told a long time ago, look in the mirror, you'll find your worst enemy.
Oh, Zempig, half hour behind, and you're still going. Bravo.
Last super
Take it from
chat.
Someone who put themselves in wheelchair prison. Keep going for your fam, Joey. F Rock.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's see.
Well, that's about all the time we have.
Yeah, a lot of things are in my mind. Let me tell you, my wife is pretty sharp, and she points out things that you point. She'll say things to me. Didn't I tell you that but you're listening to what Shuli said. You're not listening to me. Or like she'll tell me, Adam said the same thing. She's gonna pick it up. She's gonna tell me, listen to. She's always telling me, just listen and tone it down. She says, you can do this. You're good at this. I think she's better than me. I told her she's way better. She just got sick of the internet. I think we got everything. I want to make sure by looking at this list over here. I think we got everything. I mean, just look. I think that was everything. Yep, half an hour behind. That was the last one I'm showing here.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay,
Adam's ready to go.
I got the
Gotta
one question
go.
I want to ask you, and I'm gonna have to pull this up because I didn't write it down. I have it written down here, but give me 1 second.
Oh,
here.
it's written
What
down by
happened? Here,
Uncle
put this over
Bob.
here.
I got you.
And then we'll close,
Right.
and you'll have closing thoughts, and I hope that I gave you what you were looking for, and I really enjoyed you being here, and I just want to let you know that
Mrs. C got home.
You're a wonderful,
That's what
wonderful
this is
person
all
to talk
about.
to, and I thank you for that.
Right.
Thank you.
And I've got to tell you, I'm not comfortable around a lot of people, and I could say I'm very comfortable around you. So, and my question to you: if heaven exists, what would you like God to say when you arrive at the pearly gates? I stole that from James Lipton. Everybody, it's a signature question. Adam,
You weren't wasting your time.
and the question about heaven exists.
That's it.
That's it.
If heaven
stupid.
exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That was
Oh, that was your answer. I'm sorry. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Well, Adam, anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd like to talk about? To say to the people for upcoming? I'm going to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. You showed me some things, and I learned some things, and just to be a quality
Joey's
human
gonna
being is,
absolutely
and to sit down and talk with
masturbate
somebody
to
like
this show.
you, and
This is gonna be my
and I
best
thank you for
show.
doing the time to ask about me to people, and I hope that your answers from them was also more
It's the
intriguing.
best
to
show
make
I
you wanna
ever
come on.
did.
You could have said no. I'm sorry I
gotta
had to
get
go
the
through other
Emmy for
channels
this.
to ask about if you would do it. I should have came to you directly. I apologize for that, but I'm just glad that you agreed,
Adam,
and I've been waiting for this, and it
You
worked
know the
out.
director of
I'm
this
very
movie.
happy.
Maybe
I'm
you
going to
could
put this
get
down
me.
as a very good day for me. So thank you.
I'm so glad you feel that way, and I'm so glad that you can look back on it with positive experiences, especially given as how you were looking forward to it with positive feelings before it even happened. So I'm glad that I did not disappoint you personally. Thank you to everyone who stuck around. I'm going to be on with Chrissy Mayer on Monday. Thank you so much.
Yikes.
This is really great.
All right, Adam, again, thank you, and I hope we see each other again. I hope we get a chance to stream again someday, or maybe be on the show together. I will let you know when I got Gonzo in and bring you on. Everybody.
I'm done, guys.
Yeah, I couldn't handle anymore, man.
Oh
I
man,
couldn't handle anymore.
the Joey C show.
For sure.
Joey C.
Yeah, I mean, I got a good buzz going, because I did, but man, if I had done the full drinking game that I wanted to do, bro,
We'd have you passed out on your couch. That would be like you'd be in your chair out.
It'd be over, dude. It'd be over.
Oh man. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's NJ Ranger 201 on Twitter, and we have at Box Drop Cupcake on Twitter. And what's your show?
It's the YouTube channel's at American Cupcake on YouTube, or Cupcakes Corner with American Cupcake. I got a show on Sunday morning with Kahuna and Lou the Monster. It's the Belly Bros. And then I got a show on Wednesday morning with Lou the Monster, Warp Speed with Cupcake and the Monster. We talk about nerd stuff. We're going to be talking about Star Wars, Attack of the Clones next episode.
Perfect. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry that this thing wound up almost being 4 hours.
Well, no, the twist about our show is I hate the prequels. Lou loves the prequels, so it's going to be more of like a debate instead of discussing the movie. So that's
Star Wars debate, kids. It's a perfect way
nerd
to start
stuff,
your
baby.
day. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great night.
Later, brother.
All right. And to the 10 people that are left from YouTube, thank you so much for sticking it out with us. NJ Ranger is always a pleasure. Cupcake is always a pleasure. And I'm really lucky to have you guys. So even 10 of you. And love you all. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Good night.
Bye.